Where the Pokemon universe truly starts to get interesting, it's the spin-off games. The ones that let you steal them, snap them, roundhouse kick to the jaw. 1 minute you're a human getting transformed into a Pokemon. The next, you're dressing up your pet rat like Sherlock Holmes and having full conversations with him out in public like a psychopath. Completely different breed of Pokemon game. Oh, you like your little badge collecting? Going on your little paint between the lines adventure from your nice little fatherless home, do you? Well, there's none of that here. Nah, you ain't champion this time. You're clocking on shift. You're in the sewers handling domestics between the Grimer. You're sat unemployed 9 hours a day watching the egg hatching channel. We can't all live next to Professor Oak, the most rich and famous scientist in the world, okay? Some of us are gonna have to be rangers, photographers, authoritarian warmongers. Plenty of career paths to explore. There's really something for everyone. Now, out of all 68 games I've conjured up here, the worst one, I shouldn't even give it the time of day calling it a game. I'm the one that's being played here. I am the game. I'm sure you've all seen before. You've seen them engagement bait posts. You are now living in the world of the last video game you played. And you see the comments, you get the standard, oh, all right, Skyrim, GTA, Minecraft. If that gets put on me right now, Pokemon Ranch. This would be a hellish game to be trapped in, right? Because there's no point to it. Look, maybe I'm being a little bit harsh here. I know I'm not getting that premium ranch experience here. No dips, nothing. Yeah, right, because I'm sure my hacked Black Rayquaza would have made this game buzzing. Yeah, he's great crack on him. He's right buzz at parties. He would have got the ranch like a rave, wouldn't he? Because, I mean, what is the point of any of this? At first, you're thinking to yourselves, okay, no stress, low maintenance Pokemon farm game until we get until we get settled in. And it's like, what now? What's the motive? What's the move? Oh, motive. Yeah, no, we got loads to do for you. All of 2 motives, 2 functions, I should say. You're gonna sit here, you're gonna be taking snapshots and calling the Pokemon over. Now, I get it. A fun, very optional WiiWare side game. Nothing wrong with that. One that... Wait, they charge you 10 quid for this. Not even a freebie. 1,000 Wii points to transfer your Pokemon off your DS and shout at them in a field. I wouldn't even use the residue, the dust, the smeg of my Nintendo Gold points to pay for something like this. Because for what? Taking photos and the occasional, oi, Gyarados, eyes on the road. Even the Miis that I've forced into this hellish landscape, I can reign over with the Polaroid and air horn combo. Oi, Randall, look at me when I'm talking to you. Yeah, that's it. You smile for the camera like the good little chew toy you are. If I wanted to shout at monsters and get a load of dodgy photos, I'd go to a pop world and crash someone's hen do. And from my understanding of the game up to this point, I don't think you can even move around this place. I'm sorry, Rachel or whoever. Is this premises walkable in any form? I'm not expecting to be walking about like it's John Marston's rootin' tootin' gaff over here, but I'd much prefer not to be trapped in the waiting to respawn lobby. It's nothing like the Me channel where you reign over the whole ethereal realm. Once you're locked onto a Pokemon, you kind of just have to hope they fall into the frame of another selectable character you'd like to take photos of and beep your horns at. Right, so I'm seeing you unlock free mode at level 4, depositing 20 Pokemon at 6 to start with, and 1 free Pokemon a day. That's 2 real-time weeks of, I guess, freemium play. Still, I don't think that defeats my point at all. No. Now you have to earn the right to a free view camera in our 10 quid freemium game. Don't be getting greedy now. Rachel gave you the Gyarados, you can take it away, it'll be going back in that barn. I'll give it some credit, not as if I'm ever gonna find out in the year 2026, but you can really fill this place out with for whatever hellish reason you'd want to. I can see why they're on the low poly models. This must be what goes on inside the PC. All right, I'm a little interested. What kind of limit are we talking about here with how many you can transfer in? Because I've still got the contacts there. One quick word with the action replay man, and I can have 500 Beedrill on your doorstep within a minute. 1,000 Pokemon limit. That's not too bad. That's some acres you've got yourselves there. You could get the deluxe package deal of 500 Beedrill, 500 Kakuna. See, you could go for the 1,000, the bag of Beedrill straight, but the looming threat of knowing the second flood is coming. 500 more Beedrill in incremental waves. Well, me personally, I think that makes for a much more immersive experience. The Kakuna are kind of like using Future Sight. You know, if using Future Sight inevitably spawned an entire Beedrill. God, this ranch is boring me. We need to get some action in here. Your cursor-wielding god demands it. I want all my Miis, even you, Randall, cooped up in that barn like the mist is coming, because I'm going to be spawning the worst low-poly monstrosities the first 4 generations of Pokemon have to offer. The entirety of the Mii will become an extinct species. The introductory Mii, the one who, even by Mii standards, has no soul. She comes back tomorrow and releases another random pocket creature into the dog pound you're assembling here. Just another creature to be pointed at and shouted at by the omnipotent Yahweh in the sky. Right, so it's a day-to-day thing. even if you're not transferring from the DS games, which means you're not necessarily soft-locked, or I'd go as far to say bullied into having to buy a DS and Diamond and Pearl. Now I can imagine somebody buying Red and Blue for Pokemon Stadium. Can't imagine a single person who got this game without already having Diamond thinking, well, now I have to buy a DS. Empty ranch? One a day? Guy who's sunken cost fallacies himself into spending £200 on a DS because he wasted 1,000 Wii points on an eShop game. From the same developers as Colosseum and XD, would you believe it? Another Pokémon Ore region adventure. Oh no, even better. You ready for this one? Get this, the first and only ever Pokemon typing adventure. Yeah, you devs, we don't need you doing any more of them gritty RPGs. You know them same ones that everyone's been raving about for the past 20 years. Because look guys, the thing is, Hybrid Theory, Shadow the Hedgehog, The Dark Knight, it's all come and gone, mate. It's time to move on. Besides, there's a far bigger issue we have on our hands. You see, our fan base, we're starting to suspect, is, how do you say, illiterate. And we need you, Genius Sonority, to at least partially, well, it'll help rectify the problem a little bit. At least when they're illiterate using the keyboard, they'll be a lot faster about it. We could have had Colosseum 3, but nah, you lot had to fail IT. Well, that's just great. Now you've pissed off Mr. Freak. He's giving us homework. And not just any homework disguised as a DS game. That has to be against the Geneva Convention somewhere. You've got the XD and Colosseum devs doing this, and quite a few of these spin-offs. This one's not even really a game, in a way. I hope they at least shifted this one to the apprentices, the games programming students on their work placement year. I don't fault the other games that they've made, but with the billions Pokemon has to dispose of, you might as well have just kept up the Genius Sonority RPG games and outsourced all of this freemium puzzle game stuff to literally any other game company of their choosing. Type in adventure though. This one may be due a comeback soon. I reckon kids today, they aren't too far off needing a little refresher on this one. And it doesn't even have to be the younger generation's blind spots. Pokemon, they just can't help but appeal to the highly profitable soy-lennial market, and fiscally, you really can't blame them. The amount of edutainment adventures that market audience could be having. Book an appointment via the phone adventure. Pokemon Vape Addict adventure. Typing adventure comes with a little keyboard to get you into typing. Vape adventure comes with a rack of Newports to get you off the vapes. Pokemon looks maxing adventure, I think that'd sell out. Unironically, comes with a DS stylus shaped like a hammer to bone smash with. Typing adventure is very much as it says on the tin. You know that clip that makes its way around from one of the old Spider-Man games? You know the one where he sends Dr. Octopus flying off the building by calling him a Batman. It's near enough as if they just made an entire thing out of that. It kind of goes by Guitar Hero difficulty scaling. They start you out on just the one row of the keyboard, progressively working your way up to the expert difficulty segments of the keyboard on your quest to become an advanced typist. They do diversify things up with minigames, variants of typing. You've got the boss battles going even. Mew's getting banged out straight away, like that one story about Danny DeVito and Arnold Schwarzenegger going to some Hollywood sesh in the 80s where they had these massive tables that I don't even know if I can outright say it, but if I said their names were spelt out in Times New Columbian, then you'll understand. And Arnold, with a surname like that, was rightly off his jaw. Reggie Gigas. Now that's a name you can go to the Columbian room with. Name long enough, he'll never have to slow start again. But obviously, it doesn't go down like that. You rock up to Zekrom, you ain't getting him that easy. He's attacking you with Uber Eats discount codes. He may have the most powerful attack of all, doxing your postcode. Now you do need the original bit of kit to play this one. You'll have to forgive me. I played and ranked every Pokemon spin-off, except this one. My typing adventure began and ended at typing the words Pokemon, typing, and adventure into Google. But hang on, I did boot the game up. I got to the very first screen, so technically, I have played it. My playtime would be sub 1 minute, but I have played it. But you can give me the pass here. Come on, I get the gist of it, trust me. Just watch all the comments now. They're gonna be like, wow, he's really gonna miss out on the post-game disliked. I've watched plenty of gameplay, and look, even just to put you at ease, I'll watch a random playthrough of it and type along with your man recording. Just little brother me, disconnected second controller. I'm like 90% of the way playing it at that point. I know I could find some very annoying way around this, but I'm like, come on, am I a dickhead? I mean, sure, but like an hour-long typing game, which isn't even meant for me. I've been typing about Pokemon for 15 years. 15 years! My entire adult life has been a Pokemon typing adventure. I can give it something though. Doesn't matter if it's versus the champion of a region or a keyboard learning tool made for small, or in today's age likely large children. The music always goes hard. Look, if you've got those kind of tunes blaring when you're learning to type, I'll be whacking out entire dissertations in one sitting. Hold on, brother. I'm off my nut trying to figure out how to sort Harvard referencing on PictoChat. I don't really see much wrong with it, but edutainment games, they're gonna have to be hard capped at E tier minimum. But hey, at least it's an actual game compared to Ranch.
Jesus Christ. the size of him.
Hey, Pikachu. Yeah, I'm talking to you. Yeah.
Hey yo, Pikachu definitely didn't have this one as a kid. The question now is, was I much better off for it? I had the Pikachu Nintendo 64, and at times playing this, I reckon the plastic Pikachu welded to the console would be more reactive to my voice, but I lived through the prime era of angry video game reviewers. I already know how that mic works, or in that case, hardly, as I've been led to believe. But I was thinking, maybe those 2000 YouTubers, maybe they were wrong. They were definitely wrong about a Sonic R soundtrack. They could definitely be wrong about Hey You Pikachu. It got me thinking maybe AU Pikachu was all a big psyop this entire time. Now that I've had a crack at it myself, I can confidently say this ain't a Sonic R situation. The yonks weren't lying. But with my expectations for this game, the game is actually a lot more playable than I was expecting. I don't even know how I'm saying this, but I swear, it's literally the only thing that works. And even then, I can't give it too much credit. It's still quite a struggle. Moving around is a slog. Pikachu takes the orders, but just doesn't do anything. The cursor locks onto near enough everything you don't want it to. And maybe I wouldn't mind. A bad game, movie, whatever, it could still be entertaining. But this one, stone cold boring. Don't blame Pikachu falling asleep every 20 seconds. Hey, I'm right there with you, wee man. Yeah, it can be fun having a little catch up with Pikachu for about 5 minutes. And once that gimmick wears off, you're stuck in this hellish world where the rats comes to collect at your door every day for mandatory playtime.
Oh, my eternal hell. The rat comes back every day. Pikachu came all the way here just to say goodbye. Yeah, just like every single day.
But that's just how it begins. It starts as a little knock on the door. Then he's sleeping in your bed, watching your TV, drinking your Steve Weisers from the fridge, settling down with your mum. Oh, that Pikachu's cute.
No, look at him. Look at him. He knows what he's doing. A little rat.
This one's been designed for like actual toddlers. In fact, toddlers might have a better chance at having an actual dialogue with the rat. And I know, Pokemon are dumb baby games, I get it, but this one, way more than usual, got that Prince Andrew demographic. Hello, it's me, Professor Oak. Yep, cheers for that. Nice one, Sammy. You've only been a voice in my head for the past 7 days now, telepathically enforcing a bedtime curfew on me. Also features Professor Oak, portrayed with his lowest IQ to date.
Hey, Oak, Samuel. Get a clue. What do you mean? What on earth is he? What is this foreign object? What? I only see one Caterpie crying from starvation. But Pikachu still got a gift for his dog efforts. What do you say? Isn't that nice?
Beach ball. Whatever could that be? A colourful, bouncy ball.
Yeah, I'll report this one back to Oak so he knows, right? Well, Oak could probably tell you how many volts it'd take a Pikachu to grill a Rattata, but he doesn't know what a beach ball is. What do you mean? I've always wanted to see the daily activities of a wild Pokemon. Well, aren't you like the biggest scientist? I'm not even gonna. Don't even piss me off. Don't even chat me up. I think throw it was written in the red letters. Yeah. Oh, Oak needs a manual.
Also features Pikachu, portrayed with its scariest physiognomy to date. I actually felt a sense of real-time Arrested Development, spouting off gibberish to a portly mouse as he spouts off gibberish back at me from the screen. They go about this like it's meant to be playable for 3-year-olds, but I'm still here trying to figure out how a 29-year-old is meant to play it. I'm getting through it, obviously, but I never really know if I'm doing anything right. Most of the time, it feels like an RNG system where the Pikachu will go near the right items you need. I can break it down for you. Look, 1, he has to be near the item. 2, he has to be drawn to the item. No distractions along the way. 3, he has to listen to you and pick up the item. 4, he has to store the item. This Pikachu is far too much of a wild card to be reliable for that many steps. He's a complete liability. I accidentally discovered he could Thunderbolt. I just told him to do it as a laugh before the game even taught me that I could do it. I was thinking, Thunderbolt, that's a bit of a risky word to be using with the limited technology, clearly.
Pikachu, it's time. Thunderbolt me. For good. Make me cease. Thunderbolt me. Or Thundershock if you ain't learned that yet. Well, he actually did it, okay.
But for a brief moment, that accidental situation, that moment gave me a split second of believing that this Pikachu had sentience. Was I experiencing psychosis here? Did you know? Every copy of Mario 64 is unique, and in only just 10 copies of Hey You Pikachu, we made him real. Had to try out a few other moves just to double check.
Alright, now give me a Hyper Beam. Do that one. Hyper Beam. Hyper Beam. Whatever, Oak. I'm teaching the moves. All right, now give us a Batista bomb. That Oddish right there, go on. 5-star frog splash. All right, now give us a tombstone power driver. There we go.
Now, he took some creative liberties with the tombstone power driver there, folks. But as you can see, it was very effective.
That brief moment, the surprise of Pikachu doing something I didn't think he'd actually do. That's the only fun part I've had. And these moments are far and few between. Actually, there's no in between. It's just far and never coming back. He surprised me all of 1 times. You know what the most insulting part of all of this? Pikachu is a knobhead. He's never been so unlikable. Pikachu doesn't have any friends. Yeah, well, off the top of my head, he's not a great listener, invades personal space, follows you home every single night. No, Pikachu isn't your best friend. You are his abuse goblin. And I'm done with it. I'm done with existing in this hellish landscape. I'm done with Professor Oak. You not knowing what a beach ball is. But most of all, I'm done with you. Rat boy.
Goodbye, Pikachu. Try and survive the night again. I'll be my cozy bed of my hot mom.
The Pokemon Mini. Yeah, you probably thought I was going to forget all about you. I never had one of these, but apparently it's got that small cult following back in it. But unfortunately, you're going to need a whole lot more manpower than an entire subreddit of collectors to stop me from telling you 70% of this handheld is nothing. For half the library this handheld has to offer, you've got yourself a glorified Sonic Heroes McDonald's toy. Yeah, Sega does what Nintendo don't. Like giving you these games for free inside a Happy Meal. At worst, you could argue it's that. At best, they're fun enough, but obviously very outmatched here. So I reckon fittingly, I should just insert a mini video inside of a massive video. I ranked all 11 Pokemon mini games. Pokemon Party Mini, making mini games out of an already mini game. How ambitious of you there. That's sure to lock in a total playtime of a solid 50 seconds. I cannot see anyone playing this for more than 10 minutes, and that's being generous. If you actually clocked in more than 10 minutes of playtime on this one, you are a Neanderthal. You've spawned back in from hundreds of thousands of years ago. Aside from that, you've got a smoke break's worth of playtime on this one, and not a Super King either. There's nothing particularly wrong with them though. Fast-paced, snappy high score games, but there's nothing much to them either. Slowpoke tennis umpire, Chansey kicking a ball about on very slippery, Pong-like controls. There's a Blossom game where you're meant to rattle the whole console when they dance. Hitmonchan game where you're meant to rattle the whole console to assault a matchup. A Pikachu game where you're meant to feel the rumble ping off and smash the A button as quick as you can in a race. A 2-player Sneasel fake out game. I'm quite certain I'd have binned off video games as a pastime if this was my first impression of them. Maybe it would have done me good. I probably would have focused purely on playing guitar or sketching, maybe even Thai boxing if I got shown that early enough. Maybe I would have gone further with an actual talent instead of being a degenerate YouTuber. Pichu Bros, just what I wanted, more of the same. This minigame compilation, it's a little bit more saucy. You got some of that curry dip along with the Happy Meal. Smooch'em, Diglett whacking game, Pichu Pro Skater, Magby air balloon landing. All in all, they're just like a compilation of scaled down Kirby minigames. Then Pokemon Channel pipes up if you wanted even more, and exclusive access to the unreleased Snorlax Lunchtime. And if they'd released that one, it would have been one of the better mini games from these compilations. Not offending me there. Nice bit of reflex work, simple enough. Feed the Snorlax Scran and not the Pichu. But if you get too greedy and consume that Pichu, it's all over. Just a Pichu brother from now on, and tragically forever stuck a Pichu. Good luck on a happiness evolution after he's watched his brother devoured alive. Then we have zany cards, and seeing as there's no chips on the table or duel monsters, it's a set of card games I have no idea how to play. But sometimes you've just got to heart of the cards and blag your way through any game you play. Even got Team Rocket making an appearance. Am I even winning? Are Jesse and James combating against each other as well? Are we having ourselves a little zany triple threat matchup?
By God, that's Meowth's music. We haven't seen Meowth since he got blasted off again last month at the Royal Rumble.
You do kind of get the hang of it, seeing it played, and you know, just looking up the rules for each one. Nothing wrong here if a bit of zany cards is your thing. This one is in the solid tier. Pokemon Breeder Mini, seeing as it's one of the few games here with actual depth to it, and in full Japanese, then it's gotta be the least intuitive game here to sheer intuition your way through. Left to fend for myself again, taking care of a Tamagotchi, and the instruction manual to taking care of a fully sentient being is in full Japanese. Like, grill? What the hell is that? A lot of scary text, a lot of responsibilities, a point-and-click egg tender game. This ain't really my kind of game with or without the imposing Japanese text in front of me. It does seem to be one of the more thought-out mini-games though. Considering half of them, you're paying 10 quid for a singular WarioWare game. This one, fair enough. Race Mini, your standard race 2D platformer. Nothing wrong with that. Makes you feel as though you're playing a somehow even more nerfed version of the original Mario Land. We're getting into the heavy hitters. The two puzzle collection games. games. These ones may be a sleeper build in the minis catalog. Tickles the old noggin making puzzles of Pokemon straight to level 2, and it's already frying my brain. A freaky artillery to solve. Don't worry, I'll fix you up, buddy. I can see why they stuck to Japan only for the sequel. The animated ones can be stupidly tricky to solve. This one isn't even just me. Do you understand how hard it is to be assembling a 4x4 animated GIF when it's moving like Soldier Boy SpongeBob? And then we have Pinball Mini. Oh lord, finally the first bit of semblance of an actual game when I was playing these in order at least. Trigger operated Diglett Pinball. You can chuck the entire manual in full Japanese at anybody. That caveman who just picked up the mini and everything. Human nature is going to take its course. Diglett hit the ball. Feels more like a mini golf challenge game. I can respect it. And an old Japanese Togepi prodding game. This one's even pulling out the storytime cards. A wee Togepi getting grabbed by a Fearow. It's been very hit and miss across the entire handhelds library. But I've got to say here, the art's looking solid. Literally none of these games should need text anyway. A Victorian child should find all of these intuitive. And that's exactly what Togepi rolling is all about. Shifting the Eggman through courses. Actually got a solid physics system going for it. Good little momentum on the egg. Holds up surprisingly well. And finally, Tetris. Classic. You can't botch Tetris, can you? The coding for that might as well be public domain. Now, it's not the most responsive Tetris. Kinda hard to gauge what column the block is in, you know, when you snap it down quick, but you'll eat whatever you're given on the absolute gizmo that you're playing on here. Probably the best thing you're gonna be playing on this. Pokemon Picross 3DS. Never played Picross before. Don't even know if I'm pronouncing it correctly. But as a freemium game, to me it holds the same amount of sentience as Farmville. Is that even still a game? Nah, no chance. Gotta be. None of that player base were getting past the pandemic. Point being, Picross is nowhere near worth the respect of me brushing up my phonetic skills for. Now, having never played one of these, I understand what's going on, but to begin with, my brain was a bit stop and start with it. Am I being too smooth in the brain to understand? Is my dome not grippy enough for you? But turns out, I do understand. Perfectly clear, straight away. And this womanly sprite just won't stop mouthing off. Too much of the jibber jabber can leave me to my own devices. Her tutorial is making me even more confused. The moment she exits my peripheral, I fully understand. Comes back, I'm clueless again, getting told off for doing something wrong, as if her very presence has the same properties as Mermaid Man's Orb of Stupefying. Yeah, alright, I think I've got it. Match the numbers. Yep, sound mate. What else are you asking me to do? I got no change on me, brother, sorry. I don't mind doing the numbers for you though. Not much to it. Addictive puzzle game. Tickles the old noggin. I already don't mind Sudoku and things like that, so I'm actually about this type of puzzle game. Freemium or not, which I'm really feeling the brunt of here. So much of the iconic freemium fluff padding this out. Energy bar that you have to replenish each level. Equip Pokemon that reveal spaces. Give you hints. What have you. That time out for about an hour. And oh, baby, you already know that paycheck is coming in gems. I was thinking at first, the energy bar wasn't just a nerf to stop me from simply smashing the A button across all the panels, with the only penalty being a little bit of a slap on the wrist from the woman telling me off. It's actually there to time me out for the day. It's there to bait me out into paying the Gem Goblin. Now, a full-on game like this with no freemium interruptions, I'd gladly play for a long train ride or while sat in the toilet in between the conversations with God I'm having after taking a gamble on the 2-star rated hygiene Bossman Periwings. What little I did manage to get out of it actually did hook me a wee bit, because I'm a sucker for these kind of puzzles. But unless the freemium daily timer bait goes, you're forever destined to play this game bound by the God's chains. Oh my God, yes, another cuboid game. Derogatory, by the way. Pokemon Quest. Can't say it's bad at all. I know it's quite low down rated, but for me, it's not even a Pokemon side quest. More like a Pokemon sub-quest. Pokemon errand mission. Pokemon Preston Garvey. I'll mark it on your map. Quest. Praise Jeebus. It's not actually a Minecraft thing. Seeing only thumbnails, I passively just assumed that, like it was some kind of Pixelmon attempt. But no, it's a top-down, mostly plays itself wave after wave of Locust type of game. Unfortunately, also one of them run out of supplies and head to the shop type of free game. Can choose to select timed attacks with the cursor, even play fully automatic if you want. May as well see how it goes down, because I don't think the outcome is going to change. All that goes out the window when power level starts to be the main factor, and the gameplay is based on absorbing damage. So you just have to watch yourself perish, semi-predetermined up to a certain point. You're permanently in younger brother gets the dodgy controller mode. After defeating wave after wave of species, eventually they yield and join your expeditions. Conqueror Squirtle and his giant crockpot in the middle of nowhere. One of the biggest dictators of war hunger. They fold very quickly and join you. Sold out their boys for a big bucket of soup. So there's that clear sense of progression, but I couldn't find myself getting too invested. It's really just not my thing. You might like it, it's a bit low rated, but don't be mad at me. It's just not my thing, free or paid for. I understand paying for Unite or Champions, but I'd have to draw the line here, I think, because they're at least hyper competitive. This one's more like paying to watch a bunch of sea monkeys you made in a jar get into a backyard Kimbo Slice fight. This one doesn't strike me as a full-on freemium hustle though. You don't really have to pay, from what I can tell. It knows what it is and doesn't try to be more. We've gone from Rumble to Rumble Blast, or Super, don't know which one it is. Rumble Wild. It's the natural order of things, but the vibes, I gotta say, they're just off with this one. A singular castle location, going through cut and paste asset stages. I feel like I'm getting gaslit on this one a little bit. It's far and away the least world-like out of all the Rumbles, straying away from the 1-1 overworld map style. I'm playing this straight after the first 3DS Rumble, which was a little bit of a sleeper build for me. At first you're thinking, it's close enough to the past game. Still got that addictive, punchy gameplay, but you start dropping the me's in there. Has there been any game that's already its own franchise that's been improved by the addition of these little I much preferred this universe existing without humans in the world, even if they're freakish digital homunculus humans that are made inside the Wii box. The most human interaction going should be the implication that this is us playing with them as toys. A god lurking over the toy kingdom, dicking about with them in a toy shop as a 45-year-old man. That's about it, really. You are the toys, and I am Sid, your oppressive authoritarian dictator with the magnifying glass and hot day combo. There's nothing you can do about it. So them first impressions, they're not swaying me here, because I've played all of the others before playing this one, so I know it's a massive step down. My gut is feeling the same energy I felt playing Gates to Infinity. This is the clangor of the Rumble franchise. Repetitive stages, randomized level select option, auto attack when walking. I'm just wondering how they're gonna go from 3DS to 3DS game and downgrade this much. Level to level adventure, battle royales, all the way down to rise and grind, collectathon. How are they gonna make you pay an in-game currency for Pokemon storage space? The whole gimmick is getting a stronger toy after every 30 seconds of gameplay near enough. You can't be hard capping that now. Too much and too frequently of an inventory issue there. Cut and paste stages, bosses down in like 4 hits, randomized stages that leave you praying the roulette gods shine upon you for a little bit, because if not, you're just repeating an old stage for zero reason. You want more areas to unlock? Hey, you gotta pay the toll first. More storage space. Whack out the blank check on the gems there. If you die, pay the gem goblin. You getting cute with me? You taking the piss? Having to pay to continue a gem tax? I don't even know at what point in playing this I've even got gems in the first place. How do you get... Oh my god, gems. This is more freemium dog, isn't it? Oh, okay. Alright, I see how it is. I've been gaslit. Gaslit into playing a rise and grind, come back every day, microtransactional game. Right, there we go. Free to play, that's what's throwing me off. I've literally textured a physical copy of this game for the thumbnail and the graphics and all of that here. A freemium physical release. Are you having me on? Oh, what a time to be alive. The 3DS version just got released to offset the free-to-play aspect by topping you up with 3 bags worth of gemeralds to just eternally pay the gem gobbo tax. All right then, sound. Yeah, no dramas. I mean, aside from the gaslighting, I don't really appreciate that. But cheers, boss. Much easier to rank then. It's a light version of Rumble, but free to play. In this case, a glorified mobile game where my standards drop from 3DS to iOS. I mean, it's solid enough, kinda. On a phone, I could maybe get into a bit of this. Maybe. Tell you what. That face is really boorish. Give Pikachu a little Pokopia in between levels. Addictive little mug on him, hasn't he? If I'm remembering, Pokemon Dash, a day 1 DS release title, so for many people across the globe, Pokemon Dash may very well have felt the warm embrace of the DS stylus
Before their very own urethras had.
a fine honour to bestow upon this game, because that's all it's really getting from me. Well, not me, but some of you wacky little racers out there, I know what you were doing with that thing. Got them horse race mechanics, get that stylus sweeping like, go on ya, boy. Pokemon Dash. Alright, so if you've not played this one, what kind of Pokemon would you be expecting? Obviously, you have like your Machamps and your Blazerkins in Pokkén for fighting, but racing, what sort of lineup are you thinking? Did you say Munchlax? That little 4-year-old with the same physical properties as a small car engine. You know it's not a car racing game. Now, did I forget? Did I leave that part out for you? This was when Munchlax was an early Generation 4 revealed Pokemon as well. So they just couldn't wait. They had to get him on the tracks. They took one look at him and went, right, what if we put that prick on a racetrack? Well, nice of them to pit you up against bottom set PE for the warm-up. Pokkén has Machamps and Blazerkins. Dash has Munchlax and Blazikens to each their own. What's a jump in the skill gap you're talking there? That's not even sprinting against top set PE. That's like a Baki level scale. Walking into a gym for the first time and sparring a Muay Thai world champion. I'm only just discovering this game had fully evolved races. Didn't think Blaziken deserved any part to this. Got much better things, much better spin-offs to be making an appearance in. So my memory of this one is very faint. I don't even recall some of the later stages, so chances are I barely dented this game and went straight back into Mario 64 and drawing Sonic saying slurs on PictoChat. Pokemon Air Dash as well. I don't remember doing this. And you're shown this mechanic about 2 minutes into the tutorial, so as you can tell, zero impression left on me this one. I'll vividly remember eating Chinese chicken balls for the first time on my birthday, 2004, when I first played this. Yet I didn't even retain having to drop Pikachu in like a predator missile. You only get to play as Pikachu. For the most part, you're competing against other small, insignificant Pokemon, such as yourself. The later lineup, it gets a bit overkill. Not just your Blazikens, that's bad enough, but your Mighty Eaters. We're talking about baby Pokemon here. Why not simply devour the competition and win first place by a technicality, doctor's stoppage, unconsensual forfeit, the wide array of childlike Pokemon, and this singular German Shepherd-built Pokemon, new Mr. Beast. I placed 6 toddlers on a small island with 1 XL bully on the prowl. The toddlers are vying for their future college tuition fee paid for. The XL bully is out to win Handburger. It sounded enough for like a wee tech demo. It felt more like a tutorial to get you used to using your stylus and touchscreens in general. A nice little get used to this, cause you and everyone else are gonna be using these things every day for the next 80 years, or at least until the Mr. Beast games eliminates all of us in the year 2037. This game sits in the back of my brain in the same way a Mario 64 DS minigame does. Pokemon Cafe Remix, an undocked only playable title here. Touchscreen only as well. And actually, you might as well be telling me for the first time that the Switch has a touchscreen, because I honestly can't remember playing a single game that's made me do it. I don't think a game out there could ever make me do it. I'm not touching that screen. You mean to tell me touchscreen only? With no stylus? Oh geez, what next? Do you want me to cut my steak with my nails? You Philistine? You expect me to play this game raw dog? I've only just met you. A phone, a tablet, that's whatever, but this ain't the same. You don't just touch a DS screen with your bare fingers, you savages. I bet yous were the same kids who used to get warned to by the others about being a biter. People won't touch Dave's screen without a stylus, but they eat ass. I come back again tomorrow, freemium app. It's very solid enough. You've got easy enough addictive gameplay. You've got a nice, cute, cozy little goal to work towards, adding Pokemon to your workforce and expanding the size of the cafe building, all wrapped up, and I think this is what really gets you hooked in, what separates it from it being just your standard bit of freemiumware. It's all put together in one hell of an art style. You can't help but love it. You've just got to respect the craft that went into this visually. I can't even be pressed that it's a freemium. It's absolutely getting the pretty privilege pass from me. I don't even care that they've got the stamina shards, the golden acorns. Oh, okay. I see. You can't gaslight me now. Not again. I know a currency of the gem gobbo when it's betwixt my eyes. You got all the hits, the gems, monthly goals, heavily monetized in-game shop, all there so that you can make your EV lattes and your Doug Trio sausage, egg and bacon triples. You serve a Pokemon enough times to fill the void in their hearts. And once that's done, you got them locked in. Then it's part of the ship, part of the crew. Where I can only assume the love in their hearts will gradually wear down as they willingly become a Pokemon wagey. Imagine your barista being Charizard. Like, man, hey, falling on some tough times. Definitely leaving you a tip, brother. Gee, you were the man back in the day. What I'm saying is, the Pokemon become regulars of your cafe to the point where they end up working for you. I'm so glad it does not work that way in the real world. Right now, I wouldn't be doing this. I'll be stuck behind a bar on island pouring Guinness for the rest of my life. Right, you've had enough lattes from us. Now it's your turn. Go on. Behind the till. Nah. Oh Lord, please do not burn that beans. He will kill me. They local your cafe to the point where they rock up and land a job boomer style with the firm handshake and resume combo. The gameplay though, there's not much to it. It's literally just dragging fingerprints all over your Switch screen annoyingly. In fact, it bothered me so much I played the mobile one instead. But what you do is drag your little fingerprints across and you chain all the Pokemon heads into a big thing. You break objects based on the ingredients needed. It's just a cozy, stress-free, yet much more intimate version, in a way, of Pokemon Trozei. Swirling that thingy around, nothing wrong with that, nothing wrong with that. This one also doesn't feel as sacrilege as a free-to-play since there's no actual game for me to compare this to and then be very disappointed by in comparison. Very hard carried by the aesthetic here, but I can see how you could get absorbed into this one. It's still fun enough, completely harmless, but it really makes you think that, yeah, shouldn't they be, making, you know, full games of actual sentience looking like this? It's a wasted art style on this. Do it on something else. Another hidden little trading card game. This one, weirdly, for the PC. Pokemon Play It and Play It Version 2. Now, preparing for this video, a lot of trial and error for the big rebrand here. As you could probably tell, it's a bit new to me, right? I thought Pokemon would be an easy enough one to kick off with. I wasn't prepared to be having to bust out any with Windows 98 compatibility settings here. But dodgy games to boot up, it must be done. Pokemon Play It. It must be played because apparently so many kids only like the cards because they're shiny and have that, that enchanting cardboard musk surrounding them. We had to make a game called Play It. Please, actually play it. In fact, here's version 2, just so we can double tap. A stern reminder, just in case you missed the first one, to tell you again, play it! Paranoia I was feeling. Somebody's probably listening to me right now on my desktop from downloading this. Some random PC game, clearly not meant for consumption on a PC 30 years on. I'd be lying to you if I said a small fragment of my brain wasn't thinking, turn back here and now, lest ye wind up a creepy pasture of legend. Only the stoutest, hairiest fishermen would speak of me the way they talk about the legend of Kelpie or old Greg. And then Blastoise withdraw into his shell, and when he come out, he was red. G-checking me for all of this info. Type in your name here. You take one look at this. Now I'm using the word very generously here. Humanoid model. And I don't think she's asking. I can't even front here. A lot of that fear of the unknown getting on this really old dodgy game. It's kind of lost once you start paying attention to the haircut. And look, I know hair was very tricky to translate into 3D back then. Even now, a lot of people can't even do it. So you really have to ask yourself the big questions here. For your main gal here, why would they go for such an ambitious bonnet? You could have just had a generic red stand-in like Stadium, equip the classic hat, cover that display up, then you're not worrying about having to deal with hair in the 3D realm. I'd be more understanding if you just give her a straight skin fade. Man, I thought she got done dirty by the bonnet. How have they lined up my man Gengar down there on the card mat? All of them have like the base form generic PNGs. While Gengar, Jesus, you're looking fried. You can even tell they've literally scanned the real cards for this. You can see the white peeling on the end. How are your cards not even gonna crack a PSA 6 in your own game? Me going from being a semi-regular pocket TCG player to this, it was a bit frustrating. Like going from driving a dirt bike around a professional track to being stuck in the back of a warm school bus that for some reason is deadlocked in M25 traffic. Even once the tutorial stages are finished, when you've got to the free play, you'd think for a mode called Advanced Champion Battle, she'd finally learn to pipe down. For 1 minute, they need an option to mute the Zoom call there. Once I've loaded up Gyarados on the side, topped him up with 4 energies, you'd assume, as the TCG master of this creepypasta realm, that she would know her role by now. That she's not dealing with the average children's card game warrior anymore. But no, she still feels the need to pipe in every now and again. Not every now and again, every second. Still feels the need to give a little live commentary, a play-by-play for her every move, just in case I'd forgotten an energy can still be played. No thanks. My Gyarados is full. Thank you very much.
My active Pokemon has enough energy, and I've done everything else I want to do, so...
You know, maybe I don't want voice acting in Pokemon. Waffling on for ages. Too much yipping, too much yapping. Oh, don't even get me started on the jibber jabber. I can't be and that's from me, looking at a 3-hour video here. Look, I've got a lot of games to get through here today, please, love. It gets to a point where I'm so convinced she is just taking a piss, especially when it's a difficult game. She speaks exactly the way I would if I were ever sweeping someone at a card game and I'm trying to rage bait them.
I should get some Pokemon on the bench, just to get them ready for battle.
Walking my opponent through my every step slowly, talking like an anime character. Ha! I think I'll attach an energy while demolishing you. Very patronizing, while she knows your hand is 5 energies and a singular Diglett, while she's over there strapped up with 2 Sea Kings. That's a greedy portion of fish, but I'm not even mad. In fact, I'm actually quite glad to see that even for a PC exclusive tutorial game, the RNG is still slitting me open. It's part of the full experience. So you're set up with this fighting deck. I was on my 4th try now at this tutorial stage. 4th attempt at this basic challenge. And I'm still sat here waiting for that heart to the cards to kick in any minute now. Every time I've had a Machop in hand. At this point in time, I'm not convinced a Machop is even in the game. As far as I know, Machop sat in my hand like, don't worry about me, no bother now. No, just spectating. I'll pretend I'm not here, be no trouble. She's actually going off old school playground rules. Yeah, no, I just threw Machop in there because I just like how the card looks. Also, I'm playing him straight from my hand and he beats you up because he's big and strong, so I win. All of this wrapped up in a neat little package full to the brim of these corny stock 90s sound effects, which ain't the one here. Just imagine how much of an aura loss a game like Yu-Gi-Oh would have. Giant Egyptian monsters summoned from the ground, only to be smacking each other about with the Hanna-Barbera library of sounds. Gear 3 the Eye and Night taking your opponent's monster down. But if you close your eyes, it sounds like the slippers come off. Getting a beating from Mammy Two Shoes. All the Pokemon have their own unique sound effects as well. These ones are a lot more interesting. They can range from your standard anime rips like your classic to Blastoise sounding straight evil. Maybe his head will come out red from his shell. From that to what, was I tripping out or am I hearing Macho Man coughing? Does his old coughing, or he does all that stuff and then he sneaks in a little ooh yeah right at the end. No, I heard that. I see you. Hey, Randy Coffo over here. You got Krabby, sounding like a crustacean Southern Belle. And Slowbro. Look, you'd expect something stupid sounding right, but I wasn't expecting this one. This man is sounding greedy, like he's found that shell, and it's all for him. He's hitting you with that Brian Griffin. I love chocolate, but I can't eat it because then I'll get fat. But it's so good. I have to say though, it's a slow start, very limited game definitely. But once you get to the free play at the end, make your own decks, try out the rentals. It's just a classic bit of cardboard pocket monstering. And it was probably amazing to have back in '98, surrounded by all the kids on your street who haven't the slightest idea of how to play. This was the best sparring partner you're gonna get. I'm sure we all had the thing where you tried to teach one of your parents how to play it, but no chance, that won't gonna happen. It can't compare to the Game Boy pair. But I'd have been big into playing this as much as I would have been terrified of it. You had Pocket TCG, except it's in the computer room. You had the family desktop TCG. Pokemon Art Academy. Oh, no. I'm far too old to be attending these days. Back in the mid-2000s, this would have been an amazing game for me. But as an adult, all this drawing, it has me feeling like I'm grafting. I mean, I am working. You know, playing all these games is essentially work for me right now. But Art Academy, though, it's not that kind of work. I'm talking like doing a uni assignment kind of work. Another game that I was born in the wrong time for. In the prime of my childhood, the prime of my arts and crafts days, just doing whatever. I would have been off my absolute nuts for an art-based Pokemon game. Doesn't even need to be Pokemon related, that's just a bonus. I was already rinsing PictoChat. I specifically wanted a DSi purely to animate and Flipnote Studio. This game is what every kid wanted PictoChat to be. This would have helped me massively in understanding how to draw Pokemon, at least in basic form. None of that back in my day. You were either going on dragowart.com for tutorials, or you'd better hope you had the right Pokemon card to bring up to your eyeballs as a reference. The frustrating thing for me is, a big reason why this feels like working for me, I actually can draw, and I say I'm decent enough for somebody who's never actually tried to train it and only draws from references, but literally not one slither of that natural skill transferred to any form of tablet or touch-based drawing. Probably because I didn't actually learn it, but still. So as a late 90s boy, I am right there along with them kids who need the assistance. I feel like a boxer who can't make the jump to MMA. Nah, I'm too old school. You know, pencil and paper, that's all you need. Don't need any of them Wacom tablets, the Pay Tool Sai, them Imanari rolls, the classic 1-2 kick, that's all I need. So they pair you up with an NPC sketching along with you. Also attending the Art Academy. But occasionally you might glance over the desk, you gotta see what she's doing. Like, what's she even doing? Hey, well, come on, friendly fire here, brother. They've lumped me in with bottom set, haven't they? Hey, this ain't an art community center doing walk-ins. This, my friends, is an art academy, sir. But apparently they're letting anyone with a minimum of 2 fingers attend. What kind of references has she been using? I know what an Oshawott looks like. That is not An Oshawott. That's an Oshawott after hearing a Conquest monologue. Most kids, most of them ain't got a clue how to draw. And that's perfectly fine. 100% gotta be why the side character you're paired up with is producing art pieces that may very well be enough of a portfolio to finally have her sectioned. It's genius actually to maintain child player attentions. They have to sandbag her drawings. They have to be worse. The in-game character, they can't be pulling SpongeBob down Squidward's Art Academy kind of mug jobs. For what it is, the game's very decent. You progress from drawing to pastels, painting. The whole Art Academy is very well funded, clearly. It's just not my sort of game for the present version of me. I didn't get too deep into this one, but I get the gist, alright? I've paid my dues when it comes to drawing Pokemon. I've had a whole lifetime of it when I was younger, and it's not purely because I somehow soft-locked myself in the free draw mode. Can't quit, can't progress. Eternally trapped button mashing, zooming into front-facing Homer. Pokemon Art Academy. Pokemon Friends. Oh, Friends. You know, maybe the one existing Pokemon game that's got nothing to do with them. No power of friendship here unless you consider digital plushies to operate under Toy Story witchcraft magic. In which case, you could do with a Pokemon sectioning. Coincidentally, that one's also a puzzle game, actually. Your friends are unsentient. Ones you have to create yourself. How dare you claim for I am friendless? Why, yes, I have hundreds of thousands of friends right here in my trailer home emporium of Funky Pups. Now, sick 'em, boys. You're here to puzzle solve and build your rooms like you're a shelf stacker down a poker center shop. It's another Pokemon puzzle adventure for you. Essentially a mobile game that they've price fixed with the Nintendo tax on top of the already lucrative yellow rat tax. Over 1,200 puzzles for an £8 eShop game with a lot of yarn and, dare I say, a lot of charm behind it too. No more daily limits. Oh, hang on, boys. Let's not be so hasty now. We may have a fair trade on our hands here. Now, them 1,200 puzzles you see in the adverts, I'm talking the fully paid version, the second tier, 33 quid. You could cut back this weekend, not get 1.5 pints of Guinness, take the rest of that 33 quid and get yourself the new Star Fox for that kind of money. Comical for what that is. No daily limit, but far less puzzles that you're going to be bullied into getting them DLC packs if you get a little bit too invested. You know what? For all the chat I've been giving the freemium up to this point, this one should have been freemium. But then no, I insist. You get that price tag off of that store right now, you hustlers. You are, you little scamps. Get out of here. Solving these very mini puzzles. Yarn reward, create plush, decorate rooms with plush. Even got a nice bit of RNG on the plush rate. Oh, okay, right, that's it. Now I'm locked in. You're tapping into that card opening addiction gene. 2% Rayquaza odds. I like them numbers. Even got that pull rates legal warning, altering the rates based on what you already own, that's an awfully nice way of doing it on their part. Not like Pocket TCG giving me 30 cottonese. Oh, boy, double prizes. You even got the bonus plush odds stacked onto there and all. Oh, it's just all tickling the same node in my brain that wanted to catch Shadow Lugia with full health in a base Pokeball on XD. This had me wondering, are these going to get more complex as the plushies do? Have I got to be cracking more sequences in under a minute if I want to be yarning myself an Origin Giratina? Side quests slotted in there as well to pawn off all of your double pulls. Get yourself more hardware for the gaff editor. You can have yourself a trade with the in-game characters. I receive entire sofa. You receive Pikachu, a Garfetzi for 4 quid. Yeah, you can carry it up the stairs as well. It looks great. The collecting is a little bit addictive, but at its core, all of this, it's all baby games for dumb babies to bang out puzzles in seconds flat to make your brain temporarily feel like a supercomputer. As if your brain is a Bitcoin miner that mines marketable plushies. Yes, you can play all these games endlessly on Newgrounds or some Chinese spyware app, but no, you need them plushies. You want to pay the Pokemon tax man. It's a fine enough game, but only by the standards of freemium or spending like a $5 maximum, ideally for the entire game, but 33 quid, Jesus Christ, hey, come on it. You're rinsing me, Nintendo. You're rinsing me, Mario. Based on what I've been playing, I would have assumed the free version would be the one I'm playing right now, and the DLC add-on version, 33 quid. Again, Mario, you greedy little knobhead. I would have assumed that version would cost about 8 quid. Nothing wrong with Pokemon Friends for what it is, but no ratings going towards the predatory Pokémon cash cow machine.
Mystery Dungeon for the Wii. Yeah, you probably didn't know about that one, unless you're deep into your dungeons. Yeah, little goblin, yeah. Actually, if it were on the Wii, we don't know about it. WiiWare, though, neck and neck with Pokemon Ranch, even reusing the same models from Pokemon Rumble, like Ranch does. Oh, not a good start there. Don't be telling me there's a Mystery Dungeon that should have stayed that way now. Japan-only release. WiiWare. I'd have more chance of knowing this game existed if you released it on a Leapfrog. But after 10 minutes of a harsh slew of Japanese characters and my buttons not attacking at all, didn't realize my Wiimote had to be Japanese as well. I mean, they all are, right? Anyway, I would have assumed. But there I was. I caved and discovered an English patch, as you all can too if you're curious enough. Weirdly enough, though, this game isn't plot sensitive at all. Incredibly off-brand for this spin-off franchise. It's like a mystery dungeon that's all grind, no payoff. Just in and out, clocking into that bulletin board. Am I expected to just graft for no payoff, for free, community service, dungeon to dungeon, no real story progression? It's like you're working behind the bar at a pub in the Coronation Street or EastEnders universe or whatever it is, and it's no drama, no one's kicking off, no Phil Mitchell, no Heather Trott, you're just clocking in for a shift when there's no actual story progression. I gotta say, I'm not really all that interested in doing it. If I'm just doing odd jobs for the sake of adventure points and the occasional pipe up from Slowking, then I've gotta say, I'm not really pressed about this one. Oh yeah, you think I'm in this graft to help people, to free them from dungeons, to deliver them a cherry berry or whatever? No, none of that. I'm here for the drama. I'm here for the work beefs. I'm not here to be a good Samaritan, alright? You can keep your 99-floor gauntlets. You want your 5-star dungeons? Nah, not me. I want time-traveling assassins. I want my townsfolk with fire, pitchforks, and a noose driving me out of the place. I played for a little bit, realized not a whole lot is going on, so before I bang out any more time grinding, I decided to make the rare executive decision to spoil myself, treat myself a little. Go on. But even still, I've got nothing really to report back to you. The deepest the plot goes here, from what I can gather, is village folk having disputes over chocolate, just a bunch of neighborhood watch scale riffraff. You're also not a human, as far as I know, just a standard civvy in the Pokémon world. So unless you're a complete fiend for some dungeon crawlers, you're really not missing out here. I know I wouldn't have been whacking out the freeloader had I known about this one as a kid. It's nowhere near a Japan-only loss to the scale of TCG2. As a fan, it might be interesting to play just to see what the series is like on a console, because surprisingly, this is their one crack at a uniquely console mystery dungeon. But sadly, you're massively feeling the wear in this WiiWare game. Look, if we're talking about the phrase mystery dungeon but abbreviated, Explorers of Sky would have you gurning for 3 days straight. This one, it might make you crack a smirk for a little bit. And look, I love MD. Mystery Dungeon. I like Mystery Dungeon enough, alright? But I think making this video has made me realize I'm so sick of this gameplay. I know I've just got fatigue with the gameplay, but it's very hard carried by the story. Don't get me wrong, it's still mostly great gameplay, but if the story isn't there to be the backbone, if it's not supplemented by that, then I'm not as interested. There isn't much to say about the game itself. It plays exactly as you'd expect. The only real change gameplay-wise is this stacking feature. A change that I see why it stayed in Japan. All it's really doing is combining you and your partner's HP, and it lets you attack twice. But when everyone else in the dungeon already does it, when everybody's stacking, then no one's stacking. All it really is another way for the RNG to screw you over when all of the other enemies are stacked up. But you've somehow not managed to find the little hole you need to have this arrangement for yourself, so you're just getting mugged. A 2-on-1 assault down a corridor. Yeah, nah, nothing really wrong with it necessarily, but it's a very, very optional game. Many of you might have missed this one from all that steam coming off the other 2 GameCube ones. But I'll tell you right now, you ain't missed much. Only a bit of TV. You can catch the highlights. No, I'll just give them to you now. Alright, Oak, you assembled your horde of Amazon drone magnamites to shift me a TV, to show me 3 minutes of a Pichu shorts. Yeah, thank you, Professor Oak, for a unemployed anime fan simulator. You will consume product, Professor Oak says threateningly as one of the Magnamites has a Bowie knife stuck to him. Then a just as unemployed as you, Pikachu, rocks up to your back door and starts squatters rightsing his way into your gaff as a permanent resident. A random rodent gets dropped off to your house, and now it is your responsibility. Unless it was a package deal along with Professor Oak's TV. I believe my device was supposed to come with a rat. Hey You Pikachu sequel near enough, just without the shouting. You're a poke and grabber now, point and click merchant. You poke the rodent, you point at things for him to look at for you, you flick the TV buttons. So let's get right into the meat. Oak's only given us the free view. Yeah, he's only like the most famous and richest professor ever. No Sky TV, no Cartoon Network. The occasional episode of Basil Brush is going to be the best we're getting, along with a number 32 and prawn crackers. Bang, bang. Remember to turn the oven off, Matt. I know you're watching. A solid 5 channels each, with about 4 minutes of an anime special on each one. Old old school, that is. Everyone knows that's how anime should be watched. Split up into unnecessary amounts of parts, with at least one of them missing and one of them in Spanish. Psyduck reporting the news with Meowth on the streets, fully mic'd up, fully voice acted. A little bit surreal. Team Rocket's own Meowth. Like, that's the actual guy. That's him, that's the Meowth. He's just existing in this universe for the crack of it. Why not? Shopping Squirtle, looking like he's about to shift me a NutriBullet or a black market air fryer you could fit a dog inside. Quiz Wobbuffet. Not so much a quiz, more of a basic observation channel. The sort of thing they'd show you to make sure you're not too drunk to drive home. Can you guess the Pokemon from behind this curtain? Okay, we can cut the... I know it's Sudowoodo. He's repeating his full government legal name in an almost falsetto voice. For some reason, right behind the curtains, I think he's having me on. I think he's taking a piss. Sudowoodo, Sudowoodo. Ooh, tough one you've given me there, Wobbuffet. I've still got all my lifelines. Nah, I won't risk it. I think I'd like to phone a friend, Wobbuffet. I think I'll call my mate, Sudowoodo. Don't think you'll know, but it's worth a shot, isn't it? Hello, is this Sudowoodo? Hi, I'm Wobbuffet, and you're on Quiz Wobbuffet tonight. Your mate's in a bit of a predicament, and he's hoping you can help him out here. Mate, that's a hard one. I reckon it's Coolfish. If that were me, then I don't know exactly now. Don't be mad, but I'll probably choose Coolfish if that were me, mate. But I don't know. QRT just picks up on the other end. He's still behind the car, like. Yeah, mate. So Moochum's Shape Up. Is the fitness game even worth the graft, knowing you're gonna one day grow up to be a Jinx? And there's nothing you can do about it. Why are you even doing the yoga? The Torture Reaper is looming. Let's say I'm a match choke. I ain't paying for creatine. I ain't watching Mike Chang, six-pack shortcuts. I ain't doing any of that. I'd train to fight, definitely. But why would I train like Prime Dorian Yates, when in a year or two, I'm gonna evolve into a four-armed version of him anyway? Slowpoke doing the weather. Yeah, laugh it up. He's loitering, doing the weather report really slowly, because he's Slowpoke. He's slow and he doesn't do things very well. Well, if you have to play this game like I do, you've got to watch every last second of that loitering, or else the Oak report, they ain't gonna be happy with you. Examination and egg hatching spectators lobby, waiting for the 5-minute respawn timer to finish. Win money, even if you guess what hatches from it. Live streamed births, that's the way of the future. That'll be Kick's next big thing. Right, get the donos in. Place your bets on what race it's gonna be. No, you do not get to know if there's a father present. Mareep Farm, another one of those time sync shows, but actually serves a purpose if you ever want the wee man to fall asleep, as opposed to Hey You Pikachu, where it happened unconsensually for him, from being bored out of his nut, having to exist in that game. Smeagol's art study, or as I like to call this show, Smeagol's art stolen. Yeah, oh, I went there, Smeagol. So there's this paint feature you can use to pause the anime special and color in screenshots yourself. It is absolute, so don't even stress about that. But these abominations you paint get hung up around the house, but somehow, within less than one business day, Smeagol's got his paws on them to display on his little show. So be warned, anytime you get the canvas out, just know during nightfall, this Smeagol cometh. Might get your TV as well next. I can let the house invasion slide, but stealing art without permission from the artist? Yeah, okay, all I'm gonna say, don't start your car tomorrow, Smeagol, alright? Chancy fortune cookie. Get a random generic fortune. Mine was saying something about whether something is new or old. It doesn't mean it is good. Ah, very wise, Chansey. Thank you. Not working on me, though. I've played this game both new and now old, and I still don't care. Look at Smoochum getting greedy. 2 network slots. A ranking channel. They got a Smoochum for the job. It's not fair. That should be me 24/7. Why am I not the leader of this operation? It's just random Pokemon getting points from other random Pokemon on the street for whatever. I don't know. No, don't mess with the channels. Not now, rat boy. Get out. Smoochum's about to air me out on live television. This is, but I can't sit here and watch this slander campaign. Come on, rat boy. We're going pub. Odd or even oddish on screen. Which is it? Win money. A good amount of channels build up, and Oak, he doesn't let you progress. Time is frozen. No sleep for you until all content is consumed and gambling has commenced. Well, I really don't think you've been watching all of my Instagram reels I've been sending. This one guy gets crushed by a hydraulic press. It's for you, dog. How'd you get Babe Station up on this? Oak didn't even hook me up with the 900 channels. Well, Pikachu, lesson to be learnt there. Got a deal with the hand you dealt. Guess you'll just have to crank one out to the Smoochum channel. Pikachu gives off requests. In some cases, straight demands. One of the few Pokemon games with an actual choice with some consequence. You can tell Pikachu, no TV, you don't pay the electrics around here. You're made of the stuff and you don't even let me charge my phone on your head. How are you that... How are you that type? At least Charmander lets me bum his tail to light a cig, but you... Nah, we're going in the garden. You little dick. You give me back, chat. Alright, sound. Yeah, fine. Do whatever. Do whatever, mate. But if you piss in the house, you're getting chucked in a dog cage for the night. Getting transferred to a Pokemon box. This is your property. I've only known the guy about 5 minutes. Pikachu thinks he runs the place. Don't push it there. You'll be back in them streets in a minute. Definitely the same Pikachu from Hey You. Going from house to house to just Kramer his way into. Pikachu wants to watch Smoochum shake up. Yeah, I'm sure he does. Nah, not happening. I'm still king of the jungle round here. I've got the remote. I've got the omnipotent Mickey Mouse glove that presses the buttons. But aside from being sat inside watching the TV, there's a slight outside bit of exploring to do. This aspect was a lot more interesting, but it's very bare bones. I reckon they should have leaned more towards going about areas and interacting with other Pokemon. Like Hey You tried to do. Man, your house is surrounded by mobs. It's probably lucky only a Pikachu claimed squatters' rights in your house. I think Professor Oak doxed you, to be honest. Ditto out the front door. Dog Trio ruining your back garden. Absolute nightmare of a Pee-wee's playhouse to be living in. Imagine taking a go back and a 3-foot Ledybuzz bouncing off your windows while your pet rat is watching eggs hatch on live TV. Got Hitmonlees out your front door. Oh, I'm late for work. But Hitmonlees out the front just stood like an idle Tekken fighter. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm not going to be able to make it in again today. Oi, look, if it helps, it isn't 8 foot tall. Hitmonlee. Oh, if you want to come sort him out, you can. I'll come into work that way, but I'm not doing it. Even then, you're very safe. All the Pokemon can do, all you can do at the outside Pokemon is have a little chat with them and answer a, to be honest, somewhat narcissistic question. Because it's always about themselves. They never talk about your day. They don't ask you how you're doing. Oh yeah, late for work again because I was standing out your door, mean mugging you. Yeah, sorry about that one. No, they just ask you a question about their own lore. A fun factoid about themselves. And you get a nice card of themselves if you answer correctly. Yeah, why, thank you. You did know my exact order of satay, chicken skewers, beef curry, egg fried rice from the Chinese. Is my rookie card, chap. Yeah, that's me, alright. Just hands you a trading card with their passport photo on it. But get it wrong and, ooh, you don't want to do that. Oh, you don't know me. You're not getting a nice card at all. Yeah, the Pokemon all collect cards of themselves. Jesus, even the Pokemon are a bunch of scalpers. I'd definitely try opening a pack of human trading cards. Not like shootouts or baseball cards. I'm talking like, oh, no way. I just pulled a holographic rare of my mate Danny. This one could have more legs. Even just remembering the trailer for Mega Malamar. Actual in-law Pokemon media could have a lot more potential here. Love to have been in front of this TV right when Groudon vs. Kyogre was kicking off. Be like seeing 9/11 happen in real time.
Jesse, James, turn on the TV. It doesn't matter what channel.
I'd be on Sky Bet for the big hoe and tear up though. Some acca that'd be. What's the over-under on super effective strikes landed? Groudon to win. Kyogre to be caught in a Great Ball. Rayquaza interference. Yes. Insane return on that. The general public aren't expecting a solar beam landed on Kyogre. A Great Ball catch, that's a bit risky. That might be the one to do me in. But it's not unheard of. When the Ultra Balls run dry, it does happen. Crack on the TV, expecting to catch your morning egg watching. Deoxys plastered all over the news like, well, great. That's the aliens are real now. Sick. They're not just any aliens like Greys. Pokemon aliens. Just what we needed. Psyduck could be running his shows like it's InfoWars. Psyduck Alex Jones talking about Uplucid City getting frozen over like it was all a psyop. This one definitely held up more as a kid. It's a whole lot of nothing. Faffing about. Very much like this whole segment. Did you know? Pokemon Stadium 2 is actually the third installment in the franchise. Yeah, I guess it seems as though they've got a bit of a Final Fantasy report over here in the West. There's actually quite a few of these Japan exclusives in this video. Right, Japan, I'll only ask you once. Are there any other hidden goodies I should know about that you're not going to share with the rest of the world? Keeping Unit 731 to yourself, that's one thing, but withholding Pokemon Stadium content is where we're going to be having words. Forgive my French, for I don't speak the weeb's English. Pocket Monster Stadium is the official title. Japan only, limited run, limited playability, just 40 Pokemon available. So I guess, yeah, we all know who the real favorites are. You could maybe argue that these 40 are the 151 of the original 151. More of a tech demo than anything. But can you really be surprised that they officially sold this? Pokemon battling in the third dimension for the first time back in the 90s. They didn't even know about the third dimension till Buzz Lightyear showed them. They wouldn't care if the only playable Pokemon was a Dugtrio with one of the heads missing. That'd still be a must-see game when 3D was still mind-blowing in any capacity. I can imagine it'd be the equivalent to us currently if it turned out we could play Yu-Gi-Oh! With actual giant holograms and giant stadiums. Navigating the main menu. No idea what I'm pressing, but I'm getting in that stadium. The main menu, mostly locked off, but that's some intuitive design I can get behind. Jeez, look at that. Off. Oh, universal, timeless button, that one. We can all get behind a bit of off. Blastoise and Charizard on the thumbnail above. Oh, that can only mean one thing. On. It's on. It's kickoff time. About as universally understood as a gents and women's sign. When I heard tech demo, I thought people were underselling this a little bit. Then the game starts off with a POV of you walking up to a keyboard. Not only are you playing a tech demo, you're playing as someone who is playing a tech demo. I was thinking it was officially sold, so how much of a tech demo could it really be? I'm talking you get 1v1s and what I think is a singular tournament mode. Maybe there's a bit more behind the mostly locked main menu, but sorry, this game's gonna have to speak up. I can't read. I'm just going off sheer untranslated instinct and what color the box is next to the moves. There is literally zero reason for you to play this over the actual stadium games outside of your own sheer curiosity. But even still, it's an interesting thing to play as a Pokemon fan. It feels like extra hidden content. The only way you get a hold of things like this now is when a massive data leak happens, let alone it being officially sold on shelves, limited run or not. You can feel the potential Pokemon Stadium lurking within. Nostalgia for a game I've never played until the year 2026. Now, you have to excuse my Japanese. I'm not brushed up in a little bit, but I do believe that there's an Alakazam with a dig. And that right there, that's the Pokemon Stadium housery I know and love. Getting the spoons dirty. And as always, in any tournament-based setting, the Japanese announcer always commands the room in a way that our commentators, they just can't. In a 1v1, you can even choose the exact team that the opponent has, which unless I'm forgetting anything, I don't think you could do that in 1 and 2. The Pokemon Stadium equivalent to a free disc you'd get in an old PlayStation magazine that lets you play Time Splitters for 5 minutes and watch a trailer for a game that never existed. But 8-year-old you ain't gonna know that, so you're left completely hanging for that 3D Kirby platformer on the GameCube I thought I Mandela affected into my brain up until a few years ago. I knew it! I knew it was real! Get done, schizophrenia, me 1, psychosis 704.6. Pokemon Picross, pronounced Picross, like Rick Ross. Pickle? Rick Ross? Because now I've been given a non-freemium game for me to respect this enough to learn the canonical pronunciation. An unreleased Picross game meant for the Game Boy Color. A fully playable just spawned out of nowhere back in 2020. Finally, my freemium free Picross game's practically finished. A bit of a Star Fox 2 situation there. They just left it in the drafts. They might as well have just dropped it themselves. It's almost as if because of the technical limitations, they had to get in their bag a little bit to give the game some charm. Could have easily been a near enough randomly generated series of Picross puzzles that just so happened to have Pikachu chilling on the main menu for a little bit. The rat is not paid by the hour here. Freemium or not, even though the other ones on the 3DS, I'd much rather be playing this version. Straight into the action, and Professor Oak is shouting instructions at me in Japanese, yet somehow he's still far more intuitive than this 3DS harlot leading me astray. I really wasn't expecting Professor Oak to pipe up in this game, let alone looking arguably his best that he's ever looked on a Game Boy. The sprite work here, it did not need to go this hard. For an unreleased game especially, I swear some of them are looking borderline Gen 3, as if they were a Generation 2.5 game with the Kanto roster. 16 worlds. 16 worlds total for an unreleased game. That's quite a bit of content you had laying about there. Each one, you pass a character or a friendly little critter joins your party, like Misty. And this sorry, I don't speak Japanese. You are Lizardon. Correct. And with no freemium, I can actually make it to the bigger boy stages where I belong, the 15 gridders. And let me tell you, for a squishy, malleable brain like my own, I've come to find Picross in general gives me a primordial satisfaction. Like, I know the rows with 10 or 15 can be maxed out straight away. So in a way, it might as well be already done for you, but me smash! What, am I gonna ask the waiter to cut my steak as well? Debone all 73 of my chicken wings? Well, golly gee whiz, why don't you just mount my wife too while you're at it? Well, I'm just saying, if you're gonna cut me on the Picross board, you may as well go ahead and activate the seal of Orichalcox and pork my completely hypothetical wife as well while you're at it. This one actually punishes you for mistakes as well. You're getting a supreme batty licking, couple little misclicks, and you're starting again. It's fun, it's unreleased, and it's got the Game Boy Color source. Plus, as simple as it is, I feel as though in any form, my brain is benefiting as well. These days, you got to train the mind, work in a bit of Sudoku, bit of stimulating reading to even yourself out from the Insta Reels addiction. Pokemon Puzzle League. Nintendo 64. You sure about that one? You're gonna have to show me the box for me to believe that one. I hope you kept it about the gameplay of Tetris Attack, the presentation of a 2005 Newgrounds hentai quiz. Man, it felt cheap playing this one for the first time. You get Snap Stadium, even whack out the Game Boy card reader and conjure up the good version of this game from the Game Boy Color on the big screen. It's obvious what they were doing. They just wanted an excuse to clickbait Ash Ketchum being on the front cover. Kids probably thinking, oh, they're getting an anime game. Couldn't be me. Would not have worked on me. Didn't work on me. A massive amount of people only knew Pokemon from the anime, like how certain people only know Mario from Mario Kart. A 5-year-old's monkey's poor wish. Make a Pokemon game with Ash Ketchum, please, monkey, please. Your wish granted. Here he is. In PNG form. I'm quite certain I've shot all of these images with a gun on a Newgrounds Flash game. Not helping at all. It's getting diabolically mugged by its Game Boy Color counterpart. If it weren't for that game existing, you could maybe go, ah well, looks just like the TV show, kinda. The Tetris is still fun enough, you can't really mess that up, and you wouldn't get it on a Super Nintendo, so whatever. I don't care. But somehow it feels like they regressed. This game came out very late in the N64's life. It's no wonder I never played it. Like, we've already got Snap Stadium. We've had the PlayStation 2 on shelves for over half a year by this point. By the time I knew this existed, I knew what the Keyblade was. I knew who Ansem the Wise was. This is a Dark Ages game by 5-year-old me's perception. And by 2026 me's perception, it's well beyond Dark Ages. I wouldn't be surprised if the boys whacked this on during the Last Supper. Oh, you can do one, Judas. Pokemon Puzzle League. I'm going on the cross tomorrow, and you bring me Pokemon Puzzle League. He's setting up the crucifixion. I can deal with that, but Judas, Jesus Christ, you're going to be talking to the first person and everything. You could have at least brought Mario 64. While I'm on the topic of people getting ratted out to the feds, Giovanni, Big John, he's apparently some puzzle master, like Tony Soprano, dominating the Tetris Attack Jersey scene. Then you got Richie, remember him from the show? No, not the Sopranos, the Pokemon one. Not watched in 2 decades, but I don't remember him calling his Charmander Zippo. Right, I know what you are, Richie. Yeah, little sesh gobbo. Might as well call him Zippo, because he's bombing the light off Charmander's tail every 20 minutes to spark up a few darts. Hey, wee man, give us your tail. The joint's dead. Ah, Squirtle, you left the ropes wet again. But before any of that, while the game still has you wondering just how anime-like it's gonna be, you hear that little mid-eye version of the Pokemon theme song on the main menu. Ooh, okay, it's looking good, fellas. I wanted to have a little sit about and listen to the whole song. Only managed to work in, the first 10 seconds before the main menu inactivity cutscene has to play, before Professor Oak jumps in to show you the ropes. Because clearly, you've not touched a button in 10 whole seconds, so you're in need of a care worker to show you about the place. Blue Balled. You don't hear much more of that song. Then once you get bored and listen to that, you hit start, you get a cutscene. Just another way to gaslight the audiences into thinking that this is kind of an anime game. Oh, it's just like I'm watching the telly, but it's not the telly. It's the Nintendo. Intro like one of them Toonami ads where they've dubbed over Ash meeting Jackie Chan. They make up for that though, because the music is all mostly decent. Don't think I'm not hearing them Pokemon CD classics. Bit of Team Rocket's Rocket, we like that. Bit of voice work as well. All these little text box snippets of character interactions. Whoa, it's like I'm actually reading the anime. Gary Oak saying stuff like, only true Pokemon trainers are allowed to compete in the Puzzle League. What's are you on about, Gary? That's like going, sorry about that one, brother. Only Crew Yai Muay Thai fighters can compete here at the World Jigsaw Federation. They didn't correlate the voice clips to the text boxes, obviously. Team Rocket going,
no way you beat us.
While at the same time in unison going,
Congratulations, you won.
The 3 of them. Have Team Rocket ever said that? Name me one episode right now, especially in the 90s, where they actually go, and not as a bit like they're in costume disguise or whatever, where they actually unironically go, yeah, you know what? Fair play there. You done us in. You done us in. Well, guess we'll be off anyway. Blasting off. Well, hey, nah, we'll be about. We'll see you tomorrow again, Ash. You too, Pikachu. Watch yourself. Prepare for trouble. Anyway, nice one. You just get home safe, yeah. Some of the music can sound a little bit off with them N64 instruments playing. Like, it's still good, mostly. But you know what really gets me in the headspace for going toe-to-toe with the world's most notorious mob boss? Stupid questions to be asking, you already know. Now get that Orcs locked in and whack on that Rugrats Search for Reptar playlist right now. Nearly Nearly there. Completely different kind of puzzle in that game, but your heart's in the right place. Big Geo also has some of the more dramatic sound bites. Iconic phrases like,
"You're wasting my time."
Pokemon's Al Capone confidently tells you as he's playing Tetris with a 10-year-old boy. Also, run that back, was it "You're wasting my time"? Going on the record for the man who would go on to keep Jesse, James, and Meowth on his payroll for 25 years. Clearly, you've actually got all the time to waste, Giovanni. After this, we can make a squad. Might as well get a few Fortnite duo sessions on us as well. I would have left it if hard mode just meant one more Gary showdown. But at the very least, I do get to hear the Poke Rap. As far as I'm aware, the only time it's ever been in the game. At least a mid-eye church organ version with some compressed sound bites. So I wasn't falling for it again. Very hard mode this time. I don't care if Mewtwo's the real grand champion of puzzle games and he teleports you away for a little Tetris tear up in the sky. I never plan on seeing it in person. You know what, Mewtwo? I'll take your word for it. Look, I'll be fair. There's nothing really wrong with the game. It's still Tetris Attack. It's fun enough, but there's probably hundreds of other and better ways you could be playing this, or at least some variant of this. The presentation and effort is kind of what's taking the piss a little bit. I'm sure it's fine for the time, but looking back at it now, I don't know, I think Newgrounds has kind of just done me in. It just makes me think I'm looking at some weird PNG animation. But I wouldn't be surprised if back in the day, kids were gassed to see anime characters in an official game in any form. I'm almost 100% certain as well I'd be a lot less harsh on this if it weren't for the Game Boy Color game to directly compare this one to. PokePark, one that after I've written this, I came to find out on Twitter has a lot of shooters for it, but PokePark seems to be fronted as some kind of Mario Party minigame clone, or so you'd think from looking at it, but ends up being more like an expanded version of Hey You Pikachu and Pokemon Channel in a way, like the later exploration areas of Channel but fleshed out a lot more. All them Wiimote Pokemon Stadium games you would have thought they'd have been dying to start making. They just make their own game out of it. A park even. I'm a bit underwhelmed here. I thought Mew was chucking you through some kind of Alton Towers portal, a Six Flags Doctor Strange hole, like a fun fair. No, it's like an actual park. Like a field. Going in blind, I was expecting this game to be like Pikachu's Vacation, that short episode before you'd watch the first movie. And in some ways, it kind of is, but I feel as though it's more like a vacation in the Mario Sunshine sense, where you're doing chores for all the citizens. The issue you soon find here is those mini-games were only really fun as an add-on with the whole stadium, a bonus that you weren't really expecting. You might not have even noticed they were there for a while as a kid. Bit like having a snooker table in a ski lodge. I'm aware I'm going down slopes, so my standards for fun activities are at a very high right now, but a game of pool in between stadium battling, you wouldn't say no. Making the minigames into its own thing, it's kind of like making a spin-off show to a side character where you know they're just not really meant to carry a show on their own. And even then, I actually think between the two stadium games, there's still more minigames collectively in those than in PokePark. This isn't like a Mario Party 100 games in one kind of package deal. You get about 14 actual minigames, and they have to be earned through overworld side quests, mini games within the mini-game. They're asking you to play school ground games with them, from hide and seek to join the crew. Just a whole lot of hooting and hollering, dilly-dallying about. Maybe an unpatched friend-making method. Yeah, you can come chase me anytime. Oh, you know what? You can come beat the shit out of me anytime, any place. You're a good lad. The bulk of this is 4 to 5 variants of games or fetch quests, essentially. I had people on Twitter saying, oh, it's one of the best spin-offs. One of the first overworld games off of Spiro is quite literally, you have 100 seconds, make 3 jumps. And this was mandatory, by the way. A plot-sensitive trial the big Venusaur who runs the forest forced you to complete. Yes, little one. For this trial, I shall allow 200 minutes. Now make me pot noodle. 100 seconds, Spiro. I could literally cook and eat you in 100 seconds. It's not even like a tutorial thing either. They're doing this in the late areas as well. How are you gonna call this an obstacle course 3 hours into the game? Right, Pikachu, this challenge is gonna cost you a 100 berry entry fee. Now, you got 100 seconds. I'm gonna need you to climb me stepladder. And of course, this is all in the name of the power of friendship. The whole premise of the game is to make as many friends as possible. I know, an ironic circumstance playing these Mario Party games as a means to make friends, when in reality, it's a prime way to lose them. But the Pokemon, they are so much easier than the humans. Game of tag, a little quiz, and bang, they're ride or die for you. I don't even know why you need Pokeballs. Just give Garchomp a high five, he'll drop any body you want right now. this might be a more effective strategy than actually using Pokeballs to catch them. They all operate on crackhead time. Give them a quid and they're backing you forever. Trial by combating my way into getting Garchomp's insta. Next time you're in a fight, he's straight there like, yeah, this guy bothering you, man. I'm not even doing a bit here when I say it was almost a bit surreal to play this at first. It's weirdly the closest thing we've had to a Pokemon platformer. The controls, they definitely have that mid-2000s Wii jank to them, almost giving me a PTSD brain blast trying to play Sonic and the Secret Rings. Turning around with the direction and urgency of a kid's train ride makes you play with the Wiimote sideways, but the movement very clearly not meant for D-pad consumption. I'll be fair for the shooters on Twitter there. The appeal of this one is definitely not from the games itself, but the overworld and seeing the Pokemon kicking about in the mostly wilderness, being actual characters, being sized appropriately. Like, goddamn, Lotad's massive. Could host a Knights Round Table on that dome. Even got a little slot on the back of him. Perfect. That's where the blackjack dealer goes. Self-aware primates that teach you Iron Tail. Even though, wink wink, they have no tail. Primate cock confirmed with ball potential, more to come. 20-foot tall for alligators. When Hitmon tops that size, he'll be making Hitmon bottom out of you. Jesus, even Macargo, he's like 15 feet tall. The word friend is just getting devalued at this point. It means nothing. That Macargo is one of the boys now for opening the door. By that logic, I'm mates with hundreds of bouncers over the past 10 years. Half of them just turn up and announce their arrival. Delibird is here to give gifts. Primeape is here for a dust-up. Who wants it? Machamp has come to play. Is that a threat? The plots is collecting Sky Prism pieces or something because Mew came to you during sleep paralysis to save the PokePark. Venusaur, Empoleon, Blaziken, the three top dons of each segment of the park. And right now, geez, you won't believe it, they're having a bit of a tiff. And you, Pikachu, need to reunite them to save the park. So you rock up to each one, finish their minigame, and then Empoleon, for example, is like, what's that? Venusaur and Blaziken want to be mates again? You know what? I wasn't gonna, but since you, my little rat friendo, won my little minigame, I guess all is forgiven. They're far too quick to be unblocking the other socials. We don't know the drama there. We don't know what's gone on. Blaziken could have shagged his missus. That ain't getting settled off a little rat winning a minigame or two. Now we gotta take this to Pokkén. Main minigames, not really worth being a payoff to an area or anything like that. Literally nothing here that you've not played before. Feels more like a high-budget WiiWare game. I'm gonna have to guesstimate here that I'd have to have been between the ages of 3 to 9 years old at a push to have enjoyed this one properly. 10, definitely the cut-off point there. PokePark 2, so good. The shooters were right, they have to do a second one, I think. I don't know, you're looking at the exact same repetition as the original, but with a +1 to all stats across the board. Several playable characters this time, not just Pikachu. Nice to know that you're making, like, actual friends this time. Finally get to see the first and only interesting area, a special world meant for the villains and minigames. I don't see why they couldn't have just made the rest of the worlds have a bit more sauce like this. But to be fair to PokePark 2, this world isn't just full of your standard elemental wastelands like a field or just a beach. They make them look a lot more habitable this time, so fair enough. Instead of generic molten cavern, they've got almost like a small Goron village society. Massively refined minigames, but only 4 of them. You know what, I'll probably take quality over quantity here. Grigus wants to make some cakes. Let's make some cakes. Still with their personalities on display at least.
Vermin, you ruined our cake.
Yeah, well, you shouldn't have revolved an entire boss fight around it then, should you? You wouldn't start a fight with Blanca stood on the roof of your car. Insurance, they're definitely gonna act of God their way out of a payout. Lopunny wants you up on the pole. Why not? Secure that bag. Making cakes, twerking on stage, competing in the thought games. It really still is just an 8-hour fetch quest. On a surface level, you think it's simple enough. A little bit of, go talk to Embor. But then it quickly devolves into, if you wish to speak with me, you're gonna have to go talk to Crowgunk because he owes me a $5. Then you go to Crowgunk, he's saying, yeah, I've got his $5, but you lot, I've got to find me lighter. Then you're smashing a crate, contains the lighter. You carry over the lighter. Press 2 to dialogue. Here is your lighter. Here's Embor's $5. Go back to Embor. Yeah, I got my $5, but if you really want to be besties of old Embor, you gotta smash that rock over there. I'd be sick, trust me. It's still mostly the same gallivanting about like the last game, except now there's a world-threatening narrative slapped onto it. An ethereal world called Wish Park where Pokemon are spiked into wanting to play forever. I mean, literally, what is stopping you from doing that in the regular realm? The only form of work you have is to make sure you eat enough berries to not die. Wish Park ain't necessary. PokePark already is Valhalla for you lot. Unless you're a Pokemon like a Drifloon with slave physiognomy where you're genetically determined to be an Uber. I'm failing to see a problem here with Wish Park. You've got all your mates, endless sesh time, no taxes, playlist never stops with the hits. They've got baked goods, they've got strip clubs. So you want me to go back to living in a tree? Come on, like. Also, incredibly convenient of the villains to have giant bells hosted in their wonderland that immediately snap the Pokemon they've gathered out of their hypnotic trance, pinging off their nut, having a great old time, and then the bell summons the grinding calm down. But for some reason, they try too deeping this plotline. 1 minute, you're playing Kiss Chase with a Patil down the park. The next, Zekrom is chatting to you via astral projection, like, beware the dark vortex. Imagine being on holiday, 12 all-inclusive pina coladas deep. You start daydreaming off for a second. Suddenly, you find God sliding into your frontal lobe like, my son, the rapture approaches. Like, hang on. The rapture's gonna have to wait. It's 2-for-1 Steins it. A disaster is coming. But you, Pikachu, if you make enough friends, can prevent it. Oh, hang on. You're literally Reshiram. You do something about it. We all know it's Darkrai doing it anyway. You and Zekrom, 2v1. That's a low diff jaw spinning for you two. Like, yeah, okay, I know, I'm Pikachu, yeah, oh, from the Macy's Day Parade and Time magazines and all that, but I'm off the clock here. Yeah, I'll book this holiday off for this week. Imagine being some form of god, and you have to go down and say, doomsday is upon us. That's why we need you. Beaver number 6,872,365. You have your whole life ahead of you. Nah, you don't. The Dark Void is coming. Would you play Chase with me? What kind of... we're all gonna die. You know what? Screw it. If we're all going out anyway, why not? Let's play tag then. Go on, pass the time. The overworld missions do get a bit more depth to them, which is very needed from the first game, but not by a huge amount. Occasionally, they'll throw you a wild card, like an Oblivion Imperial City arena quest against a High Dragon. Then it's back to basics, playing touch bot in the park as usual. There's so much you could do with Pokemon as the basis for minigames, but still, it's the same as near enough any other motion control Wii game. Like your gran probably played most of these minigames in some form during a late 2000s Christmas session. Let's rev up that Switch. Time to stop playing about and do this properly. Imagine controlling a Tyranitar or Metagross in a destroy all humans inspired minigame. Actually, no, make that an entire game and give it a beautiful Katamari scale of destruction. It's the same as the first game. The main attractions just aren't a big enough deal to be an end of area payoff. And I know the minigames aren't really the focus is the overworld and interacting with the Pokemon. Unironically though, and I do mean this as a compliment, it's a solid game if you got nothing to do. Like, I mean nothing to do. There's something lurking here though. Real-time Pokemon battle combat, platforming, overworld. They maybe could have done something properly with this. I stand on this one the same way I kinda do the first. Not for me now, but 6-year-old me would have explored every orifice of this world. I'd have an encyclopedia brain blast knowledge of its visuals like I do for specific frames of animation in Toy Story. Detective Pikachu returns for the Switch. Are you sure about that one? Look, I'm just gonna level with you. It's so much easier for me to say that whatever I talk about in the very next segment after this one, to just assume that this game doesn't do anywhere near as well. I'm not even gonna give this one the benefit of the doubt. They've put an unfinished 3DS game on the Switch. It looks as though you're playing a leaked game. As a 3DS follow-up, you could maybe give it the benefit of the doubt. Like, yeah, the first one was better, but on the Switch, you've gotta be joking there. I reckon the Wii U could run this at 60 FPS. You could maybe argue the pair of them are almost like one long game collectively. It's just the second half is considerably worse when you eventually remember you're no longer playing on a 3DS. It's on the Switch, but aside from the compression, you'd have no clue. It's so obvious. They just ported the 3DS models over and called it a day. They really wanted to get down to the booze of that workday. The kind of sequel new Pokemon Snap is. This one, exact opposite. Like every aspect, downgraded. The writing, taking the piss even for kids' standards. Graphically, somehow worse, or at best on par with it. Babyfied the game even more. You're not even figuring things out here. It does it all for you. And the original is made for small babies too, don't get me wrong, but you're at least coming to your own conclusions and applying evidence together. Now it's more like, here's what happened. Now, repeat that back to me. What did I say, kid? Yeah, good boy. Good Timmy. And then they ditched some of the stuff from the first game completely, like Amelia being a love interest. You're telling me Tim Goodman, he dropped all of that game just for the writers to bin her off? They're really gonna pull a Goofy movie on us and bun off Roxanne for some other side piece. I played through all of the first Detective Pikachu. This one, it's not even worth my time making any kind of commitment to. I'll catch the replays, I think. I get the idea. It's been so catered to infants that you might as well watch it like a movie. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't care. That's exactly what I did. I don't even care if I'm giving it the typing adventure treatment. Nintendo, you are not gonna fleece me off of any dollar for Cocomelon Pikachu Adventure. I don't care if I can call it a tax write-off. You ain't getting it. It's about as much of a game as the TV shows in Pokemon Channel are. It's actually quite impressive. They somehow managed to smooth brain-proof a game, which I already assumed had been smooth brain-proofed maxed out. As a movie, whatever, like, it's fine, I guess. If you just wanted more of the 3DS game, this is definitely more of that. But I'd be very hard-pressed to think you aren't the least bit disappointed it got a full-on Switch sequel, and this is what you ended up with. You may as well just pull the Shadow Generations and ported the original over, and then had an extra long epilogue at the end as bonus content. They did want to try new things from the first, like working with other Pokemon directly, but too little too late there, brother. How are they gonna make this game look like a Lux Descended version of Disney Dreamlight Valley? Oh, big one to consider here. It came out like 5 years after the movie, so this one, absolutely a downgrade. But it's so objectively similar enough to the 3DS game, I can't really justify it going anywhere else except right before Detective Pikachu for the 3DS. Now, Unlock Returns, pleasantly surprised at this one. I wasn't expecting anything, really. If anything, the reaction I had to Detective Pikachu Returns is what I was expecting to have here. It's obviously dumbed down, but each area still has a clear narrative. You gotta talk to the right people, interact with the right environments. Still obviously very simple, but you gotta put a little bit of graft into it. You gotta give the goblin a little bit of gold. I know people meme about Danny DeVito doing the voice acting, but oh god, what a game it'd be. Pikachu here, he has that generic anime dub voice acting.
Good work, Tim. I'd say we're hot on Harry's trail now.
I say that, but it does grow on you soon enough. It doesn't change that he always looks as though he's being very poorly dubbed over. Not even the voice itself, because that's actually decent enough here. I'm talking physically. Pikachu's mouth, it just wasn't ever meant to organically move this way. With this kind of lexicon potential, a very fun universe they're showing off here. Seeing Pokemon in a non-combat, day-to-day sense. I've always wanted more out there Pokemon snap locations like the city from the movie, but I'm almost getting like a second-hand fix of that from this game. Pokemon existing more in their anime form. They're all actual characters interacting in a civilized world, not just soulless entities. Like at the start of the game, Pikachu approaches Starly for a quick convo. Just what I want, but you'll come here. Imagine you could just run into randoms on the street and just have your number like that. There's a variant of human that for some reason gets a double, sometimes quadruple damage multiplier on you. Straight in on the detective work. A dangerous road to go down in the Pokemon realm. Like what now? What are we gonna do? When we find this Micro, who is a prime suspect in an Apom mugging, are we just gonna rush him? Oh, is that what you're gonna do, Pikachu? Beat him up? With your powers, like tracking down a GBH assaulter firsthand. All right, Batman, how do you think that one's gonna go down for you? What, back him into a corner down an alley? Shit, sounds. I'll just stab the rest of you too. How are you even gonna get some proper interrogation work going if Pikachu can't even give him the shock therapy? You can't just be doing detective work based around Pokemon with zero muscle backing you. The criminals you're hunting, they won't afford you the same mercy. The criminals Pokemon they likely have on them definitely won't afford you the same mercy. All you've got on hand is a wisecracking uncharged Pikachu with a magnifying glass that you feed coffee. And that's another thing. That's gotta be a dodgy move. Cannot be good for the health of the yellow rats, could it? I reckon that's how you actually find out Pikachu can talk in the first place. You get him a black Americano and he goes, "Oh, they're burnt the bait." Now, this might sound stupid. Actually, it does sound stupid on my part. But I really wasn't expecting the movie to be this directly similar. Only passively being aware of this as a game, I assumed that they were just using the concept of Detective Pikachu to make a movie out of. Moving into the city, trying to find your dad. You meet that girl who works for the TV studio. It follows the same beats there. And Pikachu, little playboy, he clocks on straight, trying to wingman you from day one. Now you see very important character building fresh into the game. This has been done to establish to you, the player, that Pikachu is a player. He knows game. He might not know Thundershock, but he knows how to get LA. And I really do appreciate for a game that I thought would be patronizingly childish, that they're not ignoring the concept of love interests, where characters are just oblivious to blatant romantic chemistry. And trust me, I'm the last person to care at all about shipping and any of that. But it really does irk me when stuff like that just gets ignored, because they're not acting in a way any real human being would. Now, I'm not saying Tim Goodman's got to be on his knees barking at Amelia like he's about to be barred from all Rhea Ripley meet and greets for an indefinite future exactly. But just the little things like other characters pointing out the obvious, like, "Oh, little girlfriend you got there, Timmy," goes a long way in humanizing the characters. Like, oh, what? You think you're too good to be getting bricked up like the rest of us? Yeah, whatever. Gandhi. Oh, well, cast ye the first stone if you've never been fully talked before. Nah, not Tim Goodman. He's a gooner, just like each
in every one of yous. A very reserved one, but nonetheless, Goonerous intent lays dormant. You can't tell me otherwise. Detective Pikachu was on the case, and nothing gets past him. Now, Tim's ability to drop game, it may need some work, alright? But I'll give him some credit. He's got the mystery-solving jog nailed down to a T. Shaggy run animation on point, and Shaggy canonically knows how to lay some pipe. So it's looking good for Timmy so far. Not opposed at all to the idea of a game incorporating elements like this. Not the game dropping stuff. Maybe a good bit more challenging, like Professor Layton level. Get Lucas investigations going already. It can't all be hands clean crime solving. I don't want to see Pikachu on the coffees. I want these cases to have him sipping from a whiskey flask he hides under his hat. Just people approaching him in public like, oh, cute, a Pikachu. Go on, show us Thundershock.
Nah. I forgot that move a long time ago, kid. Thundershock. Haven't heard that name in years.
I would have loved this one as a kid. Not massively my thing now, but I had a much better time than I was expecting.
I can't believe I ate the whole thing.
Near enough watching a 10-hour-long movie with fun interactions with Pokemon sprinkled throughout. Pikachu's dialogue, it does grow on you. A very Will Arnett-coded character, I kind of want to say. Down to you what you think about that, but either way, I get it. Next Detective Pikachu case is going to be like,
hey, Tim, we gotta find this Hermano guy.
The dialogue isn't fully patronizing or overly childish in that, you know, that annoying anime way. It managed to get a couple unironic laughs out of me, but Pikachu dropping game, flirting with a random receptionist, talking in just Pika speak.
Pika! Pika Pika! Pika! See that?
Yes, little things like that. It kind of gets me a bit, because you just don't really expect that kind of thing in a Pokemon game. It's funny at points as well, probably not intentionally on their part, but when you're interacting with Pikachu in a crowded room, because only you can hear him speaking English. Understand how schizo you're going to be looking, ripping up a suspect against a wall, being calmed down by a chubby rat that you dress up like Sherlock Holmes. What did you say, Detective Pikachu? Leave it to the police? Yeah, I guess you're right, Pikachu. Johnny and Plank dynamic. What's that, Detective Pikachu? You want me to burn the school down? I've brought up getting sectioned an odd handful of times in this video. Probably like 6 times. But I feel as though out of all 6 or 7 times, right now is the most valid time to bring it up. What do they even do with the criminals' Pokemon if they go to prison? Do they just release them, donate them, let them rot in the PC? Can they be charged? Can they stand trial? Oh, Jesus Christ, always the way. Sharing a cell block with a Noivern. And some of the gameplay overall is nothing. It's already very simplified, a point and click essentially, but the odd time they'll give you a quick time event with 0 pushback during the cutscenes, like Kratos leaving his children. That's at the top of the spectrum. This is the exact opposite end. The illusion of gameplay. Just cutscenes with a bit of added stress. But to be fair, I'm just glad. Some parts of this game really made me think they were going to chuck in some forced stealth segments. And you don't need any of that here. I can't explain how, but Detective Pikachu feels as though it exists in its own universe along with Pokemon Snap. Weirdly, I want to say Pokemon Play It as well. And I quite like that. It's in a weird grey area where they had to come up with new characters not relevant to mainline games or the anime. I had a nice enough time with this one. Mystery Dungeon, Gates to Infinity. You know it's the worst one. I don't want to hear it. Underrated Gym. Oh, but I played this one as a kid. I don't want to hear it. I do not. This is the worst one. This is where I fell off with Mystery Dungeon. But unlike most 3DS era games, I don't necessarily think it was from me growing up. Life-changing priorities and all that. I reckon my gut instinct told me, nah, the vibe is off with this one. Just go back and play Explorers of Sky whenever the dungeon twitches kick back in. I've always heard very mixed things and surprisingly little about this one relative to how often people still talk about the DS games to this very day. So Gates to Infinity for me, it just felt like a watered down rehash in comparison. Almost as if you're playing a light version. You don't even get the personality quiz. I mean, you already know I was going to keep doing resits on the exam until I get the Pokemon I wanted anyway, but, you know, at least entertain me with a diagnosis here. The roster is far less stacked. Now, I'm not even one of those people too bothered about character selections being limited, and I prefer when they give new Pokemon the spotlight, especially when it's their generation, but I just don't think the Gen 5 trio hold enough of a presence to be taking on the only main character roles. You're gonna need to have at least a Kanto or a Hoenn trio lineup there to be hard carrying a limited selection like this. And I can feel it playing through. It's hitting all the same beats as the old game. It just kind of misses the notes a good bit. If Gates to Infinity were playing slow ride on Guitar Hero, it would be uncomfortably in the amber area. You fall out of the sky, already getting G-checked by Tepig. The partner, in my case, takes you down to a landlord Quagsire in a village, and from there, you're off to the dungeons. But there's many lessons there. It's a lot deeper than you think about how cordial Pokemon act in the wild without humans. If the humans were around, Snivy would have given him a mean batty licking off that quad weakness Vine Whip and taken the deed by force at the command of a human oppressor. You even get to name Tepig.
Tepig. Oh, very human-coded there. You've only invaded their world 5 minutes and already handing out the slave names. Just what gives you the right to do that? You gotta watch yourself. They're gonna snuff you out eventually. Gonna smell the human off you. He's already naming us. Before you know it, the townsfolk gonna be surrounding your little hay bed with bags full of petrify orbs to smash you in with. That's like meeting a random guy somewhere and within an hour hitting him with the Stan Smith. I'll call you Hot Rod. Tepig's end goal, the partner's end goal, to create a Pokemon paradise. You're already in it. You've won. You're outside the human realm. What more paradise could a Pokémon ask for? You are greedy. Jesus Christ. Okay, here we go. No text speed setting. You are joking me. You better be joking me. Okay, 10 minutes in. I'm a believer now. You've converted me. It is possible for Mystery Dungeon to have bad games. I see exactly why no one rates this one. This game is dragging. Text to infinity. The level up text even. Plus 2 HP and Tepig's entire life story. Ah, boy, I leveled up. Nice one. Here's that new move you learned, along with the first half of the Old Testament. And just to rub it in properly, half the enemies around you, early game, using string shot. No thank you. I think we're full on the slowness. The game already has the urgency of Sunday morning mass. Even in the end game, one of the final dungeons, I'm still getting adventure tips pipe up. I can't escape it. Could the text cease for 1 minute? For all the steps backwards, it does try to step forward. Some attempts were made. You've got all of these unasked for overworld interactive areas with, now I use the word loosely, but puzzles in between some dungeon floors. Like, look, just put the dungeons in the bag, mate. None of this pointless fluff in between to shove a log over and walk across it. Would you like to go on the stumps to move forward? Oh, don't piss me. No, I'm alright. I'm just having a wee browse at the logs there. There's someone to go on the stumps, you I reckon what really has this feeling like a light mystery dungeon to me, I might just be misremembering, is the screen just oddly close down. You can't even tell when you're about to get ran up on. Just a mandatory alleyway jumping. That does happen in all the mystery dungeon games, but I swear it just feels so much more unfair in this one. Cannot even stress how many times I've let out a strong sigh playing this, getting one-shotted off screen, because all the enemies, they're playing on ultra-wide monitors apparently, to be expected, some wide array of characters, but again, even that feels like a weaker impression of the old games. A herdier attempting to type in Glaswegian Twitter dialect, a black-pilled Dunsparce looking to drop some game to Virizion. At this rate, I'd rather be playing a Dunsparce dating sim. Now I'll rate Dunsparce, but Virizion, she's completely in the right for airing him. She doesn't owe Dunsparce a follow back just because he gave her a little present. She don't owe you anything. All the other Pokemon with 1000% social climb and clout chase around legendaries, Virizion, correct, to not let them social mog through her. Most of this didn't really stick with me character-wise. I never had that same attachment I had for the other games, and I would say that's an age thing because I played this one as an adult and those ones as a kid. But even Super Mystery Dungeon, which I only just played now, kind of brought that back for me. Like, I think there's a bit where Dunsparce gets temporarily lost to the Manosphere Grift. Two Pawniards hook him up with a little alpha male course to pull the legendary Huzz. Predictably, Virizion starts warming up to the power of friendship, chilling with Dunsparce, looking up at the stars, and I'm not joking. I've never been more serious before in my entire life. So far, a 5, maybe 6 out of 10 game. Believe me when I tell you, it's going straight to Mario Galaxy numbers of critical acclaim. If you're telling me my man Dunsparce gets some sloppy. Hey, whoa now. I'm not going to spoil anything now. You're going to have to play for yourself now, won't you? It sucks to be you. That's a big favor to be asking, though. So much of this game is just get on with it. It's like Blissey being hit by close combat in Diamond, but every time someone opens their mouth, take an odd job from the notice board. Talk to a Azumarill. Oh no, I hate talking to people in this game, but you have to talk to them to open the gate for some reason. Do you want to leave? Another slow text box. Yes. I'd ideally like to get inside a dungeon today. Remember when you were playing Pokemon Gold, the text speed, it goes all slow as it's saving? Please don't turn off the power. Imagine the whole game were moving like that. Might be slow enough, you could play it in its original Japanese. By the time the text box is full, you've had about enough time to suss out the gist of what it translates to. And do you know what really gets me? With a name like Gates to Infinity, I was expecting things to get a little bit more multiversal. I know we're all sick of it these days, but back in 2012-13, in a Mystery Dungeon style game, it could have gone a long way. Gates to Infinity. No, just the one gate, please. That takes you to a giant block of ice. It's like they turned an iOS Mystery Dungeon game, but made a 20-hour game out of it. You know what? I actually do wish I played this one when I was younger. No, really, I actually do, because just so playing through this Could have been his problem. I mean, I can give it some things. In 3D, the cutscenes are quite solid at least, and people apparently weren't very happy about the lacking post-game. Me personally, I was buzzing. I was gleaming to hear that. So happy to be off the clock on this one. Like I'm really gonna touch that post-game anyway. You know what the post-game is? You go back to being a human. Literally you. You put the 3DS down and you go back to work. There's a reason why I keep pure mobile games separate, because they're tricky to scale here, along with actual games with a conscience behind them. I'm finding that with Pokemon Go, because I'm absolutely giving it the allowance here, transcended way beyond being just a mobile game. That was a borderline historical event. It's even trickier to scale this game because it's built more around the experiences you've had and not the quality of the game itself. What a time to be alive. Generational time for LARPers, for the EV iPhone case merchants. So I was omniscient within my friend circles. I might as well have been their Professor Oak, spawning in on their TVs, not having the slightest clue what a beach ball is. Everyone rushing out of a club because Blastoise was down the road. The ripple effect of this as well. I don't even think I'm reaching too hard to say this app borderline played God with how many heart attacks it's prevented. The game itself has come a very, very long way. Ever since the days of Vaporeon and its water gun being cracked, battling wasn't even a thing. Barely any items. Everything was earned the hard way. In that first month of playing, if you had a Magikarp evolved back then with them 400 candies, your legs were looking like Tom Platts. Everyone's still playing it today. You're very spoiled. I've not spun a Pokestop in 7 years because my items just keep on stacking from that adventure sync. My peak of playing this game is long gone. Many years ago, I rented a flat that was a literal minute walk away from where a Go Fest was hosted. I found out it was going on by complete accident just walking around. I thought Go Fest was just some in-game event with a bunch of balloons flying about on the map. Now all of a sudden, I've got a plethora of furries 30 seconds away from my front door. I've had zero ties there for a long time, so now I can actually say that little anecdote. But if anything, Go Fest almost doxed me. Never would have imagined playing that Google Maps Pokemon game would end up having this kind of pull, would bring the furry community straight to my doorstep. I was busy that weekend anyway, but I kinda wish I could have gone though. Not only the fact that I've been a Pokemon YouTuber for like 10 years and I didn't even know it was happening right by my doorstep, but the odds of that happening is insane. That's never gonna happen again and I missed it. Even still, top ratings, but very hard to scale here still. Because am I even judging the game itself, or am I just judging what the game's caused and the memories surrounding it for me? Most of the time I spent on this, the game barely existed, especially compared to the way it exists now. Ultimately though, what it really comes down to is, do I prefer Pokemon Go or Gates to Infinity? And then, it's easy money. The tiering becomes incredibly simple then. I don't feel the need to stress myself out including Go, knowing loads of the comments would have been, you forgot Go, only the biggest spin-off of all. You made a video on spin-offs and missed out by far the most popular, influential, and successful one that's ever gonna exist. The only way Pokemon's ever gonna hit the news like this again is when they finally emerge from wormholes in the sky and bum us. Either that, or when 9/11/2 happens, they hijack one of those Pokemon planes to do the job. Pokemon Pinball. You remember the one cartridge that was greedy, running your pockets for yet another battery? A fifth one, AAA this time. Oh yeah, great, now you're mixing and matching. 2 packs of batteries you're having to find to give yourself that prime pinball experience, you know, get a bit of rumble action going. An easy, addictive bit of pinball work there. This is one I could easily just whack out on my phone and play for a few minutes, waiting, or maybe bumping a train or something. I could play this for a few minutes a day, like it's part of the daily New York Times games. Now is the GBA version an improvement in every objective way? Almost definitely. But man, am I a sucker for that classic Game Boy Color charm, you know what I mean? The music, that proper clean Game Boy kick to it. It is a bit janky at times, to be expected. Has to be split into 2 halves, and the 1 in undecillion odds of quantum tunneling actually happening. You know, when the atoms of an object passes through solid matter, happens seemingly every 3 minutes with one of the bumpers. For better or worse, you can sometimes cheat the system, and sometimes the ball just bounces up. You can cheese it a little bit. Other times, your bumper, it just has a swing and a miss. You know, we've all been there. It's like it's operating on D&D Morrowind attack rules. A little percentage chance of not landing the hit. Having played both games back to back, the main thing I'm noticing is how this is just 0 to 100 in power. The sequel feels as though you can control your power a lot more. Many times, you need to just tap it in for catching that's directly in the middle of the board, and for those secret voids that materialize at random. And here it's a little bit tricky because the bumpers, they're just going straight for toe punts, power slaps, absolute haymakers every single time. That's not always what you need. Sometimes you just need a little jab. Nothing nothing too fancy there. I don't know what it is about a second one, because I doubt any Game Boy has pressure-based input, but the control is a lot more in your favor there. Not to say it's awful here. I'd actually say this is a better Game Boy Color game than the sequel is a Game Boy Advance game. You know what I mean? But the mad thing is, the playtime you'd get off of this is insane. You'd be rinsing through the Duracell trying to get 100% playthrough here. That rabbit would be going straight to the grinder. This one's unforgiving on the bonus stages. You get one ball, quantum tunneling or not, you ain't getting it back. It's up to the game what Pokemon you have a chance at catching. It's near enough up to the game what location you start with as well. Don't even stress me out with the thought of having to get evolutions, because you have to catch and evolve during the same round you're playing. A 100% run is very much left in the hands of the RNG gods. 32 hours expected. Gee, one for every county. That's a bank holiday weekend's worth of grafting. I don't think it's mad of me to say this is probably the hardest Pokedex to fill out. You've got to earn that. You can't just action replay it. You can't Pokemon home it. You can't trade anything. Just imagine after filling out that Pokedex, after that amount of work you put in. Don't take the piss, Samuel. That certificate, that better be your actual PhD. I'm the professor now. This is my lab. That's my desk. Those are my 3 stars. And no, you're not having one, and neither is your grandson. If he pulls anything like he does in the main games, then it better come in the form of a comically large check. And if that certificate doesn't clear up the bank, Samuel, then I'm coming back for your lab. And your Now, I was very close to placing the original Game Boy Pinball over the advanced version. You quite abruptly get to that main menu screen. You're thinking it's feeling oddly cheap compared to the first one I just played. At least get some remix tunes of the original tracks going. We missed out on some Gen 3 remixes all jazzed up in that. They were just like, right, we need some music for the Pokedex menu. Sorry, just slap on the Evergrande City soundtrack. They won't even notice. Relax, it's fine. It's fine. Everyone knows it's not a real city, just like how everyone knows cricket's not really a sport. They've only heard it for like 10 seconds max anyway. What's 17 more seconds browsing the menu? But praise be, they're still packing its own original music, unique sprites. It just throws me off because I feel as though I shouldn't be hearing the same item gets or Pokemon caught soundbite that I'd hear playing Emerald. Like, come on. We're on a pinball table here. Very Pokemon Casino coded. You gotta jazz it up a little bit. It is very far off maxing out the credit on the GBA's RAM there. You could easily just got on one of the interns to batch up some audio there. They probably would have loved the opportunity, but I just can't have it in me to rank the original version higher just because it's got more, you know, swanky tunes blasting at the Game Boy speaker, and is also AAA battery compatible. It's got the bangers playing, the vibrations switched on, but Pinball GBA sweeps the rest of the contest from there. Another classic case of wedging up the original in near enough every objective way possible. Unless you're the one existing human who's a bit too ride or die for that rumble feature. Can't even watch a TV if that remote ain't pinging like a rose toy, can you? Look, if it's between keeping the kids or the rumble pack and the divorce, the rumble pack's coming home to daddy every time. Then maybe, you know, maybe I just probably stick to the original then, now that I'm not your dad. But if I'm being true to myself, I know I'm having more fun playing this version. Wedged up Ruby and Sapphire boards with all sorts of hidden compartments to get the hang of. It's still just as repetitive as the original, but much like actual pinball. So you've just got to say, fair enough. What, are you expecting like procedural generation pinball tables there? Look, you can't have the rumble feature and procedural generation. They've tried it. It cannot be done. Stop being a tech glutton, rubbing your belly at the sight of an RGB Logitech mouse. You're lucky you're even getting 2 tables to play on it. Normally, you just have to suck it up with just the one, and it's charging you £2 a go. Like, yeah, okay. Yeah, good luck finding a second Sopranos pinball table. You've potentially got 4 Pocketmon ones in your pocket. Fleshed out boss battles as well, 5 minutes in, and you're already neutralizing the god of land via, from Groudon's perspective at least, being pelted with a metal ball operating under some kind of boomerang witchcraft. These ones should make a comeback though, because the interesting thing about games like this is how they incorporate specific Pokemon around set environments. Like a Kecleon boss turning invisible, Celios bouncing balls into hoops, Latios and Latios as a little pair of ball boys. There's so much more potential for that kind of thing. And there's barely anything to this game. Once you got the pinball mechanics sorted, I reckon it's easy money from there. I'm not saying it's all that. Nothing went into making this. Game development sounds like hell in any capacity, but I swear developers must have been gleaming back then to be able to pump out games like this and charge full price. Because these days, all of that effort would be getting banished straight to the App Store. 99p charge maximum. 2003, this would hold the same value as Metroid Zero Mission. By the time gaming apps were on the come up, it'd hold the same value as that your favorite Martian song you bought on iTunes in 2010. Pokemon Trozei, or Link, depending on whether or not you have to pack your school bag with a loadout. Your standard DS touchscreen swiping puzzle game to let your stylus come up for a little bit of breathing air after a good urethral sounding, says Trozei, translating to let's get/take. Quite a malleable word there, actually. I might have to download that one into the old lexicon. Rise and grind, boys. Trozei the bag. Trozei blackout drunk tonight. This to say, you will never Trozei, ah la 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 la. But one day, he finally break cage, and he Trozei. I don't think that works. Unfortunately here, Let's Take, it's not in the fun stealing Pokemon way like the other games. This same developer made, Genius Sonority, yeah, the Colosseum guys. There's none of that Jesse, Meowth, Trozei, that Pikachu. What it actually means is, let's get 4 DUI mugshots of a Pokemon in a row for some puzzling adventure. Like an almost spiritual successor to Puzzle Challenge. Its own variant of a slower Tetris with more, big neuron activating endless combos. It activates the same chemical in my brain that's seeing an overstimulating slot machine giving you a 90-second cutscene after a probably very small payout does. The gameplay itself is pretty fun. No excuses there though. By 2004, you shouldn't be botching puzzle games really. It's like botching the coding to a calculator. Like the framework's all there. You just copy your mate's homework, but you can still easily tell it's a very second-hand spin-off. It's not an N64 Puzzle League job, where everything outside of the actual Tetris seemed quite cheap, but the creative liberties, they were clearly taken, not necessarily in a bad way, but it's feeling especially non-canon. Like if you play Conquest, they still feel like Pokemon characters mostly, but over here, you got enemies looking like Shaolin Showdown henchmen, some Scott Pilgrim-looking characters having a float about here and there as well. Either way, love it or hate it, it's all gravy. Anyway, it's all secondary to give you the pathway of challenges. And they actually made the effort so the puzzles make sense in the world itself. And you're not just a 10-year-old playing Tetris with Al Capone in the middle of Yankee Stadium. The Trozei Mons is done as a way of hacking into stolen Pokeballs. The combos you make makes a signal more clear to pull off a sly little PC transfer. Hacking into Pokeballs are very ahead of the time lore drop to sprinkle in there. The thing I like about these little side piece games as well, you can give a bit of the spotlight to some of the side piece Pokémons as well. Solrock and Lunatone as a counterpart pair, they were never getting portrayed as a major tag team anywhere, except for the Moss Deep Gym, where they get washed in a single surf anyway. You may as well be elevating normal Pokemon than resorting to overexposing the same legends over again. The villain on the back end of the map, powering up a whole Dr. Eggman Lunatone ship to a... I don't know, to be honest. Go pull an Omni-Man, fly into space to drill some bug people, stealing the Pokemon to power this devastating secret weapon. Phobos, who even can? You will link the Pokemon, you will eat the Goy Block, you will put the Stylus back in the Urethra where we found it. And apparently, you lot didn't get enough linking, did you? You were starving. Pokemon Trozei, Trozei some more, please. Link me up, brother. 3DS gets Battle Link eShop exclusive. Pokemon Shuffle, another 3DS Micro Edition to end off the trilogy. Yeah, they gave us a trilogy for this, but not Colosseum and XD. Okay, alright, I see how it is. The Circle of Life being relegated to mobile game. Be warned, however, when it comes to Shuffle at least, it do be freemium, but it do be more of the same. And you can't really play it any other way. Even if you want to pay the freemium tax, it's long since shut down. So you've got to just raw dog the entire flight, daily allowances only. Now the first game, I'd have had no idea the same developers who designed West also made a game with these massively stylistically different looking villains. But straight away here, there's no need to tell me the Colosseum guys made this. The tunes alone got me feeling nostalgic playing a game that, as of writing this thought out initially, I just played 20 minutes ago. Well, if you're about to tell me what, that Trozei is really Moorish, boy, have I got news for you. It's near enough more of the same. Only thing here is that you can swap the Pokemon heads from near enough anywhere on the board. It makes it some addictive gameplay, but going straight into this from the original, it's feeling very overpowered. I'm a bit more dead set on how it was before. The board having a bit of gravity to it, some batty on it. Icons had to be adjacent to be moved how they want. Now your stylus, it's got that instant transmission going across the entire board. I can't help but feel as though it removes a bit of the split-second strategy involved. It's still pretty solid though. That's alright. The Pokemon Puzzle League. The N64 one. Hell no, I'm not paying premium $1 for that Switch Online just so I can stream this game for jobbers. Not even taking the Mystery Market Thailand sweeties for the first time could have saved that experience. I was unironically more entertained by my Jason Momoa stock image spawning Chinese spyware phone. But Pokemon Puzzle Challenge, Game Boy Color, Heroine, all completely different boxes of frogs. No enhancements needed. An enjoyable experience is natty attainable this time. No need to be trying to conjure the wandering mystery mystery merchant. You know, unless maybe you could sort me out with one of them Game Boy Color backlight attachments. You know, get it on tick, who knows. Released in June 2001, down my ends, about a week before the Game Boy Advance first hit the shelves. So there's two sides to this. The Game Boy Color at the back end of its lifespan. Myself at the front end of gaining sentience. You've got this system at the absolute peak of its graphical prowess. Art style on point. Remixes of classic Johto tunes. Animated sprites. Oh, you're not getting the cardboard cutout job this time. Picture-in-picture, play-by-play commentary. Toto live reaction. Gassing you up for the big combos you're landing. Oh, that's a belter of a combo there, fella. Look at the expressions. Tell me you've ever seen a Cyndaquil. This jolly maxed giving a hearty chuckle, slapping his stout belly all over the place at the defeat of his enemies. I'm just saying, you're not getting that kind of love and attention towards Richie and his Zippo lizard. Look, what I'm saying is, for a minor gimmick spin-off, this game is covered in the sauce. You gotta be wrapping up your Game Boy in a sandwich bag just to be playing it. It's no wonder I thought the Nintendo 64 one was so cheap, playing it as the somewhat fully grown, somewhat vegetable-consuming man I am now. When I was raised on the sauce, I'm so glad I had this one and not the other one. Then you add a little adventure mode, going out fighting the gym leaders, the occasional trainer on the journey, collecting new pocket friendos along the way. So within the lore of this game, I completely folded this old man at Tetris Attack, featuring Totodile. And he's like, oh, can't win them all, can ya? Right, well, that's that. I'm off. Take good care of Pikachu. Just imagine that though, like, tough break. I hit the black in early. Diesel's all yours then. Good luck, soldier. I'd have to quit games altogether if it went by Yu-Gi-Oh rules. You know, in the anime when they're like, I won, now hand over your rarest and most expensive card. I could never go to any venue with Guitar Hero Arcade ever again. I'll be leaving with the cast off Zootropolis. Is this just what happens when you lose a Pokemon battle on an empty wallet? You gotta start selling off a few of your properties on the Monopoly board, like chucking your car keys on a table in a game of poker. Oh no, the missus is gonna be fuming later. She almost divorced me and I lost a dog in that game of poker. How am I gonna break the news to her? I just lost one of the kids in a game of air hockey. I never saw the Elite Four here as a kid. This is all new to me. The sprites, the Jinx in its shameful defeat hair-only form as well. That's a rare one. That wasn't just a one-off quirky animation for the stadium games. Not some off-model trait a designer got a bit quirky with. That thing actually does that. All this stuff I never saw as a kid. Then again, I don't think I ever played this game past the age of 6 until now, so you'll have to forgive my underdeveloped brain. For age 6. You're not getting any apologies out of me, my underdeveloped brain currently, okay? But it's an addictive one. The aesthetic, the tunes, the replayability. Pokemon Unite, their attempt at a League of Legends, which I've never played. I think hopefully that should come across very obvious to you. All I know of Unite is League of Legends has one of the best Pokeball designs going, and Blastoise gets dripped up at predatory prices. Opening the game up and seeing them cutscenes, I really went into it wanting to like it. That main menu though, jeez, what, starting it up for the first time. Yeah, I get it. We get it. We see the store, all right? You've got a store. I've got 100 different notifications pinging on my screen. There's events on. Battle Pass now. Gengar's probably on offer for a pair of arseless chaps on the store. Overstimulating attack on the sensors. I'm on a fresh new Switch 2 here, and it can't keep up, thinking somehow my console got malware. I can already tell that I am too far gone to be getting deep on any kind of game like this. This is just me not knowing the genre, I'm sure, but Unite is oddly much slower than I was expecting. I don't mean the matches necessarily, because they can pick up quite a bit. 10 minutes, good enough time, but for some reason I thought the character movements and attacking would have been a bit quicker. Pikachu in the tutorial as well. I'm not exactly shifting a Delmoise across the map. That being said, I got a little bit loosened up to it. There's plenty of single player stages as well to get your reps in. I started to see how this one is fun and satisfying to play when I'm not expected to be a complete sweat like I thought I'd have to be. It is a fun one. Find yourself a character with satisfying enough movements and fun enough moves and you'll definitely get something out of this. Blastoise surfing, the Hydro Pump, got plenty of meat behind him. Defensive range, just don't care, mate. Don't care, I'm rushing in with a big man. So, okay. Alright, I'm a believer. I'm a little out of my depth, but Unite is a pretty fun game. No real complaints. For a free-to-play as well. With Pokemon's track record of those, geez, Unite, it's firmly S tier then. I don't really play online games these days, but Pokemon applied to a genre I could get more behind in this style, with cutscenes like that, with Psyduck in a beer helmet on the store, I'd be fully down. An insane lineup Unite is fronting. If they've got Delmoise on the roster, imagine what kind of Pokemon and locations they could be using in other genres. The only closest thing I could think of in today's age is if they had their own crack at a Marvel Rivals instead. I've not bothered playing that either. Dabbled in Overwatch like 10 years ago like everyone else did. I want to see how they'd use the world building and adapt characters' locations to one of those styles of games like they have here. Actually, no, leave that Marvel, leave that Overwatch. Team Fortress 2, that's the one we're bringing back. the Pokemon Ranger trilogy. For me, I don't really see a huge clear gap in this series in the same way that Mystery Dungeon has, at least. Arguably a step up with each sequel. It's just that first step from original to the second one is a big one. It's a massive one. Overall though, there's no dodgy WiiWare version, there's no gates to infinity to sandbag the review averages down. The first Ranger game, definitely the worst. But it's almost more in like a GBA Mystery Dungeon kind of way. Laid the blueprint down, very solid first crack. A little bit rough compared to the sequel, but still, the first one, absolutely the worst one. For this mandatory Salamence boss alone, I was this close every single time, and he just wasn't having it. Then you play the sequels, and you see just how smoother the touchscreen is. That Salamence situation never would have happened in those games. I thought I was being a bit too greedy on the loops, but a split second off, I'll just rage quit it. Just right now, Salamence can do one. I beat him as a kid, beat the whole game as a kid, I got nothing to prove. But right there and then is when I decided now, Pokemon Ranger 1, third place. I don't care what the sequels are. The sequel could literally be Gates to Infinity, don't care. It's the worst one. But I say that like it's a complaint. That's exactly how it should be. The sequels, they should surpass that Ranger styler there. Blue balled me far too many times. By the second game, the Rangers, they must have updated the drivers on these things. And I just realized none of that makes any sense to you unless you already know of the Pokemon Rangers. You see, in these games, your graft is, you're not a trainer, you're not a breeder. Unfortunately, you're not a photographer either. You, my friend, you get to be a ranger. Now, trust me now, I know you may seem like a glorified Boy Scout. It doesn't look like a respectable field at first, but you're near enough just a Pokemon fed. And I don't mean a police officer in the Pokemon world. I'm saying you are a fed for Pokemon, many of which commit Pokemon unhuman crimes. Probably the worst crimes of all. Aggressive ones, causing domestics, kicking off in the high streets, equipped only with your wits and a digital Beyblade that pacifies Pokemon after you've lapped around them enough times. I reckon this technology, that'd go down a treat for us right now. Someone drunk starting fights, just gets done in by the digital Beyblade, he calms down suddenly, gets teleported straight into the back of a police van. Another big world-building side game here, with a completely new job sector introduced to the Pokemon world that you probably would have had no idea existed. That's gotta be the most dangerous job going. The pay better be good. That better be six-figure pay on entry as an intern. Maybe I missed something here, but it sounds to me like you're pacifying Pokemon bare-handed. Legends Arceus, it had me believe that the only thing stopping the wild Pokemon from devouring you was having a Pokemon yourself. And I just don't think, I'm not saying you guys are lying, yeah, the Rangers, but I don't think a Ranger styler is about enough of a deterrent to stop an Aggron engulfing you. Like, what would the Rangers even do if the villain was Getsis? They'd all get shoved into the sewers like the police in Dark Knight Rises when Bane takes over Gotham. You think Legends Arceus was the first to rip off the seal of Pokemon attacking you? An hour into Ranger, you're already getting lamped by a Heracross, and you're introduced to the concept by seeing a Houndoom potentially tear apart a Minun till it's looking like an incomplete Build-A-Bear. Break the Beyblade, and I guess, I don't know, the Pokemon just scratch. You're just a bull tamer, hoping you don't end up on a live leak video with a horn up the batty. You are on permanent Johnny Knoxville shift. It all just seems like a very convoluted way of catching Pokemon. You know, actually catching them would also calm them down, and almost instantly teleports them to the PC and everything, you're sorted. And if you do end up catching them, then it's easy money. Now you actually can defend yourself. The Go Rock Squad, mortal enemies with their own styler that does, oh well, I would have guessed the exact opposite to what yours does. Oh yeah, great, how convenient. Look mate, I'm just trying to do my job. Yeah, you wouldn't chuck your rubbish all over the streets in front of the bin men, would you? I've only just pacified these. Now you lot have unpacified the whole lot of them. Stop that. No bongos, no jam sesh. I'm talking here, and I'm going to be on overtime because of you lot. Yeah, the pacified Pokemon, they do stay with you temporarily. They help you get past obstacles. Again, could just keep a HM slave handy, not paid by the hour here. The actual gameplay, it is still quite fun though. When you're spinning the stylus, it's quite fun, but going through the dungeons, it's not really the most entertaining, to be fair. Solid introduction, but very unrefined. I don't have any will to ever play this one again, knowing the other two exist. To be honest, I reckon whatever kind of nostalgia you may have for Pokemon Ranger 1, chances are you're talking about the second game, and your brain's just a bit messy. On paper, fictional Japanese creature cockfighting, actual fighting game. Easy money. How did the Wii U come into existence before a fighting Pokemon game? And I mean an actual game where they're scrapping. You know, let's get rid of all that turn-based RPG etiquette, named attacks, listing off everything they're doing. Nah, none of that. Let's just put these weapons in an octagon. You mean to tell me that if Blaziken lands a Blaze Kick on you, he's gonna wait your turn? No chance. It's gonna be a 1-2 Blaze Kick. Then you're getting some dirty clinch work, getting some elbows thrown in. Oh, no time for the Forest store. You can put that back in your little bag there. Your Zigzagoon's already dead. Now, first impression, along with Kruyai Blaziken. What an odd, yet very interesting selection for the base game roster here. Out of all spin-off games, to give you a starter Pokemon, this one would have been probably like my 30th guess I'd have had to give you that option. And when you're too deep here, this is the most stacked starter lineup you could ever imagine. Professor Oak's table, if he sold his soul to the action replay devil. It's a much different game here, having your Pokemon actually fight. Yeah, no, you can't afford any half measures here. You're not taking a Torchic into one of these death matches. Save him for the Pokemon battles. Completely different box of frogs to a Pokemon fight. You know, that Torchic you got there. Yeah, he may be a good bit of kit to have for hunting the rats down your hometown, but that boy, he's got to be at least level 75. At least about 7 years spent as a Blaziken before he's ready to step in to be an Octagon Pokemon. Yeah, you thought this was just a standard character select screen. Nah. You can't afford to be starting out on the Bulbasaurs. Look, just take the pre-cooked Garchomp straight, okay? I was a bit skeptical about the art style at first. It could have gone very wrong, very easily. I was worried it was going to look a bit too uncanny. You know, like, what's it, Jump Force. But it works surprisingly well here. Fully animated, a nice bit of texture on them. They got that, like, Smash Bros. Brawl texture. And there's just something about seeing a Blaziken throwing actual roundhouse kicks, pacing on the spot a little bit. It just makes the guy feel alive. They don't feel like Pokemon here. They feel like actual characters. Legitimate voice acting, like in the anime. It makes the Pokemon world feel so much more alive than what we're used to seeing in recent memory. Even got a Whirlipede in the gym doing his incline rolling, getting his 10k rolls in for the day. Go on, you boy. In Legends are, you may be able to launch tactical nukes on city center wildlife. But tell me, where else are you delivering a perfect form, rear knee, straight into Rey Mysterio's dome? You've even got the Dragon Ball long-range Ki Blast spam that Vegeta does whenever he knows he's about to get folded. Then DX pipes up with the roster and mode editions. Ultimately though, for single player, you're mostly just spamming tear-ups against the computer until you level up to finally give Shadow Mewtwo a good throttling. Pure 1v1 combat. You're not getting any of that stadium minigame side questing. You're either in the Wakanda Bubble Shield Octagons, or you can go about unlocking these Modern Warfare 2 titles and catchphrases to slap onto your online avatar. I don't really care for these things in games in general, but some of these actually have some legs to them if you overthink them like me. You know, look at over here, like practicing my combos. Just imagine the disrespect of a pro fighter at a press conference, sat by his opponent like, yeah, nah, I reckon it'll be a good one to be practicing the combos on. More of a free-form spar, if anything. This Pokemon comes packing. Oh, I can't be choosing that one. It'd be an outright lie. All of us can see in plain sight what Blaziken's packing. He's built like the back of the head of a Sonic Funko Pop. Maybe my favorite. I just can't win. Just imagine that same press conference. You know, the good guy to practice the old combos on. The opponent sat over. After hearing that, he's just going, look, man, I'm just going to level with all yous. I'm not going to win this. The guy's an animal. Jeez, look at him. I'd be good to practice combos on. No, I will not. I'll be tasting monster energy off that sponsorship on the canvas within seconds. You'll get one combo, that'd be it. One punch, one kick, that's not a combo. I'm actually trying to get injured to back out. And someone please injure me that isn't him. Someone for the crowd. You're the question there, please. They've got quite a lot for the actual Pokemon as well. Gather up, Lucario fans. Jeez, what a very literal dog whistle. Predators, assemble! I'm hooked on Lapras. Now that was actually a bit interesting because no other Pokemon-based tagline has this specific wording. So, if we were to addiction scale Pokemon, Lapras is being implied here to be one of the higher ups. Tell you what, that Lapras is really Moorish. And if you couldn't tell from me being distracted for ages just with the profile text options, I've not really got a huge amount of input on this one. I'm abysmal at fighters, but it's just a solid game to me. I'll know the gist to them. I won't be clueless on a Tekken machine, but I'll forever mostly be a button masher who likes to do a little uppercut combo with a little bit of the Vegeta rage-baited long-range attacks on occasion. This one's a bit hard to scale in terms of ranking because it's very different to most Pokemon games, but if you honestly asked me which ones I could pick up and play on a random, Pokkén would be one of the most fun and up there, I'd say. Maybe this concept seemed too obvious on paper. It didn't really take off in the way you'd imagine it to, like it did for Dragon Ball. I reckon maybe they could have gone for more of like a Marvel versus Capcom style, and they didn't go all in on it being solely Tekken. I'm still not complaining though. I do like a bit of Tekken. Imagine Pokemon's world applied to a Marvel versus Capcom. At least aesthetically, it'd look amazing. Battle Revolution is one I don't seem to hear much about these days. Sleeper hit under the radar, just a smidgen maybe. Especially coming fresh off a piping hot Colosseum NXT. It definitely felt like we were backtracking a little bit. New motion controls, next enough gen hardware. Next gen adventure. Is there back to the dark ages of the cartridge for you? You get combat and that's it. You'll eat what you're given. You're not even going to give us some mini games with the Wiimote and everything? No. You have jumped enough carp in your lifetime. You'd think with the Wii of all consoles, they'd have been gurning to get some stadium mini games running again. But how could you not feel the downgrade? Not only going back to the stadium formula, which I used to assume was because of technical limitations, that they only felt confident enough having a full adventure game once the GameCube's hardware came along. They've even got you typing in your name via Nokia touchpad. This would potentially softlock a far younger Zoomer than I. Once you get loosened up, when you finally accept the harsh reality that this is essentially Pokemon Stadium 3 or 4 and not Colosseum 3, you'll soon accept that Battle Revolution. It's a bit of a banger. Like, if you're talking purely battles, it's far and away the best stadium game. Let the nostalgia pill wean off, and which one would you actually want to be playing the most when it comes to battling? The 90s is never competing against Gen 4. That's when they really figured out this whole system. Unfortunately, I can't really blame people for not rating this one too much. It's a weird backtrack for both the GameCube and Nintendo 64 games in different ways. Much more limited preset rental teams, unlike what you're used to in Stadium, where you rock up for 30 seconds and they're like, hey, screw it, man, we got Moltres, we got Zapdos, have the whole lot of them. Take a and execute while you're here. And no, I do not care. Much less freedom here, but it's oddly not a deal breaker in my opinion. More linear structure. For me personally, the sense of progression had me a little more motivated to actually unlock the later Pokemon. The preset teams are made that way for a reason, so you're figuring out how they play. You've got to learn how to deal with the hand you're dealt with. I just want to win the tournaments and unlock more teams to experiment and play about with. Obviously, Stadium is straight up hands you everything, which ain't really a bad thing, but there's near enough zero graft to earn anything. You might as well be loading up a 99% clear save file. It might as well have been action replayed, and you could very easily argue it's much better to have a limited selection of Pokemon than the choice of every single one of them, but the movesets are so bad you might as well not bother. Okay, I'll just fight myself. At least the attacks I know personally make some sense. It probably makes more sense if I use Dig than some of the ones here that are using Dig. It is a bit slow to begin with if you're using the rentals. Now you get the riveting first two options of either Sprouting Trainer Cindy or Novice Nate. Yep, cheers. Oh, that's a tricky one there. Who'd you go with? Rising Star, IQ 168 Kate, or Jabroni Jimbo. Last chance now. Final answer now. Are you sure you don't want to go with actually eats loft insulation? Nathan, nah, you good? Well, all right, if you say so. That's something interesting about the rental system here, because you're playing as different trainers. It makes the world feel more alive, as if you're playing as random civilians. When you think about it, you're not renting the Pokemon. You're renting the man. You're renting the trainer. The boy. In a meta sense, you as a human/player are your in-game's trainer's trainer. Novice Nate is my Pokemon, and I direct him via Wiimote to direct his Pokemon via shouting. You see, there's an unspoken chain of command, and it must be respected. Now bring me the boy. With the GameCube games fresh in my mind, I've got to say, they really dangle the carrot a bit too much for us, you know, us Colosseum trilogy yearners. They're making this battle simulation exclusive game. How are they gonna be like, oh my god, it's Pokopia, the most epic place in all of Pokemon, of which you get to explore none of. Here's your battle pass. Do not lose it. You may teleport from the reception desk via the receptionist to a stadium/Colosseum of your choosing, and on occasion, you may glance over at the Funfair City at a safe distance. But don't you dare step out of the parameters. Imagine looking over at Casino Night Zone from Sonic in the distance. Oh, it looks buzzing. But nah, they've got you stuck at the entrance, running in a hamster wheel. No casino for you, brother. You like Sonic, you like running, don't you? All you're getting is a running simulator. It's still a really solid game, but it just stings, doesn't it? It could have been so much more. It's still got that source laying dormant. I know the Colosseum is lurking in there somewhere. All the models have that same charm to them, from the characters to the Pokemon, the stadiums. But the real hook for me, tournaments with their own unique stipulations, round for round, 1v1 matches without knowing what your opponent's chosen. It's like battling in the anime. None of that meta game switching out every turn. No observation hacky to telepathically inform you what your opponent is planning to throw out next. Both on the count of 3, chuck whatever monster is calling to you, and the pair of yous just have to deal with your decision. There's an actual battle roulette. Chuck a dart at a spinning board to build your team mixed with both players' teams. Complete nightmare when against someone who sandbags you, getting stuck with literal NPC mons. Yeah, sound, mate. Sound. Cheers for the Corsola. and Metapod. Yeah, no, you just take good care of my Haunter and Metang for a bit. Sound, brother, nice one. And by far the best, 12 random Pokemon, both players choose 4. This one is right down the middle. Gets you thinking strategically, who are they gonna choose? Who do I choose to foil their potential selections with? 1000% has to make a comeback. The Pokemon equivalent to you and another warrior browsing the exact same rack of weapons before stepping into the arena. It is a shame, but fully 3D online battling I think was more than enough to justify ditching the RPG story focus. At least for the time, at least for past me. Back in the day, I had a great time on there. I didn't even know the word meta unless it was followed by gross. Neither did all those Japanese kids I was smacking about either, clearly. Now them servers are long since shut down, and present me is wishing they just sent us back to the Ore region and gave us a proper side quest trilogy on the Wii hardware. Poketopia, if that were fleshed out, it would have been a wild journey. Another 5-year time skip. Ore region even more gentrified. They looked at that desert landscape and went, it's nice, but do you know what would look great here instead of this natural spring oasis? About 25 Mackies and a Six Flags Battle Revolution. I can't believe I forgot how much sauce it has for what it is. The monkey's paw of Pokemon spin-offs. It absolutely scratches the itch of wanting more stadium, but unfortunately very much triggers the hunger of wanting more XD. Pokemon Stadium. Does it fume me how rigged the battles are? Does it hold too much nostalgia in my mind? Even Battle Revolution, which I'd much rather be playing purely from the different battle modes. Stadium, it's just a more full package. They couldn't rely on Wi-Fi battles back then, so they had to add a little extra ladder of the source. All tournaments available on-site, minigame lounge, gym leader castle, all while using every existing Pokemon on the Blockbuster card. Look, it's been a long time, okay? I decided to freshen myself up the Stadium. A nice little play now option. A good wee tune-up fight for me on the first turn since recording. Critical hit. Right, here we go. All right, now it begins. The commentator piping up saying, how will the type difference affect battle? What are you on about? Squirtle versus Meowth. It's no Groudon Kyogre exactly. No El Clasico, is it? Right, my mistake. Silly me. Foolish of me to forget even. Meowth's signature move. Thunder. They knew well enough about the meta game even back then. The rental movesets, they've got to be a psyop to shift more copies of Red and Blue. There definitely would have been more than enough people back then with Stadium as their first and only Pokemon game. We simply program our game to have house always wins, crits for thee, not for me rules. They have such a smaller chance at winning the real difficult fights. So, if that's your problem, you actually want to play the game, you better be asking old Father Christmas for Pokemon Red and Blue while you're at it. And if you got them two, you might as well get Yellow as well. Ask old Santa, tell him you've been extra good this year and go for Yellow as well. And you're also gonna get one of those little Game Boy adapters too. If you want to even the odds, consume more product. If you don't like our Pokemon, you can train your own rat boys then. There has to be some unfair coding going on here. I don't even feel the need to Google that. I just know it's true. You are not telling me that Clefairy uses Metronome against my Articuno and on the first try lands Flamethrower. It's not happening. 5 Thunders are counted off my Electrode. Not a single one landed. My man's using Lightning instead. What do you mean I've got an Electrode that can't take a Goldeen? Because it missed 1 Thunder, popped off a Confuse Ray, and from there, Electrode's fate was sealed. If I owned an Electrode who got packed up by a Goldeen, he'd be getting sent back to the Mahogany Rocket hideout. He'd be getting demoted to Car Cigarette Lighter. My Gengar versus Ghastly, both confused. Classic war of attrition is on, except there's no attrition. He's still hitting his moves, exact same moves that Gengar has, but even 2 stages down the evolutionary pipeline, the damage is very close to what Gengar's doing to Ghastly, and you've always got to keep a flying type on hand. I am so sick of seeing the move dig. Even Alakazam's dig. Going in spoons akimbo, tearing up the ground, is he? The guy can turn you into a cube with his brain, but he's going, nah, I think I'll just dig a hole. Now, to win some of these matches, you've got to be using the same heal tactics. A low blow here and there when the ref's not looking. Confuse Rays, Hypnosis, Thunder Waves, gouge their eyes out with Alakazam's dirty, mud-filled spoons. You've just got to play the game along with him. The damage always feels weirdly inconsistent. I want to know what realm you're existing in, where a Seal is one-hit KOing a Hitmonlee off 1 surf. In his entire body, get waterlogged from his pectoral-sized eyes. But saying all of that, the thing is though, it's a very frustrating game, but there's so much charm here. I love seeing the Pokemon with their late 90s 3D models. Venusaur looking chonged, firing off a solar beam. Jinx getting his trim snatched off. Ghastly being diabolically yoked. You just don't see that kind of weirdness anymore. It's a shame we can only ever see Gen 1 and 2 of this for such limited hardware. The Pokemon all feel so alive. The majority of them, they probably haven't even felt this alive since this and Battle Revolution. Even with adjusting for, you know, video game inflation of early 3D games compared to now, you would still get plenty of playtime out of this. For better or worse, if you're on the rental movesets. I was really going into this expecting to have spent half my time chatting about just the minigames, but looking back at it now, it's just a fun gimmick for a few minutes. Inflation rates going mad. This felt like the Olympics as a young kid. Now, they'd barely make the cut for a Mario Party. And obviously, the battle system is so archaic by today's or even Battle Revolution standards nearly 20 years ago. Yet the entire game is oddly timeless. That N64 charm, it just hits differently, doesn't it? The models, the arena announcer, the janky off-model Pokemon, the big X with the gunslinger sound effect across the ID photo. Battle Revolution has me feeling as though there's no point in me even really playing it when the servers have long since shut down. The Stadium, you can crack on almost 30 years later with no dramas. Pokemon Stadium 2, that beautiful gold cartridge that's eluded me my entire life. At least the contents of it. It's sitting in my drawer right now, but it never worked. One of the two things that eclipsed me as a kid, I was forever left wondering about. One, that broken Nintendo 64 cartridge. Two, that broken VHS tape of Austin Powers. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the butterfly effect of either of those two working could have been catastrophic. With my spongy, malleable 5-year-old brain, could have been having a groovy time with Stadium 2 and its fresh golden cartridge. Who knows, I might not even be a YouTuber right now. I could have been one of those guys who dresses up as him and goes to parties and that. So keep in mind, there's zero nostalgia factor here because of that. But even still, like a second-hand nostalgia, an adjacent nostalgia for how much I played the first game, and from always having the cartridge physically, the forbidden golden N64 carts. I remember the first game being out of your favor, and I know it for a fact after playing it. But I swear, trying Stadium 2 for the first time on Nintendo Switch Online, this one was insane with the odds. I must have just not realized how rigged the system was against you playing these games when I was younger. I thought the trading card game was bad with the coin flip. Again, half the time when I use a move like Thunder, as a trainer, I'd be stepping in like a frustrated parent watching their kid poorly use a screwdriver like, oh, for God's sake, give it the Thunder, I'll do it properly. Already looking much cleaner. Overclocking that Nintendo 64 good and proper.
Yeah, squeeze that Nintendo dry.
Now, first thing, catching me off guard. Hey, hold on a second. Get that freaky Ditto finger out of my peripheral now. Who does he think he is, little mage hand of goo? He's not far off giving Slow King his prostate exam, flicking that slow bean. And with my fresh adult brain, I think this is very well a Pokemon TCG2 upgrade situation. A game I missed out on for reasons beyond my childish means that I would have rinsed hours into. I don't think it's any contest here. Gen 2 upgraded so much from Gen 1, and this is essentially the same template applied to Johto, and all of its mechanic improvements being added. Just an inarguable upgrade, it seems. Zero attachment to it when I have loads for the first. But even if you're blinded by nostalgia, you're achieving the same goals, gym castle tournaments, but with a much better system, new types, held items, and 100 more epic pocket friendos to collect. Selects. So I shouldn't have said that line anyway like that. I'm so sorry for that. Stadium 1 will always have the jank, and you can't be getting rid of the jank, man. There's still plenty of it here, but it's just an objective fact this one is better. First thing I tried booting this up, they added a Wee Man's League. Not just the low levels, the baby Pokemon and all of that. Jesus, you got Cypher? In the under 10s league. No, that's not even like when your PE teacher joins in himself and batters everyone. That's like a school shooter going on the football pitch. Don't matter anyway. His moves aren't amazing. Oh, what a shock there. Are you sure Cypher's safe to be around the kids? Like, yeah, don't worry, no dramas. Your kids are perfectly safe. He's pretty much been devenomed. All he knows now is to cut, and if he wants to, pursue them. I mean, it don't matter, he still misses with them anyway. Cypher missed. Did you say that right? Cypher missed cuts. How? Like the Hulk missing a handshake? Nah, you're lying to me. Take that damage off their HP bar now. Won't ask you again. I want that baby Pokemon split in two pronto. Visually speaking, this game, it's a little bit surreal to me because it's weirdly closer to Pokemon Colosseum than I was expecting. I know it makes sense, they'll reuse models from past games, but my idea of a 64 Pokemon game is Snap in Stadium 1. But I get second-hand brainwaves of these animations being used on the GameCube. It's like a proto Colosseum. I'll recognize it. I can see it. Ladybird doing its little run-up after being hit. That's locked straight in the membranes. To me, this is like if I saw black and white style sprites on the GBA. I guess the technology gap is just a bit smaller than I expected.
But now, ladies and gentlemen, let's get to the real meat of Stadium.
You never mind what I said last segment ago. Hey, what a minigame say. I'll give you a quick rundown, okay? The spinny Hitmon top one, kind of fun. Golbat flying, kind of dodgy. Scyther and Pinsir, log cutting, very fun for me. Love a good bit of reaction time testing. You know what I love more? That soundbite you always hear that I never know the full name of, but you know the one I'm on about. It has like the Japanese guy going, "Ooh," and he's like banging the drum. I don't know what's called. I don't even know if he's Japanese, to be honest, but Ferret ball hitting. Complete mare to notice what you're doing, but you can wing it easily enough. Mime barrier ball. Nice bit of Pong. Fun times. Igglybuff counting memory game. This one actually is in one of the new Mario parties. I'm fairly sure. I'll give him that. Togepi rolling. The next stage of evolution from the rat races with Defo per tenner on the egg 100 meter dash. There's one with a Delibird present conveyor belt servers. This one just annoyed me. There's one with an Eevee bait and switch sustenance basket. This one just annoyed me so much for my love of getting my reaction time G-checked. Pichu, classic bit of button mash work. Donphan race, abysmal. Directional pads just feel like they don't work on this one. Chansey egg catching. Nice little full combo there. First try. You can't take the Guitar Hero instinct out of me. I was very unsure about this placement because I definitely had a bit more fun directly playing Battle Revolution. And I know I liked the clear sense of progression and the rental team aspect because you have something to earn to play for, but only on some level because you're very hard capped without connecting a DS. Stadium 2 hands the reins straight over. Much more timeless again like Stadium 1. Battle Revolution has me feeling as though I'm missing out because it's no longer the Obama administration anymore. It's a tricky compromise. Stadium 2, more freedom, more complete package. Battle Revolution, it's more fun to actually play and battle with. But I reckon a fine balance between the two, a perfect battle sim, potentially. Pokemon Rumble for the Wii U eShop, but it's still Wii U. It does a lot of things well, but I've got to say, even with the revolutionary muscle of the Wii United console, it's still a slightly weaker Rumble game. Taking steps ahead, steps back here. Each stage with a variation on the challenges, good improvement. Each stage with practically zero variation on the stage layouts, not so good improvement. Actually, no improvement. No goods? No goods. No more World Hub, actual stages. It's essentially all just a gauntlet of battle royales, which aren't bad necessarily on their own, but a blend of the two, it could have very easily been done, I feel. Now, canon, folks, 4 Pokemon going in at the same time. A stupid amount of enemies on the screen, and it's kind of got that halfway top-down view, so it's like the 45-degree one, so it's often hard to keep track of this absolute visual sugar rush of a game. At times, playing this would release the same chemicals in my brain that blurring my eyes while being spun around on a fairground teacup ride does at night, the neon lights flashing to the point where you think you're experiencing some kind of ego death when really you're just about to chunder. Then a split second later, you come back into reality and the game's asking you to pay up 2 bags to have another crack at the stage, lost in all the chaos. The whole game is just a well-constructed way of jingling keys right in front of my face, and I'm mostly falling for it. I give you some credit now. I ain't exactly slapping my belly, kicking my feet up in the air just yet now, but the aesthetics like this and still retaining most of that addictive, punchy gameplay, you can't really go wrong with. Even when you lose, you still retain all of the captured toy allies you managed to convert, who are most likely already stronger than your current team. Pokemon you found during the losing effort, so when you do get booted out, you can jump straight back in and completely dust them up using their own former Pokemon, their own soldiers from the last war on the sly, switching sides during the spectators lobby for the rematch. For a video that has Pokkén as a comparison point, it's always mad of me to say that this toy-based Pokemon game is unironically one of the more realistic portrayals of Pokemon combat. Well, yes, in fact, I do believe a Salamence would easily Dragon Claw an entire bloodline of Bidoof in one swipe. Well, why, yes, I do think Regirock with Explosion as a secondary move would just end the level immediately. Why are you giving me that option as a single player? I'm out, brother. Yeah, mate, I've had enough. I quit. Can't be asked to pause the menu. I'm just gonna do this. And anyone can see what they're going for. It's one of them games from that era where they really loved to force that local multiplayer. You can tell it's so blatant. Nintendo really wanted Wii U owners to actually have friends. They really wanted that Mario 3D World 4-player to translate into this. That Miiverse interactivity, slapped it onto as many games as they could back then. I see what they're going for. Just streamlining the gameplay straight to the meat, and 4 players in an actual stage you can explore. That probably would get a bit messy. Playing Mario's bad enough with just one other person when they have 0 urgency, so you're having to nerf yourself, scaring the huzz away with Kaizo Mario level strats. Many such cases. So what you're telling me is we lost out on actual stages like they had in the last game in favor of a 4-player mode on a console with 0 players. Well, an eShop game, and at least you can use the Wiimotes and that. Just the one console was needed. Nintendo, oh, the masters, absolute geniuses, even they knew. Good luck there, managing to find 4 people within proximity to each other who all own a Wii U. So maybe I'm just not getting that full experience. I'm missing out on that co-op aspect. But yeah, I can give or take it, really. What do you expect me to do? Not exactly gonna be Johnny Bravo in going up to people, dropping game like, "Hey, pretty mama, hiya. I got a Wii U hooked up back at my place."
We could even take things to the next level, my queen. How about we make things official with a post on Miiverse?
I still had quite a lot of childish fun with this one, but they could have kept it like the first 2 while also having these grand battle royale challenges. There wasn't too much exploration to begin with, linear enough stage design, but really that only makes you imagine what they could have done on the Wii U. Even if you want the 4-player thing to work, then Mario 3D semi-linear stages, I think that would have been solid enough. A good compromise could have been found there. This is feeling very sacrilege to place over the Stadia games a WiiWare game of all things. But if you honestly ask me which one I'd rather be playing, it's probably the Rumble games. I've been in the Pokemon game since 2013. How have none of you lot, not a single one of you, told me Rumble is a banger? I thought it was a bit of like a Sideman spin-off there, but the gameplay is hitting me. Like Reagan knocked on my door and handed me crack personally, and I'm taken back a bit. It's stupidly addictive. Pokemon Rumble, a game that's somehow gotten me to respect WiiWare a little bit. It wasn't swaying me up to this point. Even still, you can tell it's the first draft, built for the sideways Wiimote. You're not getting the full gyro of movements there. It's a very quick, snappy arcade experience. 6 stage variants, collecting low poly and very RAM-efficient Pokemon in toy form. Take on the battle royales from grade C to S tier. A sleeper banger for me. The gameplay is so fun and punchy that you don't even really care. You're not even paying attention to how much of the assets here end up getting reused. It's one of them where you shouldn't really be able to botch sequels, even though they kind of did with the freemium one. Ones that aren't dependent on feeding the gem gobbo, because the foundation is all there. All you need to do is introduce new variants of stages. It's in a league of its own in terms of Pokemon games. There ain't no power of friendship in the Rumble realm. You're forced to not get attached to any Pokemon you find on your travels. They're getting outclassed within the minute, and I kind of like that. It really forces you to use a wide range of different little goblins, right down to the slow ones with stupid moves, or my favorite, the fast and snappy ones. Playing with the ones like a Voltorb is where the game is at its most fun. Now that is a spin-off in its purest form, being just a WiiWare game. Imagine spending your 1,000 Wii points on Pokemon Ranch when this was sat there as well. A straight bouncing off the WiiWare attempt. A proper 3DS Rumble game had spawned. Gameplay that addictive. You need that fix. It's a fun little arcade cabinet of a game on the WiiWare, but that just ain't gonna cut it. You need a bigger dosage for gameplay that addictive. Love any game that really hits the home run and making you feel as though you're dishing out some heavy hits. Bit of Bayonetta, bit of Beautiful Joe maybe? Oh, it's a bit of either. Hordes of feeble pocket men just waiting to get swept in one motion. Such simple but satisfying gameplay for my primordial mind. If you really convey the meat behind every slap in any combat game, it is something primalistic. You're gonna get people hooked. And what could be even more addictive than that? Crack. But collectibles, that's almost, if not just as addictive. If you're merging the two now, crack, that's one thing. Collecting, that's another. A collection of crack, then I think you might have a problem there. Just the one, you're sound, but you can't be merging the vices there. You gotta pick a struggle. That's why, instead of doing your little crack, you could be playing Rumble and collecting all of these hecking epic friendos. Don't say friendos, Jez, yet. Not now. Because you saying friendos makes me think about friendos, and I love friendos. So can you not say friendos? If you've already played the original, it's just everything but expanded on. You ain't on no WiiWare anymore, boy. Just straight into the action, fast-paced. You got a new strongest little friendo you made, have you? Right, it's been 20 seconds. He's been usurped. New toy to play with. Constantly picking up stronger Pokemon by the minute. You're not just solo running, level 80 Blazerkunning your way through one of these games. The Pokemon don't level up. They say as it says on the tin, and are staying that way for good. As much as I'd have loved to have brought along Clamperl and its triple pull whammy clamp attacks throughout the entire game, like a kid with actual toys, straight on to the next shiny new toy, an eternal cycle of Pokemon getting Buzz Lightyear. Clampo, that was once my fun, new Buzz Lightyear, as was Butterfree and its long-ranged confusion attack. Pretty much snaps his fingers and a random Pokemon in the distance vanishes, but all must inevitably face the chopping block of becoming Woody. Some of them have a shelf life of 5 minutes, some maybe 20 seconds before a bigger, shinier toy comes into play. The Woody Reaper comes for us all. Even Woody, apparently, cannot escape the Norwood Reaper. Even though it's short-lived with how replaceable your strongest Pokemon are, once you find something that just clicks, the game is at its most fun. Find yourself a Petil with that magical leaf aimbot, Mega Drain as the second move, and you're bulletproof. Oh, and if you find something with Aerial Ace going through a forest stage, you'll be slicing through everything, just spamming Sephiroth's jump scare attack right at the start of the Kingdom Hearts 2 boss fight. A proper overworld this time, with a town in each area, battle royales with set challenge rules, like only being allowed to use grass types, for example. I think it may be easy to overlook because the models are all these stylistically low poly creatures, but the charm is all there. When you tap the B button but have no second move, they just break the fourth wall, looking up at God, confused, looking up to you like, what do you want me to do about it? There's like some slight semblance of a plot, not much to take in exactly, but many characters there to interact with you in the overworld. I'm only really curious on the logistics of this. Start of the game, you beef with a Pawniard. You run into him and he's like, ah, you again, eh? As if I've not appeared to them a completely different Pokemon every single time. He must be talking directly into the soul, directly to me, the player. They know who I am. My only real annoyance, I really wish that they just reset your HP after each level. It's just a time sink when you already know I'm just going to run back down the Excadrill hole, take a little swig from the old rejuvenation fountain in the middle of town, and then you're straight back out there. Why would you start a level again with low HP? There's no point. Unnecessary bit of world walking, just top me up after each level. Aside from that, me, my caveman brain, we likey. Going into Champions Blind. In June, hoping all the glitches are long since patched that I'll just saw about on Twitter, not relearning any of that meta. 2014 brain is the most you're going to be getting out of me. With both of these factors, I had zero dramas. Still knew what I was doing in a fight, in a battle, no glitches. Still no excuse on a launch day for a free game that could have been released at literally any time they wanted. But I had no real issues here. Set my character up, a nice foolproof name just in case. I'm not going into lose, alright? But I'm a little rusty, okay? And no one here can have a canonical win over me. And they open up with this banging cutscene that leads into a very sobering shift back to the real world, the real graphics. Yeah, this will be Pokemon graphics in 2013. Yeah, maybe give or take 2113 at this rate. Try next century, brother. I just think there's something dodgy about these characters trying to convey emotion after they get jump scared by the Rotom Nicotine patch. And I've really never understood. I think Gale Gen 8, it established some kind of weird thing that why do all of these professional trainers, they have to rock up in the Under Armour full kit, these thermals? Are they like fireproof? Is that part of the deal? I mean, if you're gonna dress like that, ready to get a bit of action going, you can be the 7th Pokemon. How about that? Battling is a dangerous game, but that's not going to protect you. If they go rogue, I'd be rocking up like Dr. Eggman in my little indestructible Pokemon Snap go-kart. Graphically again, the Pokemon themselves, they look serviceable enough. They get the job done. But they just haven't got the same soul of the stadium games of Battle Revolution, do they? Why does a 20-year-old game in Colosseum have better battle animations? You've had like 25 years to just get all the Pokemon animated properly. If this game looked bar for bar like the previous game released 18 years ago on the Wii, hey, it can be 480p again as well. It won't even matter. It still look better. You get down to the barn area to recruit new mons. Some permanent, some temporary. All depends on how deep your V-Bucks pockets go. I can't really tell how deep this is pay to win, but it's gotta be, right? A little bit. Because I know you can transfer your own from home, but the thing is, it surely can't be fully pay to win for something this competitive. And they want this to be the main platform for VGC, I think. All of this stuff I was bothered by as well. But once you actually get playing, oh, the magic just came back. It's just straight classic Wi-Fi battling. When it first dropped, everyone was raging, glitchy, monetized hard, and I don't rate how restricted it is compared to Showdown like I'm used to. But once you're tucked in, it's still the same battling. Even hooked me up with the Volt Switch Mega Manetric. Okay, so they've heard of me back in my UU days. First opponent leads with a Dragonite, backs out with the fear. They know what he's capable of. Manetric botched the overheat. It's okay. We've all been there. A very risky overheat to begin with against an Aggron. But then Halucha tags in, brother, and he sweeps the rest. Strategically picked him as well as the wild card. I can read your 3 chosen Pokemon with that built-in Millennium Eye. The observation hacky. Next match, Mega Dragonite. I don't even have Mega Dragonite. What am I going to do about that? Okay, now I know I'm not just just facing bots over here. Had a bad feeling about it. There's not much I could do. This could be the first L I'm gonna take, only to clean up with a victory bell. Sucker punch straight to Raichu's jaw after going 0-2. Look, there's nothing else like it. When you get into online battling, it's really fun. Went in with the Pokemon options they had, mostly cleaned up. Some bots, I think. Some likely 5-year-old Japanese children. Takes me back to Battle Revolution. Eventually got a few actual sentient humans. Either way, all 3 of those brands of opponent got their business. They got tucked in. I'm not washed. Your Unk still got it. But Unk ain't gonna be paying or training Pokemon in Scarlet or Legends are to transfer over to really find out. It's a hard game to scale against the Stadium games or even Battle Revolution. Those are definitely more complete games. But what am I really having more fun playing? Against the Nintendo 64, that's pretty much like playing blackjack against 3 dealers or against random Japanese children. I've only been using the rentals as well, or whatever the events the game currently has lets me use. Still had a great time. I understand it's restricted, but it's still actual online battling, which is arguably the most fun thing going in Pokemon. One of the few things that Pokemon's done 100% to have improved since the old games. The criticism is all valid, but I had a great time playing this one. The game is essentially Pokemon Wi-Fi battling, so when you phrase it like that, it can't not be A tier minimum. Pokemon TCG GBC. Perhaps the only reason any of us actually knew there was a strategy game involved and they didn't just shine and smell kinda nice. I remember I was the only person around my area who even remotely knew how to actually play the card game because of this. And now it's all come back full circle to people just liking the cards because they're shiny. Always been a classic. Many an hour I've spent on this one. One I've probably replayed the most over the years. I had to have spent many an hour because I've no clue where I got that sort of patience to be beating a game like this when I was that young. So much luck of the draw in the coin flips. The oppressive RNG whip is not holding back in these ones. Half the matches are near enough determined on the first draw, which I think you could say that about any card game really. It's not exactly Stadium levels of rules for thee, not for me, and the AI is much more intelligent than you'd expect. You're getting a very solid TCG experience here, coming fresh off of Play It especially. Much faster paced, majority of cards very easily accessible, trainers very replayable. They kept it simple, basic overworld, only the odd mandatory NPC to hunt down for a little conversation to progress. They're not here to waste your time, aside from the coin from the RNG, but they know you're here for a bit of TCG action. At least the only time they're wasting is between the ropes, in that squared circle. It's not going to be happening in the overworld. Your overall goal, conquer the Club Masters, not Gym Leaders, to then beat the Grandmasters, not Elite Four, and then earn the legendary cards. I'm thinking a set of Bird Trio cards. They can't be that well sought after, but after seeing how they operate, the legendary cards have chosen one man. No, your rival says, as he has a moment of Shadow Realm psychosis, watching the legendary cards just vanish from his deck, I guess. Just a tabletop game. I'm just a hobbyist. You gotta relax a little bit. Look, we're sat at a board game cafe. You're gonna get us kicked out of here. I don't know, I guess I thought a comic book-esque man would waddle his way over and make the guy hand the cards over to me. But no, these legendary cards don't need PSA. You'd have to send them into the Warren family to get graded. I would just have to straight never lose if I had to live in this world with Duelist Kingdom Starship rules. Obligated to hand over a few loose packs to whoever beats me. You greatly overestimate my willpower. Any packs I've got a hold of will be torn apart like I'm a starved Doberman. I'd have to be keeping resealed ones on me. Have to hustle them a little bit, like having a fake phone in your pocket, expecting to get mugged walking through a favela. Everyone should play these spin-offs. They hold up incredibly well in today's age, especially if you're in a similar place where I am with the trading card game. You're too far gone with the tag teams, the 400 HPs, the Olajide, Olatunji adjacent people grifting era of TCG that we are in. You want that classic base set TCG play, top spin-off. With how much ratings I give towards the original TCG, I'd probably get FOMO for standstill M25 traffic if I knew the boys were there. So imagine the heavy FOMO I was feeling to find out Japan had a sequel. They kept me in the dark about it. An absolute travesty, because every single aspect mogs the first game. It's just an across-the-board buff to all stats. More cards, the graphics wedged up. Second island, it has cool Porygon. Nothing like that soy Porygon like the old game had. You can even play as a girl this time. Almost always the superior character design. I can't think of anything that isn't improved, except for not coming in English, but hey. But even down to the little minute details. Look at that animation. The club leaders this time operate like actual Pokemon gyms. Mandatory trainers to get past. You're not just in a giant function room with everyone spread about awkwardly attempting to mingle. Gym leader straight at the back of the room, ready to duel at a moment's notice. This time, you have to earn their attention a little bit. They've got challenges, different rule sets for each duel to force you into deck building on the regular. You can't just be sweeping with a fully talked up Gyarados the whole time. And best of all, they've got the casino mini gambling games. Hey, some of these games I wouldn't even call gambling. It's more of a consensual mugging, much like an actual casino. Get 10 heads in a row on the coin toss and win a prize. Yeah, better be at least 20 grand. Next time I'm down the casino, 1k in hand, bet on black 10 times in a row, walk out a millionaire. That easy. Ignoring the green, which always comes in, always. You have as much chance at getting a tenner to 10 grand, and adjusted for the RNG inflation that's specifically there to do you in, you might as well say a tenner to a million. Now, I don't pay too much attention to what these NPCs are saying, okay? I'm only here for the action. I'm very Seto Kaiba coded in that sense. Save me the formalities. I'm only here to slap some metaphorical meat via sliced cardboard for children. That was until this one old man in the lobby of the newly added casino, a wise sensei of a punter with wise words in the form of an addiction warning. An addiction warning. Little does he know, even if this game came out in the West and I was able to play it at age 6 as God intended, it was still far too late for me. Ever since I ripped my first pack in the year 2000, I was done. I was one-shotted. Nintendo, you are the reason we all get the crack sweats at anything collectible. It's like an American high school hooking you up with HGH at age 12 to win statewide wrestling matches, then sending in a youth pastor during morning assembly to rap to you about why drugs are bad. I mean, sure, you might as well get a casino in the game. Pack openings already groomed most of us from a young age to be rinsed by casinos. Nintendo's there like, I don't know what to tell you. The old Japanese man stuck in the Game Boy warned them about this exact thing, and to be expected, the RNG Reaper is still ever present in this one as well. But at this point, I wouldn't have it any other way. Some random on the street can press you far worse than the evil mastermind of the game, purely from the luck involved. It does kind of suck the wind out the air, beating a semi-main villain via deck outs. I mean, who couldn't forget the iconic Shadow Duel when my Valentine got sent to hell due to a card stoppage? You go through near enough the same amount of turmoil as you did in the first games, except this time, card thieves are afoot and they're comically evil blimps, hoarding all the cards with their abduction ray. So, do you remember those legendary cards you grafted your way through the first game to get a hold of? Yeah, those are the ones, the same ones that vanished from your rival's deck. Not magic enough to be escaping that alien beam, are they? Oh yeah, right, as soon as I get them nicked, suddenly they're just promo cards. You need to retrieve them to fight the end game bosses. You just do the Elite Four again, and they give you a new set. Oh, you just legendary. You mean the promo cards? Yeah, I don't know why they're stealing everything in a big blimp. We got loads of these laying about. A mate used to work for McDonald's. Actually, it's one of the club members there. One of the leaders you beat just now, actually. He's just taking them straight out the Happy Meals. Yeah, we got hundreds of these. So your goal is to be slapping down the Team Great Rocket after they drained the entire island of every bit of cardboard on the land, rescuing all of the leaders who have also been kidnapped for some reason. I don't know if they did that via traction beam as well. I don't think I'll ever get over the premise of worlds where card games dictate all. Awfully nice of these evil kidnappers to slide me a few blister packs as well after I win. Ah, right, you got me. Oh, hell of a play there. Yeah, no, I'll engage the prisoners now. Defo rematch me sometime. Yeah, you got my Insta, yeah. Hit me up if you go Worlds or something. I guess this actually is an alien abduction. Cards, humans, your shoes, the tractor beam don't discriminate for a good mugging. Maybe Great Rocket, they could be the good guys, stealing back from the hoarders, pulling a Robin Hood and all the scalpers in their giant alien blimps. For all we know, between the boxing and the full-time wrestling, I bet Logan, he's only one mild enough concussion away from renting out a blimp and actually having a crack at this. Would have loved this one as a kid. Sad it was Japanese only. I couldn't have even found this down the dodgy markets that gave me free go returns. Do you know who I blame? I blame the rest of you stupid kids who couldn't even figure out how to play the game. You just sat there looking at them and sniffing them. And that is why they didn't bother. Actually, near enough everything bad to do with the trading card game, and to a lesser extent, Japan not being as sound with us in the West as they probably should be. We're just gonna have to blame Logan Paul. In a very loose sense, you could call the guy like a modern-day Hiroshima. The real question is, though, out of the two, I can't even really tell which out of them has more illegal substances inside him. the best Pokemon has to offer on the Nintendo 64, it's gotta be Snap. Your brain might be telling you Stadium 2, but you know within yourself, your heart is telling you Snap. Don't you lie to me, boy. You can get your Stadium fix from literally any other game. Your puzzle fix from hundreds of other franchises and a million App Store downloads. But if you want the Snap experience, this was the only way you were getting your dosage. One that, for as much as I rinsed this game as a kid, only just finished somewhat recently. Do you know what it was? I reckon the hidden Porygon must have got the one over on me. I mustn't have had my reading glasses on for that one. The kind of prescription that lets you see low poly, invisible Porygons in 144p. Just imagine the absolute scenes of seeing this game come out in real time. Stadium was one thing, having the insane jump from original Game Boy to fully 3D, but now you're seeing them in the wilderness on their day-to-day, how they act when the cameras aren't about. Or so they think, you dirty dog in your little portable goon dome. Taking a neutral position. Unethical, isn't it, to cause intervention as a wildlife photographer? The 200 apples and chemical grenades I'm hardballing at them. No, don't stress about that one. Just act like I'm not here. Chucking pester balls, solid apples from your little Dr. Eggman pods, are we? Yeah, well, how about we just kill you? No, step aside. Go and crack your window down, and then just swear. You go across the world and start throwing pester balls at the elephants. I can assure you, you're spending the rest of your life tied to a tree branch. All these years with Pokemon Snap, you were just left wanting more. 100% run, banged out within an hour. The Volcano stage has like 6 Pokemon. I mean, I guess that makes sense. It was Gen 1. There probably only are 6 fire Pokemon. I understand the begging for a new Snap, but now the original was this fresh in my mind. Yeah. Yous were starving. You pretty much had a tech demo. Adjusted for today's game size inflation, you pretty much had one of those PlayStation magazine discs that lets you play half a level, a Crash Bandicoot Twin Sanity. Actually, no, I think I said this bit already. I already said that bit in the Japanese Pokemon Stadium segment. Okay, no, this is actually as if they released Japanese Pokemon Stadium, Stadium 0, and that's all you get. And then 25 years later, they made new Pokemon Stadium. Unfortunately, it's definitely one that you shouldn't replay very often. You gotta let your mind forget some of it before going back. I'd almost say don't play this if you've got a strong childhood attachment to it, because the very sobering club lights will soon come on if you play it now. All of this felt like a much wider world, as though the secrets you could just randomly stumble upon were a bit endless. With all the hidden Pokemon and environment interactions, you really didn't know the boundaries of what you could do. But these days, it's like going back to a house you've not been to since you were 5 years old, now fully grown, walking about the gaff, feeling like Obelisk the Tormentor on them Alice in Wonderland physics. Going from the new Snap straight to this one, it does give you some wild whiplash. It's so much harder to aim the camera after being given, such a splendid game. And I love being able to get actually decent photos in the new one. But the jank is sorely missed. It doesn't matter how the graphics have aged. Middle finger muck goes way too hard to not be timeless. I still love Snap, remains my favorite Nintendo 64 Pokemon game. Even if this were just like normal animals, it'd still be a really fun game. I'd actually kind of want to see that. A top spin-off. It's a top gimmick for a game in general. You are full on the battling, but this is uniquely unique, especially on the N64 hardware. It's a miracle to see if it worked as well as it did, to be honest. Such a great spin-off concept to have gone for. This is some kind of personal, guttural feeling, and it's not a knock on Pokemon Ranger 1 specifically. It's a good enough game, but playing that one gives me this subconscious feeling that I'm on a car ride in the back seat and the journey's gone on way too long, and I'm rapidly starting to feel sick. The second Ranger though, you've had the tactical chunder, and now you're ready to get out there on the dance floor and pacify some Japanese beasts. This is Rangers Explorers of Time. Got some nostalgia to it, most engaging plotline, and most importantly, the styler doesn't go on the blink one loop off for scooping up a Salamence. And you're gonna want to pay attention for this one. The region hosts big, meaty Bertha, strongest wench in all the regions, mainline or spin-off. Could milk a mean Miltank, I'll tell you that. And somehow even bigger. I know, you just couldn't believe it, could you? The Pokemon this time go off health bars. Absolute game changer. It's not just reset completely when the loop breaks. You have a few seconds to loop again where you left off before the health drains. Oh my god, that's what the first one was missing. I told you, any other game, and that Salamence would have got the business. You see, it's exactly that. That's why I'll let Metagross spark you out in the first battle on Pokemon XD, only just reaffirming to me that you are a Pokemon fed. You pretty much enroll in a police academy. The criminals looking to criminalize Pokemon directly oppose you. They can't stand you. Even more than actual police, I would say. You might get assistance from some Pokemon you pacify along the way, but you're still the one at risk here. I'd much rather act as though I've got a JoJo stand and send in a Pokemon myself, then give him a little lasso with a digital rope. This time, oh no, the big bads, they have these machines that make the Pokemon go absolutely skits.
How convenient, because you know what job I happen to have? I'm the one here equipped with the Pacifist Beyblade. Well, if they've got machines to do that, how about we just make some of these machines to do what the styler does instead, yo? Instead of us having to do it manually, save us a whole lot of hassle. I think it's fair game. If all these villains want to use Pokemon as criminals, why aren't the Rangers using Pokemon? Like, actually using Pokemon. Not just your partner Pokemon, or the occasional cheers for the Rock Smash brother, enjoy your life, mate, and off they go. May as well just train the Pokemon to be the police force. Keep all the monster conflict in-house. That concerns only them now. If canine dogs had the sentience of most Pokemon, humans, they wouldn't even have to work. Every human's job could just be a trainer to train a specific Pokemon into a workforce. Yeah, I'm technically a firefighter, but really what I'll do now is I'll just stick my fingers down Squirtle's mouth till he knows how to do it himself. Ranger 2, it gets there eventually. It's a very slow start to begin with. For a good chunk of the game, you're sat there doing odd jobs, mostly quite important ones, but even still, you're reading up on the newspaper every now and again as you progress through the game about what your fellow Pokemon Ranger Academy graduate, Uni Buddy Keith, is getting up to these days in his ranging career. His adventures, they're landing the front page news. He's getting the big missions, the main quest. You are the NPC rival here. You're watching Red take down Team Rocket on the news. Like, oh, wonderful. Yeah, no worries, it's fine. I'm so happy for my fellow graduate. He gets to go on all these skits missions, and I get to read about it every day in the papers. But it's fine, because I couldn't go on these skits missions anyway. The sewers need me. The Grimers, they're going skits down there, so who's the real hero there? About halfway through the game, once you're promoted to a top ranger, then the motor starts running a little bit. That's about around when the grunt work eases up, and the people, they put a little bit of respect on your ranger name. The Grimers, they're gonna have to go skits. That's not your prerogative anymore. A big sequel upgrade, but it does have some of the fatigue that comes with the original. The backtracking in the dungeons, it's just there to infuriate me. Me, specifically. All because you think you could just walk through the dungeon without picking up the right HM Pokemon on your way there? You think you could just breeze past? Do you? I will say it's usually intuitive enough which ones you're going to need to progress through caves or whatever area you're in. The context clues line up, but sometimes it's like, light this place up, Electabuzz, and 5 minutes later, light this. Oh, did Electabuzz go home, did he? Oh, well, you're going to need another one then, ain't you? Back where you came, pacify him again, the same one, yes, because they're a one-time use. So many times, I was just grateful I kept a specific Pokemon around, or else I'm going about the entire dungeon again. A punishment for laziness and not exploring. I see a Skuntack, I'm thinking, I cannot be bothered catching you. And of course, because why wouldn't it, it ends up progression relevant. I'm so glad I did go out of my way to catch the Hypno, keep him on hand, take down the Psychic Door obstacle, because that's a thing that exists in this world, supposedly. That then leads to the Skuntank chamber, the necessary Skuntank. There's a strong chain of command here for the mandatory captures. There may be nothing to indicate to you that it's mandatory, but the back of your mind is always saying, oh, it probably is though. I just know it. HM Pokemon for this kind of thing, I feel as though they should be permanent partners, at least for the dungeon. Then they can clock out and go back to the wife and kids. That's the only legit flaw I get from this one. It just drags the game out quite a bit. And I think they could maybe get you to the top ranger level missions a bit quicker, but the story does keep you present enough for it. Then they only went and gave you another Explorers of Time, debatably in Guardian Sign. I'd only just played this one for this video, but back to back, Rangers 2 and 3, they're very relative to me. But 3, it's got the gameplay fully locked down. Straight away, the vibes, through the roof, graphics, peaking, you're in a sky chase, tropical beach intro setting. They had this formula figured out properly now. Reusable Pokemon for assists, the DS pixel art in the prime of its lifespan, immediate access to fun Pokemon. I don't know how to describe it, but doesn't this protagonist, it just looks like a third game protagonist. They even deal with the HM Pokemon fatigue I was just waffling on about like a second ago. It's still a big hassle, sure, but they're much more forgiving with leaving assist Pokemon closer by when they're needed. You get hooked into this one straight. First hour, you're doing aerial combat, falling onto a new region, running into Raikou, you know, as you do. Celebi time travels you for a little bit, even giving him the little ranger stylus pacification catch as well. Good thing you didn't botch that catch. Imagine rubbing Celebi the wrong way. Befriending failed. You just made a bad impression. He got a bad gut instinct off you. Now he's time traveled you into a 30s Russian gulag. The HM thing, I'm starting to think is unnecessary with speed dial access to legendary Pokemon. You're telling me your man does a full standing backflip just to flex on you, just whenever he's happy to emote on you, only to then require the assistance of an Ursaring to get around a log. I think to be a ranger in this game, you've at the absolute minimum gotta be capable of doing backflips. You really feel the danger of being out in the field in this one. Apparently rangers not only have the bollocks to chase Kingdras in the ocean, they also have the physical superpower to do it. Swimming through dark, Sharpedo-infested waters, armed only with balls of steel and a DS stylus. The big bad's here. A little bit on the nose, but the Pokemon pinchers. At least Team Rocket have some plausible deniability. Like, yeah, look, don't worry about it. We're scientists. Don't worry about it. Walk along. Elon Musk, he does plenty of crime under the mask of running a rocket team. It's practically legal. Don't worry about it. Thankfully for this evil team, they don't care about pinching anyone underage. Just the Pokemon pinching, that'll be enough. They'll be on their way. They may be on the lower IQ side of a villainous group. Not even just for the name, which you know, it's a bit of a hard sell to the feds. Excuse me, boys. Sorry, what did you say? What do you call yourselves again? The Pokémon poachers. Is that? Okay, sound. Well, all right, cheers. Mystery solved. Handcuffed. Get in the van. For your first introduction to the pinchers, they hunted down Raikou on these, what I'd assume to be solid metal Segway UFOs. Raikou, right? Not one of the other two. The Thunder and Lightning cat. Yeah? That's the one. Are you sure that's the one you're hunting down with the solid metal Dr. Eggman air scooters? Just want to make sure. And they are fully metal. Yeah, sure. All right, whatever. Yous do you. Very thankful none of our enemies actually own their Pokemon, or else we'd be in a bit of a tricky situation there. Otherwise, the Ranger Styler would have the same properties as the Colosseum and XD's Snag'em R Machine and lets you just steal Pokemon, which is like the exact opposite purpose of the Styler. Now, the Styler is essentially a Snag'em machine, except it steals your rental Pokemon. I've been rating a bit of Guardian Signs, all these steps taken forward, and then I go and notice they've only gone and removed the text speed option. That's very minor though. It's no gates to infinity deal breaker here. Even with that, I'm having a very tough time deciding between the pair, but it could go either way. Going off the vibes though, I almost want to lean Ranger 3, but it's too close to call, so you get a compilation cop-out segment. For many people, you'd imagine they'd be absolutely buzzing to hear about something called Super MD. Well, if this one's about as much of a slog as Gates to Infinity, I might actually need to eat some nutritious beans right now to even give myself a chance at enjoying this one. Right, straight to business. How's that text speed looking? Nice and quick. All right, where's that quiz? Upon arrival. That's what I'm talking about. We thought the game was long gone. Can finally allow Pokemon to give me the diagnosis I've longed for. And it seems they've, let me see here, they've diagnosed me as a Bulbasaur. That's right, #1, baby. And if that's not a green flag, I don't know what to tell you. Like getting the opposite of a BPD diagnosis. So apparently, it was going to be Bulbasaur and Pikachu on the Job Seekers quiz for me, but Charmander and Totodile, the OG pair for me. You can't call me a glory hunter for choosing the lizard. His dad is on the front cover. Clearly, he's the best character. Instant, mysterious cutscene showing Deoxys in space. All right, now I feel like I'm playing some mystery dungeon. Now I'm a bit invested. Straight into the action. This one feels like what Gates should have been to begin with, beefing with BEMs upon arrival. This might actually ruin my ability to suspend my disbelief here. First you get turned into a Pokemon from a human, then you get abducted by aliens. Look, you're only allowed one of those freakishly unlucky circumstances. You don't get to have both of those. So aliens or Pokemon? Which one's it going to be? You know what? You are just traumatically greedy. A big thing that lost me with Gates, I didn't really care much for the partner Pokemon, but this one gets you much more invested like the classics used to. And I feel as though if you let that aspect fall off, you've already ruined the chances at a great mystery dungeon game. Also, in lore, me naming Totodile this way is so much stupider. I had no idea he was going to be adopted by the town Caracosta, who in lore now also thought it'd be a funny piss take name for him. It very quickly felt like the mystery dungeon that I was used to. The town, characters, dialogue. I was dreading when I saw the main setting at first was a school. Like, I'm sorry, come again. What? I've just turned into a Pokemon. Big moment for me, I know, very traumatic. And you've enrolled me into a school. I've still got to deal with this. Still have to report to HMRC for your taxes in this world as well, have I? But it's not some giant school. It's not some Paldea situation. It's far from the main objective. You kind of just rock up to class for the next plot device to pipe up. And I'd say it's actually a good change of pace compared to building a house shaped comically like your head. A few school trips around some dungeons. A much different kind of school trip in Pokemon though. They're pretty much going, right, Year 5, I hope you have your parents' permission slips because we're about to go in this cave I found and kick the f out of some rats. Well, hey, son, how was school today? Oh, it was so sick today. Oh, you know Miss Finster, right? She took us down into the sewer and let us burn a bunch of frogs. Gameplay-wise, it's a lot more refined, but quite a bit of adjusting to do. As a mystery boomer, I had to force myself. I had to consciously adapt to the shoving system. You can't just walk away without pushing your partner. You have to hold B now to activate the... excuse me, could I just get...
Yep. Thank you, please. Thank you very much.
I hated it to begin with, but it's a game changer for combat. If you've played it, then you understand. And they really love the ranged moves in this one. No friendly fire on. You still get sniped by things well off your screen, but at least you can have a chance at sniping back at them. Your entire party isn't useless anymore. 4 blocks back, and your teammates can be lobbing attacks over. Some Civ 5 archery squad. Plenty of that quality of life going on. Rescue missions. The Pokemon you're looking for stays put in place, not running all about waiting for you to conveniently line up with them like some kind of chess stalemate. Accidentally hit stay in this dungeon after finishing a mission. You got nothing else to do there. It gives you another option to leave as soon as you hit the stairs. Oh, you are gleaming. Not forced to go through a potentially hour-long dungeon, all because of one misclick. Only thing I wish they had was some kind of way of giving you a vague estimation of how long a dungeon is, so you know what kind of items you need to be bringing. Like, come on, you can level with me here. Am I bringing 9 apples and elixirs? Or not? Or should I save myself the over-encumbrance? Your missions are connecting with and unlocking Pokemon. Insane potential very early on with the crewmates you can have. It's a much better system than randomized odd jobs off the bulletin board. Only a handful of expeditions in, and you're already linking up with a level 50 Salamence. See, I like that when they just let you use fun Pokemon. When they don't care that it's too early to have fun Pokemon. Imagine going back to school the next day like, oh, what you saying, Tardog? Good weekend, yeah? Yeah, no, it was actually pretty decent, you know what I mean? Me and the boys, we just thought, hey, why not? What if we just rushed a Salamence? Imagine giving the business to a Salamence, then you've got to go back to school the next day to get bullied by a Pancham and his Shelmet sideman. It's like Baki going back to school. I really like seeing spin-off games existing in a wider universe where you can see where the later gen Pokemon would fit in, like Beedrill and Combi existing together. You know, of course they would. I rate seeing how far and wide generations of Pokemon would coexist in a way that naturally works. Venturing into a city for the first time, immediately getting mugged by a crocodile, lore accurate experience. You wouldn't find that kind of detail in the mainline games, but at the end of the dungeon, mystery dungeon, it's still gonna mystery dungeon. The late game, it's actually infuriating. If I were about 7 years old playing this, that 3DS will be getting battered, crossface locked on that flip screen. There's so much that happens that you have zero control over, but that's just the nature of the beast when it comes to these games. Mystery Dungeon has this unique ability to make it feel as though you're massively under-leveled no matter what you do. Obviously, it's why they have the items there to level out the playing field, but even still, this is possibly the best one gameplay-wise. The story really did feel like classic Mystery Dungeon, especially coming off the last one. I'm unsure if I can rank it higher than the originals. You already know it's not going over the DS games. But that being said, much needed coming off of Gates to Infinity as a proper return to form. Could have buried the franchise for good with back-to-back botch jobs. They had to return to form with this one. Classic Mystery Dungeon, red and blue. Much nostalgia for this one. Maybe the most, but even still, it's a lot closer than I was expecting to Super MD. Even still, if you're unsure, I reckon the DX version just about edges the overall win for the rescue team side. It's the more simple of dungeon games, but in its own way, I kinda like that it's contained. You meet your partner, establish a small startup exploration team, and after hiring a group of grafter mankeys before you know it, you've got yourself a house shaped just like your dome. Straight into the action. I love in the older Mystery Dungeons, you can really get some good abuse out of the items and the moves you can learn. Not just the orbs and seeds, but it's very easy to have both of your Pokemon learn the move Attracts. And conveniently, Charmander also learns Smokescreen. You can barely attack from being all bricked up, and the rare time you do, you're gonna miss. Every boss fight always feels as though you're under-leveled, so we've got to play a bit scummy here. A bit of heal work. Captain Insano shows no mercy to even out the playing field. Look at Groudon, thinks he's the kingpin. A 3v1. Charizard, Tyranitar, Alakazam. Easy money. Heavy favorite. So a Charmander and a Totodile. Come on, easier money. Bigger favorite. Free money. No money for you. Pucker up, big man. Rayquaza can Hyper Beam a Meteor headed straight for Earth. Can he defeat the Attract Smokescreen combo? Can he I'm pretty sure you're playing as children Pokemon as well. Like in Super, you're at a school, a very young school. So no wonder you've got an overpowered move that breaks any boss fight. You've effectively got an attack that temporarily converts legendaries into Sharpedo. Groudon comes out for his boss fight. The leader of the guild comes out like, you see how this looks, right? Me defeated? I would have gotten away with it too if it weren't for that meddling Totodile and that sexy Charmander. The Smokescreen stacked on top with Immobilized by lust. Scummy plays, but it must be done. God, I'm blind and really horny for some reason. You gotta love it as well, when even the legendaries sometimes accidentally hit the A button and use their struggle attack. A much smaller scale story, but still very compelling enough. You've got some good arcs in there, especially if you've not already played the sequel on the DS to destroy your standards of storytelling in a Pokemon game. The premise is always you being a human turned into a Pokemon. You are not of this world, and now you're trapped here forever? Come on, you can't just leave now. The wife and kids, they can do one. We just built a house shaped like your head. You're going nowhere. Just give him a quick ring. Look, I know you're upset and Yeah, well, I'm sorry, but until you get the new build, looking like my head, I'm staying here in the wilderness. The characters and village feel very alive. I'd maybe say this has the best village area, or at least town square, out of the four. Managing to maintain this level of decorum for these homunculi made me question, even as a kid, are the Pokemon in the dungeons just feral, undomesticated? They're the spice heads of this realm. Everyone on the outside of that, they're just lucky enough to be civvies, the townies. Imagine how embarrassing being one of these wild Pokemon who get knocked out by your team, the ones who immediately fold and ask to join up, and you just reject their application straight. It's still a mystery dungeon at the end of the day, like every other one, and does very much take the piss with its RNG. Everything else surrounding it does make up for it. Just about. Anyway, there's always a lot of unfair gameplay, and you'll really feel it more in this early one. The classic pathways that lead to nowhere on the way back, only to have been followed by the orderly queue from the scene from Airplane. Then DX spawns and near enough slaps on that super quality of life. For as much as I hate the accidental, the Freudian slip A-button struggle attack, I do miss it quite a bit in DX. I miss being able to throw my tidy little corridor feints without wasting PP on a move when you bait the enemy out to press forward so you guarantee that priority attack. Can even smash that L button for an auto mode. You're about 2 games too late. I would have duct taped that button down for the Gates playthrough. And your partner Pokemon, you love to see it, no longer IQ lower than their BMI, no longer operating without object permanence with you specifically. You don't even need to gaslight them into willingly walking into the status cure tiles. Almost impossible for me to go back to the other mystery dungeons after playing this. DX, it takes proper good care of you. It's no longer as if the dungeon master is intentionally trying to kill you off. The DM is now guiding you. I'm nowhere near feeling the mystery dungeon fatigue this time around. All wrapped up in a storybook aesthetic. Oh, what a delight. Relatively the same game with modern updates, and that's all you need. Keep that faithful, keep it lemon. Graphics don't even need to look any better for a game like this when the art style is this locked in. Borderline expecting the quiz at the start of the game to give me Tigger. They went above. If this were pre-Switch, it very easily could have been a gentrified Gates to Infinity version of the originals. Super and this one are a lot closer in my mind than I was expecting going into this, especially after playing Gates to Infinity almost putting me off completely. The main thing Super had over the original, overall content, quality of life and graphics, but DX, it just washes a lot of the issues there, bringing it back up to the modern standard. Pokemon Conquest. Now this one wasn't a sleeper hit for me like Rumble was, because people have been gassing Conquest up since 2012 like it's Silver El Sharawi. 2012 was well out of the childhood Pokemon phase for me. That's probably the only reason I can even reference things like Ultimate Team Silver El Sharawi. Conquest was a jumbo banger that slipped through the cracks for me. It's legitimately good. I didn't even find myself taking the piss too much. Recording the footage, the tide shifted. Playing games as a hobby temporarily became the main focus and entertainment became secondary. I just got really into it. As a first-time player, what this appears to be is a Pokemon battle with many extra steps. Quite literally, there's this form of legislated warmongering. It's time to get the war machine, the violent Katamari ball rolling, building up allies and further spreading Poke-communism across this powerful Arceus-shaped nation. And somehow, in universe, this isn't a much bigger deal, as if the Christ the Redeemer statue existed as part of the landmass itself. Well, that settles it then. The whole religion versus atheism debate shut down real quick. Like, you know what? Fair one. Yeah, you can't really argue with that, can you? The guy, he must be real then. Bit of a narcissist, sure, but he's definitely kicking about somewhere. Actually, that shuts down many wars from here on out now if we can just all pack it in and agree on just the one religion. Now we can go back to waging wars for the real matters at hand, like oil and just pure love of the game. Whatever happened to that? Just a big dust-up. Arceus Island is too direct proof to handle. Maybe that debate is only gonna get more heated. Nah, this is the biggest religious psyop since Jesus being the one Luxmax Middle Eastern man in the year 33 AD. If we find an island and start making statues and murals shaped just like it, the people don't believe in our god, we can just clap back like, yeah, well, how come He's literally a country. Can't be a coincidence, can it? Act the god. And on Arceus Island, you need to learn how to build allies if you want to be a good warlord. Now, a good coalition. Very true in war. I've got to say, though, if there had to be just the one Pokemon game you can't be doing that with, I'm not listening to it. You can't power of friendship your way into being a warmonger. The two seem like conflicting interests. I really doubt Genghis Khan was putting the Sharpie on his hand, bonding with his mates, doing a little SPD emergency with his boys before taking over half the world. Arceus Island, that's one thing. I can believe that one, but you're not gaslighting me on this one. Don't even chat to me about power of friendship in your way into being a warlord. Ah, yes, the downfall of many. We'd all be speaking German right now if a certain somebody didn't betray the power of friendship he had with old Joseph. Saying that, the characters in this game are still very cordial and sportsmanlike, even though you're some kid trying to conquer Arceus Island. Loving the idea that you can just go back for a quick rematch, you know, for a war? Nah, it's calm. The first few wars were exhibitions. We're just having a couple of friendlies. Even got this one warlord who laughs you out the front door. Imagine a country laughing off an invader like they're a 5-year-old kid punching their uncle in the arm. Not now, wee man. Try again when you've had your first pint. Speaking of cordial as well, awfully nice of the main antagonist to let us camp right by his castle and give us a good few years to get us feel fat enough to fill in his whole dragon team. Very sportsmanlike to allow us to build up literal military trained seals. It'd be like the Japanese just sitting about while giving America enough years to figure out how to make the nuke. I don't even know why my man is so pressed about Arceus. You've got Black Rayquaza. That's like 4,000 times as rare as owning God. There has to be a whole lot of untapped potential when it comes to the lore within this region. Pokemon Warfare, Yahweh Island. Hey, come on, you actually evolve at one point. No, hold it right there. We gotta unpack that one. You can't just drop that and act like everything's normal. You just evolved. Like, you glue a white aura and morphed. New clothes. You're probably a few years older. Your max bench doubled. You can't just throw out Doctor Who Regeneration and pretend we're all on the same page here. So apparently that's how they convey a warlord rank up. So what you're saying is that humans can undergo an almost Pokemon-like evolution if they get a big enough kill streak. Probably the reason why Getsis hype mugs everyone. Don't even get me going on AZ. At 9 feet tall, he's got that like Kratos cursed by the ashes of his dead family kind of height. I love a bit of strategic turn-based gameplay. It's very much a bit of me that. It used to be Pokemon Snap for me. Colosseum at least got XD. Conquest is now the one that deserves the sequels. Some days you just have that urge to get yourself nice and toasty. Decide to set up the old little gato and creep on some Pokemon. New Pokemon Snap, making this whole extravaganza of a video, finally gave me an excuse to sit down and give this one a proper squeeze, and oh, I did not want to let go. This one is a pipe dream, a fever dream for all of us big-time snappers. I used to think if they weren't going to do this one on the 3DS with its gyro controls, if they weren't going to do that same thing with the Wii U gamepad, then it's a lost cause. We're only getting this with a ukulele type of job. Get the fundraiser out, pass the church donation bin around. I thought all hope had been lost. The Safari car has been crushed into a cube, and we can't figure out how to make another one. People always love to imagine, oh, I wish Pokemon were real. First of all, no, you don't. We've been through this so many times. No, you don't. You be the first one. It's like the zombie apocalypse. It's not going to happen. You'll be there with your shotgun. No, you won't. You'll be the first one bitten. If Pokemon were real, you'd be the first one getting shanked by a Cypher, crushed into a cube by a Hariyama. But all those people seem to think, oh, I wish it were real so I could be a pro battler, dude, like they are in the games. The chosen one, the champion. You guys can have all that. Just let me be the snap guy, and I'm living the most calm life going. You work from home. The whip just teleports wherever I ask it to go to. Yeah, I'm working remote today, but let me just chuck a dart and see, it's Zimbabwe. Yeah, it teleport me there. Why not? Seemingly never in any real danger. Your life being a risk-free safari, traveling the world. Yeah, you lot can be the ones battling and breeding. My life is just going to be a perma holiday. I just take a few snaps here and there. Talk about no real danger. That's assuming the poker flute item wouldn't get me torn to shreds on site. I'm pretty much an ice cream van going about waking them up at night, except I'm not even selling any Mr. Whippies. I'm just taking photos of their entire family while they're asleep. Nah, I wouldn't be using the poker flute. I'd have to hook up the aux cord instead. I've always wanted to see how I'm a champ reacts to some hard style. I want to see him start rolling all 4 of them shoulders, taking some photos at the beach. Just got random Crabrawler coming up to me, tapping on my Wakandan bubble shield, asking if I'll take requests. They want a bit of David Guetta, bit of Let's Go. Okay, that's no dramas, straight on the cue. Now I know, as a safari photographer, I may be going against the magician's Dungeons code there a little bit, interacting with the wildlife. But hey, come on, I can't deny him a DJ set on the beach now, could I? Trust me, the professor, he won't mind. I've already asked him, it's sound, don't worry, don't tell him about it though. The photos we get are gonna be mad, trust me. We'll be reporting back to their lab with a whole gallery of these Pokemon, looking like the Hangover trilogy. The boys back at the lab, they've never seen what happens when you put a Crabrawler and a Klefki in the cubicle. You can get some fun photos in the original. The low poly jank plays in its favor, definitely. You can still get plenty of fun ones here, but this time you can go for genuinely good photos. My Meganium shots, don't look at them and tell me they could have been straight off the front cover. Not to make you all starstruck right now, but I think you're listening to the world's top Quagsire photographer specialists. Look at these beauties. Then you've got ones for the personal collection. Managed to catch a Tangrowth break in character for a second there, like,
Oh, yeah, big. Can I borrow your lighter, G?
this time they build up the world around you a lot more than just materializing in front of PNG Professor Oak in his lab/living quarters, led by what looks to be Professor Birch getting hooked on the Ozempic, got psyoped into subscribing to Clavicula's looks maxing course. He needs you to go out and take the pictures of the Pokemon. He's too busy getting the thirst traps in. There's a few other photographers, even a pseudo rival and everything, which amounts to nothing, as it should. Like, he's not really a rival even, as he shouldn't be in this realm, you know, going about mugging you off. I'm gonna be the champion. That's one thing. Going about saying, I'm gonna be the world's best photographer. Out of my way, dickweed. Yeah, sure. Good for you. But how do you even measure that? Insta likes? Are you gonna bot your way into being champion of Snap? Doesn't quite hit the same. It works for combat-based things, but the arts, not so much. Nice strokes, Picasso. For an amateur, you're a third-rate painter with a fourth-rate intuition for abstract forms. There's only room for one most influential cubism artist around here, and it's gonna be me. The Pokemon all much more expressive, hunting each other down, doing attacks, posing, sleeping, tucking in for a tidy little Wumpa fruit whenever you offer it to them, as if you're pulling back the curtain into this freakish world. A fly on the wall, and trust me, you would be a fly if you're lucky. Maybe like a single-celled organism compared to them power-wise. If you're lucky, a bacteria, maybe. That's probably what they see you as. But in a way, the environments feel a little bit less interactive. Coming off the original, when you've got invisible polygons opening up the next stage, back then, you really didn't know the boundaries for how far the interactivity of the stages could be. And I say that as someone who got stuck on it as a 6-year-old. So maybe pressing the newly available scanner and it finding everything that's hidden nearby and interactable is a good quality of life feature. But I can't tell where I lie with it because it does take away some of the mystery. Before you didn't know the boundaries of the environment, now they're explicitly shown to you. So it's like if it doesn't come up on the scanner, then you kind of know that the rest of it is just dead area. For obvious reasons, you're not going to be seeing all 1,000 Pokemon on here, but oh, could you imagine? Even still, the limited lineup was very well curated for a Pokemon Safari. Illumina Pokemon bosses especially. It's like the Mew final photo boss, but spread across the game. They didn't just chuck in legendaries for the sake of it like they very well could have. It's as if they actually considered the physiognomy of the Mon. Do you understand how hard it is to get a clear shot of Steelix fully in frame while he's playing Nightcrawlers, worming about his way across his underground gaff? The main thing dragging this one down, not by a lot though, insanely repetitive. You're playing each level at least 4 times, probably a lot more as well. Day and night versions, a level 1, 2, and in some cases 3rd version. You need 4 different photos of each Pokemon from 1-star to 4-star, and you can only send 1 into the professor each time. So that means at minimum, you're hunting down each of these little bastards 4 times in 4 different poses or situations. So it's insanely repetitive, but very much by design. But I'm not really complaining about that. It's not game ruining. Repeating the same levels with new items, discovering new interactions, you're never doing the level the exact same way with the same things going on. For what it is, it's got insane 100% save file potential hours to put in. As long as you aren't being a bit greedy, checking the Google, looking up those secrets for yourself, I'm just happy there's more Snap, and in the modern era of games, it's been done completely faithfully. How often do you really get a sequel that checks off improving in every single way without compromising the soul of the original? Here it is, the big one, Mystery Dungeon Explorers. Game so good, they just had to give it a 3rd. Do you realize how good a spin-off has to be getting mainline treatment like this? I really did think, after playing Gates to Infinity, that maybe I've just outgrown Mystery Dungeon. Explorers of Sky came in to stomp that out of my brain, and DX as well. More so DX, actually. But those two told me, no, brother, don't stray from the dungeons. Gates ain't even a mystery dungeon. That's a mystery quagmire. Big content to consume here. You got the main main game, Sky Extras, special episodes. There's a reason why everyone still gasses this one up. The characters bang, the plot bangs. I'm still convinced that the gameplay was finely tuned in a laboratory somewhere to specifically rage bait me, but every aspect across the board of this mystery dungeon is good enough for me not to care as much. There's more than enough hype moments, it almost makes me forget that sprinkled in between them all is the occasional bit of infuriating RNG dungeon gameplay. You've barely dented the game, you're already in the barracks of the Expedition Guild, you're already getting premonitions about child kidnapper drowsies in your area, Grovile already in motion, Time Gears? Oh, what's going on there? I need a gummy. The game knows, more than any else on this list, just how to keep you hooked all the way through. The story really is the backbone of these games. Even replaying it, and I already know what the story is, it's still a banger. Somehow, this mystery dungeon makes it feel the most like you have an actual job, yet it doesn't ever feel like a slog to get through. Easily clear a bulletin board mission or two, and you're straight on to the next plot device. That's how we like it. You've got sentry duty, work dramas, the whole lot, going out on actual expeditions as a huge team. Seems like quite a good gig. Homelessness just non-existent in their world, knowing that you're just one conversation with a Wigglytuff away from free food, free accommodation, all in exchange for being an Uber to get lost Pokemon out of caves. To be fair, it's kind of sounding like the military, so okay, fair one. The whole focus on the guild itself, it becomes quite secondary in the later ones. Non-existent, you are the guild in Gates to Infinity. Even in Super, it felt more like an afterthought. You didn't even join the guild properly until halfway through the game. It feels as though they've already gone 10 chapters worth of bonding without you, while you were just dicking about in school in your home village. It feels as though you joined your uni halls halfway throughout the year, and everyone else has had a semester worth of bonding without you. The later games, they do have the refinement, the updates, the quality of life wedge up, but that's to be expected compared to a late 2000s game. Everything that Explorers could have possibly done for the time and handheld it came out on, it probably did as well as it could have. I mean, I don't know, but it seems that way. Aside from the partner AI, that's the one true mystery in all of this. The biggest mystery in all of these old mystery dungeon games, where is your frontal lobe? This game, getting the DX treatment would be lethal. The story with these cinematics, the potential of the cutscenes not being locked into a top-down view. This one might even have the best dialogue, purely for giving me one of them illusion of choice response options that for the first time actually meant something. So there's this bit where Squirtle, the partner, gets into a little bit of a scuffle with Team Skull, and the guy's a bit shook up about it afterwards. And for a brief moment, Squirtle loses his mojo. Oh, boo-hoo, I'm such a wet wipe. I'm just a big chicken. Hey, whoa, watch your mouth. You're talking to a Torchic over here. You don't get to say that. Oh, I'm sorry, Squirtle. They're right. I'm a wimp. I'm just a big, tubby, balding turtle. See? Not so nice, is it? It's 2026, bucko. You get yourself kicked out of the guild with that kind of language. Consider yourself lucky I wasn't turned into a chimchar, or as you'd probably call him, harder. It's like when your most twinkish friend calls themselves fat while the rest of yous are sat with him like a group of Armenian plumbers, but he then asks you about the experience afterwards. Now, as always, you have the nice option, or and seeing as I got diagnosed as a Torchic in this one, for the first time ever, I have been given a real response. That was actually the nicer response. That weren't even an insulting reply, that's just Torchic's accent. Now, having played all of them back to back, it does make me question, do all of these games exist within the same universe? Or did after the events of this game, whenever a Pokemon spawned out of nowhere claiming to be a human, every Pokemon citizen was like, oh, for Jesus Christ, another human. Right, in the bunker, down the vault. Now, I don't know, but something's gonna kick off again. Just get down. We all know the entire premise revolves around you being a human turned into a Pokemon. But for me, how would you even adjust to the real world again if you could ever make it home? Imagine going back to being a human after living as a Snivy for however long, vine whipping actual deities, and now you've got a 12-hour warehouse shift. Nah, man, nah, never try Salvia. I lived as a Totodile stuck in a nursery for 70 years, getting belt to arse off my Caracosta dad. Spent way too long in the Pokemon world, like coming out of Vietnam, can no longer integrate back into human society fully. Grudge against the world after our high dragon blows both your legs off. Yeah, those don't come back when you turn back into a human. We don't know if the Pokemon ever get swapped into the human world too. That could easily be one of those retro gaming ads they did back when they were actually creative about it. A promotional video for a mystery dungeon game. Just some woman walking about with the brain of a Weezing, having to clock into managing a Greg's. When that Explorers of Time and Darkness DX pipes up, you better be making promos like that. That's a freebie. I'll let you have that. The idea's all yours. Just send me a review copy. And maybe let me voice act the Weezing or whatever Pokemon. And we'll call it even. Explorers holds up stupidly well. Even if you're now an adult who's been desensitized to plot twists, heel turns, you've watched enough anime to know the storytelling meta to these kind of things, it's still well worth playing these ones. I take the piss about the dungeons rage baiting me, but that's just the nature of the beast with this kind of gameplay. It's still very fun. Many people's top one, a safe but very respectable choice. It's kind of as if you're playing a manga, and especially will feel that way if it does get the D-Generation X treatment. Cannot wait for that one. Them quality of life changes. The game would be held back by nothing. Oh my god, yes! Another cuboid game! Complimentary, by the way. And thank God it actually is a Minecraft thing this time. At least enough of a Minecraft thing. Pokemon Gaff Simulator. I really thought they were going to go full on Animal Crossing, but instead they've got the best of everything. No heat towards Animal Crossing. I've just never clicked much with the life simulator games. I don't really have any point to them. It's got the prime blend of all of those things. The Animal Crossing cozy life simulating, the workbench crafting, the exploration. You know what? I don't need the Colosseum trilogy. I can build my own Pokopia. Yes, like Bender's, it will have, well, it'll have at least blackjack, but not the other half of what Bender wanted though. Them girls can stay online. It may take one real-time day per building, but it shall be built. I'm so happy it's an actual game with objectives, not just completely free play. Make houses and dick about for no actual reason. They've adapted Pokemon to this formula, I'd say, as perfectly as they could have. Constructing habitats to spawn in the new residents, expanding the world, unironically repopulating the Pokemon species as a ditto no less. A wide terrain of spawn points to discover and create, and the majority of them, they're not too fussed about it. They need a bit of grass, a little bit of hay, and they're sorted. They're cozy. But let's say, for example, Hitmonchan though, crackhead maxing. All he needs is a punch bag and a park bench living off of homegrown beans. No matter if it's Pokemon Channel or Pokopia, I've got Hitmonlee right outside my front door. And of course, another game reinforcing Pokemon's very skewed idea of friendship, approaching your close friends with a carrot like,
Here, it's all for you, buddy. Come on. That's a good boy.
playing as a Ditto, doing its best impression of a human, learning the moves to change the environment. It just makes sense. Like, if I'm sat in that boardroom and I hear that alone, I'm already sold on the idea. You know what? Fine. Now, give it blackjack and the brasses. Bender was right. And Tangrowth as the professor, you've already got the game greenlit. That's just overkill. I've always been saying Tangela has that intangible monster design it factor to it. Could be a design used anywhere. Tangrowth is only justifying me again. There is so much here to digest. I've no clue how any of you people get the time to play it and build massive things, especially so quickly after the game's release. I'm saying this as someone who, for this specific moment in time, having to play Pokopia was their job. And even then, the only way you're going to play this game properly is if you have no job. I prefer finishing plot relevant things before I get to terraforming everything, so that's partly why I've not built anything too mad yet. Like, imagine I'd put in way too much effort on the first area only to have discovered electricity poles in the next. I need all the assets there before I'm making any heavy decisions. I didn't even realize there were more areas at first. I thought it was going to be one giant united nation, but I'm happy there's this many actual tasks to do, all wrapped up in exploring this apocalyptic wasteland of the Kanto region. These humanless worlds do make sense even without the mystery surrounding it. There'd surely be plenty of lawless Pokemon lands like those uncontacted tribes. I don't know what would be worse, a Pokemon tribe seeing humans for the first time, or a human tribe seeing Pokemon for the first time. Pokemon seeing a human for the first time, like an uncontacted tribe watching a robot trip over trying to dance like Michael Jackson. I did find myself still getting into the Animal Crossing aspects even when I don't normally bother investing too much time when games have those kind of aspects. There's just too many interesting objects to come across. What do you expect me not to spruce the place up? Giant fossil decorative pieces to deck out your living space like it's Vince McMahon's office with a T-Rex skull hung up. I'm kind of just surprised. That's not just a solid game. That easily should be in everyone's top 5 spin-offs. From any Pokemon game past the DS, it should probably be in your overall top 5, let alone just the spin-offs. And again, I don't even care about Animal Crossing. Maybe I wouldn't mind it after this. If you had this as your number 1, I'm not really gonna judge. It almost definitely deserves the highest objective rating from review scores, which I think it does have. The only ones I could imagine coming close are the DS Mystery Dungeons and maybe Conquest. I reckon it could just be from how refreshing this is for a Pokemon game. That's not even a top spin-off. It's the best Pokemon game that's come out since Legends Arceus, and before that, probably since Black and White 2. Christmas Day 2005, Pokemon XD and Shadow the Hedgehog. Jesus, Santa, you're spoiling me. That year, what a time to be alive. Pokemon XD must have been a top 5 most hyped games for me growing up. I've got vivid memories of rinsing every magazine, every trailer, everything I could suss out. A genuine 3D Pokemon adventure game. That was the dream back then for us. Within the space of 4 years, or another way of putting it, literally half of my entire lifetime, I went from sprites and whatever the hell you could call Pokemon Snap to this. These games revolve around the concept of black market Pokemon. Evil shadow Pokemon with their hearts closed off by some kind of Kingdom Hearts witchcraft that makes them more ruthless in battle. Unlocking their true combat potential by giving them the hearts of late stage Chris Benoit. Hey, relax, I said heart of Benoit, not brain, alright? And it's your job, wee 10-year-old, to steal them back. And if that isn't just the most baller premise for a Pokemon spin-off, then I think you're in the wrong franchise here. Come bring yourself back to Pokemon Go. You and your little Eevee iPhone case, go on, take a lap. Go hatch some eggs. You already know I prefer Colosseum. Assuming you're watching this in order, aren't you? As Arceus intended, the best game out of the two really depends on what you prefer. XD has the improvements, but Colosseum has a uniquely distinctive atmosphere that might never be seen like this again in all of Pokemon. But XD has a different vibe to it, so I'm not slagging it off, but it's absolutely a gentrified sequel. A lot more safe inside the confines of traditional Pokemon. You're playing as a geek again, starting at a lab. First Pokemon, just an Eevee. Pokeballs, no longer a scarce bit of contraband. Wild Pokemon made a comeback. Still kind of difficult for Pokemon standards, but not as difficult. 5 years later, the Ouray region, it just ain't the same wild west you remember it being, boy. That small train converted into a bar, probably got demolished, turned into a prep. Either that or a still a bar, but they chucked a bunch of fairy lights onto it and do bottomless brunch now. Even the music is suddenly a lot nicer. Everything feels much safer. It kind of has the same energy to the Kanto region, but in gold and silver when Team Rocket's been disbanded for 3 years. There's just a much nicer ozone to the land. I say the Ouray region's been gentrified, but 10 seconds into the first actual location you go to, and your, well, I'm gonna say 6-year-old sister is about to get sparked out by a, I'm gonna say 260-pound minimum man having a fit of trend rage. Even still, straying further from what made Colosseum have its own unique presence to it. Visually, they're not much different, but you can just tell when something came from XD and not Colosseum. It's a bit like noticing when a character's from American Dad and not Family Guy. You just know. The Baki built women, that's definitely a bit of Colosseum. Gorgian, you got XD written all over you. Battletoad physiognomy. You think that name's a bit quirky as well. Some of the names you run into here. Why am I getting into a scrap with a guy whose legal government name is Gorps? I definitely don't want to be interacting with fun old man Kron, who hands out a cologne massage to you. Cypher, research and development. Morbid, altered shadow Pokemon. I'll show you ass altered shadow Pokemon. How you do? Do not purify that heart. She will kill me. I know past me has gone into this so much, but their character downgrade. How has there not been an agreed upon word that's the antonym of Mog? Because West to Michael, I needed that word about 21 years ago. Even down to the motor. From that definitely road illegal weapon West drives about, to a glorified lime bike. They even use this as a plot device. Oh yeah, no progression for you. That sounds a bit too thick for moped travel. Having a character like Wes also makes things a bit more believable to me. Because don't get me wrong, like most Pokemon protagonists, he's got a few decades left until he's experiencing twink death, but he is canonically dangerous, a terrorist to Team Snag'em. I don't have to suspend my disbelief anywhere near as much that these goons wouldn't just sucker punch him and mug him for that snag machine. He's got pre-trained Umbreon and Espeon. Could have a gun on him. He planted bombs in our headquarters. He's clearly a regional threat. Playing with Michael though, I think there's literally nothing he could do to stop himself getting mugged for the snag machine. Why do you even have cardiac arrest at 43 muscles if you can't even run a 10-year-old's pockets? Oh no, could it be a snag machine at this hour? So they're well aware that should have been the end of the dialogue there and then. Demetrius Johnson armbar straight. Yes, we should report this back to headquarters. If I'm the leader of this ring, this operation, the only report you lot should be giving back to me is one of two things. Either snag machine has been crushed into cube or boy has perished. I swear to God, if they came back to me just to let me know, just to tell me about it without stopping it. Oh, right, well, you might as well chat to me about the latest Love Island episode as well if you came here just to gossip with me. I'll be sending them straight back out on patrol like, right, you lot are gonna find him again right now, and this time you're not just smashing the snag machine, you are going to eat every last piece of that snag machine, and I want it on video. I'll let you have a knife and fork, but no steak knives. This isn't Michelin Star, alright? It's fantasy football forfeit. I beg of these evil teams, just hire, like, one goon from Croydon, and the game's done in 5 minutes. Whatever evil scheme, you will get your way. Saying that, even the design of the snag machine took a hit from the gentrification wave. There's even a point later on in the game where they do kidnap children, so it's nothing beneath them. But some guy walking about with an Eevee fresh out the egg was against the villain code of honor, apparently. There's this kid called Sek. They gave him the business off screen. Oh, okay, so they're not opposed to slapping up a child here and there. Two-tier criminality in action. They won't touch the kid who lives in a laboratory, but the povos in Pyrite Town living in the slums, they're fair game. I see how it is. There's also a point where you get chloroformed by a gloom. I've always wondered about that. Cypher, they're a bunch of jobbers. Team Snag'em knew as criminals, you just can't beat the classics. Good old-fashioned sleepy mugging. Overall though, I can't complain much about XD because it is just more Colosseum, and I still want more Colosseum right now in my belly. Yummers. They just streamlined everything. Shadow Pokemon, more depth to them. Purification chamber to have the whole process automated. Really beats just shouting at them till they snap out of the hyper K-hole they've caught themselves in. The world map, much bigger, much more intuitive to figure out where you need to go, who you need to talk to. Catch rates felt much more forgiving. Way more opportunities to catch Pokemon in general. Battle bingo! It's not quite gambling, but it does involve cards in a room surrounded by slot machines, so I'll take all the placebos you have. Healing bays show up way more often, so you're not running all the way back to the last one you saw. Unfortunately for me, I'm gonna have to be a bit stupid and go with my heart instead. Colosseum wins for a really stupid reason, from its stage presence alone. XD's beginning is very slow as well. The first hour, it is a slog to get through. Colosseum throws you straight into the action, like he's had a whole adventure up to this point, and you're just getting a glimpse into it now. They absolutely should have had a big tear up with West for the post game like Red on Mount Silver. So many of the areas get reused from Colosseum. Maybe I would have preferred New Towns completely, but if it's between that and actually making a Colosseum sequel in time before the Wii comes out, I really don't mind. But it's not helping the feeling that for like 1/3 of the game, you're just playing a DLC of Colosseum. A very, very good DLC, but still, you're getting one of the hardest Pokemon games too. The boss trainers and their teams, a lot of times they're far more intelligent than you're used to getting from a Pokemon game. The final boss especially. If you don't catch Shadow Lugia in the Master Ball to instantly shut that down, you're facing a 7 Pokemon team, 3 Shadow Legendary Birds whose attacks are more than likely gonna one-bang your whole team. Hypothetically, you can get rid of all of those Shadow Pokemon immediately by catching them on the first turn, but you better be praying 10 times a day to the RNG Reaper to manage catching all 4 Legendary Birds before they manage to one-hit knockout most of your team. A supreme side quest banger here. Pokemon games that are based around contained adventures, this is what we need more of. Legends, it almost scratches that itch, but not in the way the GameCube games do. A game series equivalent to Pokemon Chronicles. And I think Scarlet and Violet did show a very small glimpse of this with Area Zero. In a vacuum, that section of the game felt like its own contained adventure, going about with your group of friends just like it's the anime. Just do a spin-off franchise based around contained adventures happening in the background, while the chosen one, he can go off and have his 15 frames a second adventure. If it's anything like Scarlet and Violet though, they're gonna have to get some actual character writers, and you'll know what I mean by that. I don't want any of that soulless anime dialogue for 5-year-olds. Just get whoever writes the stories for Mystery Dungeon or even the Ranger games. A mix between XD and the Legend games could work very well potentially. I think in the GameCube games, people found it quite jarring to not have actual wild Pokemon. Now, I'm definitely not a fan of ZA being contained in just a city with small wild areas wedged in between it, but I feel like in a Colosseum style game, it could easily have its place. Pyrite Town could easily have its own sub-areas acting like desert routes. You've got to love it. It's as if they tried making an actual RPG using Pokemon as the basis. There's side games that feel mandatory. Easy S tier for anyone's list. Does XD improve in near enough every way? Won't be arguing with you there, mate. In fact, I kind of just backed you up about 10 seconds ago. Subjectively, however, XD, nay. They still pack the spices in with XD, but you are drowning in the stuff for Colosseum. XD just hasn't got that grit, that same soul in it. I know XD is better in the ways that actually matter, and Colosseum is better in the ways that don't, like aura and vibes. With my line of thinking, Piccolo, far and away, the strongest Dragon Ball character. But Colosseum, it's an aura. It's a vibe that's not been replicated for any other Pokemon game so far, and probably never will. Stealing Pokemon with Pokeballs, but that's not allowed. It's almost a bit raunchy. You know you've always wanted to do it, you've always tried it, but they slapped the ball away, and now you can. Playing as an ex-member of this criminal team, Black Market Pokemon, what a concept for a game. The main evil team Cypher are Reagan, the Ore region are the Ghettos, and the Shadow Pokemon are, can anyone get, yeah, exactly right. Crack. The first trainer you meet goes out of his way to chat a little bit, like, yeah, you can battle. Yeah, you look the sort. That's how you should be looking as a protagonist for a game like this. The blue jacket is there for aura farming purposes only, and I'm all here for it. Wherever he is, the wind follows. Protagonists these days in their school shorts and Jamie Oliver approved packed lunches. Nah. Wes is on the Super Kings, the Patty and Selma approved pack lunch. The method to stopping Team Snag'em is snag 'em back. You're not getting any lectures. You're not getting any of that. No, you'll be no better than them. Get that off. Get out of here. Nah, we're gonna fleece them back. Crazy? You know what I've realized as well? You're not really being heroic here. You do purify the shadow Pokemon. Okay, that's somewhat heroic, but don't get it twisted. It's not out of the kindness of your own hearts. You're stealing these already stolen Pokemon, but you're not scouting out the original owners and handing back their lost pet, are you? Look, I'm sorry to inform you, your precious Quillava's already been compressed and inserted into my copy of Pokemon Ruby. Once they're purified, you hoard them all to yourself. What a hustler Wes is. It can leave Team Snag'em, but the Snag'em never left him. Because they're just black market Pokemon, a solid amount of people who have them happen to be just civilian trainers. Those guys want their Pokemon back. Hey, tell them to charge it to the game. Yeah, Wes was never intentionally saving the region. He just somehow found a way for there to be such a thing as an ethical mugging. He's definitely not a bad guy though. Technically, the Snag Machine should be able to let you steal any Pokemon you want, really, and he, I guess, chooses out of the kindness of his own heart not to. Only Rui has the Shinigami eyes needed to notice when it's a shadow Pokemon. So from a random trainer's perspective, well, you see how this looks, right? You've just been actively trying to finesse them in plain sight. They've just let it happen. They don't know about the rule. You're allowed to slap the ball away. Man, Rui, oi, look at that Salamence. That Salamence is really nice. You sure it's not a shadow one? Oh, really want that Salamence? Nah, I swear, some purple came off him just now. Even I saw that. Shall I chuck an Ultra Ball or two just to see? They're evil anyway. They're probably going to turn him shadow tomorrow. I'm just preventing it from happening. I just love the way Team Snag'em hunt you down right after you've set off a bomb at their headquarters. Yes, this former member destroyed our base. Dozens of casualties, stole our most valuable asset. Quite a conundrum. Send in the 3 weakest, boldest grunts we have to go collect him. Yes, only 2 Pokemon between the 3 of them. Those are the exact balding grunts I'm referring to. This guy being in Team Snag'em, it's literally playing spot the main character in any anime. You must have started out at the bottom. You must have been one of them bald grunts, worked your way up the ladder into becoming a main character. Team Snag'em, they must have known betrayal was lurking from him. The higher-ups talking to each other like, you see your West's growing his hair out. He may be going rogue. It may fluctuate being my #1 choice, but it is far from perfect. The difficulty does get a lot of people. You always feel underleveled because there's no wild Pokemon, even though you're battling constantly in a corridor of manpower, massive dungeon-like areas with healing pods only by the entrance. And when the game's as difficult as it is, you're going to be running back a lot to heal. And that doesn't change any of the difficulty. It just wastes your time. I never even beat the final boss as a kid. Finally, I avenged 7-year-old me. But looking back, there's no shame in defeated this one, an actual gauntlet. And they all know a bit of metagaming here. This playthrough, I specifically wanted Entei, because I vividly remember there's a sinful Metagross that can do some nasty things to you. I wanted that AI arachnid getting fire blasted straight into a shadow on the pavement. The Pokemon being quite limited could be a problem for you. If you don't steal some of the right ones, you could very easily get stuck in the final Colosseum. Also, considering they're the premise of the whole thing, a surprising lack of Team Snag'em in the actual game, because once the higher-ups like Cypher in the Shadow Pokemon Lab come into play, unfortunately become jobbers. You don't even meet Team Snag'em's boss, the man you directly betrayed during the intro at all throughout the whole game, until right before you take on the final Colosseum. You just walk by him. You just happen to catch the same elevator. The guy got narratively aired, disposed of. The devs forgot he was kicking about. Imagine you're Red, about to face the Elite Four, gets to Indigo Plateau, thinking, oh, Victory Road, that was a long trek. Hey, Nurse Joy, which way's the gents around here? Then you just catch Giovanni at the same urinal. I'm sure we all felt this back in the day. Colosseum, it's a very easy game to get lost in. Another thing XD fixes by being more intuitive, but it's one of them where sometimes you just have no clue where you're meant to go. You think you've spoke to everyone, been to every area, done every battle you're expected to do, but time remains frozen. That's how you know it's a proper RPG. Even still, you've got a good blend of everything you'd want from a Pokemon side game. Strategic double battling, elite premise, exploration, unique towns, a fun range of Pokemon to use. It's not like the standard games, where by the time you have some of the big boys, it's already late, or in some cases post-game. By about 2 hours into the game, you can have yourself a Johto World 11 squad. Still very early game, and you've got the EVs for Alligator, Ampharos, and Entei. You know what? For you, my friend Dunsparce, he's on the house, brother. Ore region not being a fixed region when it comes to native Pokemon, so they can get a bit weird with it. It makes the ones that appear much more spontaneous. This game, drenched in the sauce. Looking at this and Battle Revolution, it really makes me sad with what we end up with now. The music's popping off, the sound design on point, even that little battle animation effect that I can only describe as that relatable moment when you find out the fence been laced with more fence. It's got the rundown, but still technologically advanced thing going on. Like, yeah, Pyrite Town, it looks a bit dodgy. But go to the underground town, and there's travel UFOs. Yes, you've arrived. Just take the Dr. Eggman carrier to cross my bottomless void. A region not selling Pokeballs, it did throw me off at first, but the world itself is more interesting this way. Almost as if within the wider scope of Pokemon, catching isn't what it's made out to be. As if it's more of a niche, specialized skill set outside of the main regions. And you can always just travel back to the shops that sell them. Because the thing is, you've got no idea when the next big trainer is going to jump scare you with an Entei waiting for you to commandeer, to blast that Metagross in the pavement. All of a sudden, you're trying to catch a legendary. You and your 6 Great Balls and 14 regular Pokeballs that I'm convinced don't even work after the first hour of the game anyway. And you get some really out there character designs, even for NPCs. Even the women are on the backy juice. God, Dunnin, what blind spot did you exploit? Blind spot? I don't think there's a blind spot on you with lats like that. Can see the whole package. I just know that Growler roars. You can almost see that enlarged trend beat. It feels like you've begun in the middle of a much larger story. Make more like this, where you can just go from game to game fresh, like Final Fantasy does with its characters. Colosseum feels like a game that shouldn't exist. It sounds like one of those rumors you'd read about in a magazine back in 2002 and forget about by the time you're older. You can't remember if you just dreamt reading about it, and then 15 years later, you're watching a "did you know" gaming video about this ultra sick Pokemon game that never happened, and now you're really sad and disappointed, except it did happen. And you're not sad and disappointed, because we're in the universe where it actually happened, and we all got to play it, and that's why we love Colosseum.